Chapter 1001 Taking Control of Graceful Chaotic Dual Stage. Time passed quickly, a month went by. In southern border, be it the GU Immortal world or the mortal world, their focus was all on one place. This place was Yitian Mountain. Under the influence of GU Immortals adding fuel to the fire, countless righteous path and demonic path GU masters set off to join the two sides. The seventh righteous and demonic fight had concluded. The demonic path members schemed and cut off the righteous path's supply lines. At the moment of crisis, Shang clan leader Shang Yanfei personally arrived with his forces, and used gourmet food box GU, providing a feast for the army, foiling the demonic path scheme. Next, the clan leaders of southern borders super forces like Yi clan, Luo clan, Yao clan and Sha clan also showed themselves, joining the battlefield. In this battlefield, rank 3 GU masters were all cannon fodder, the normally uncommon rank 4 GU masters were everywhere, and rank 5 GU masters were the most important battle power. Life and death blessed land. Spectral soul demon Venerable's dream realm had completely dissipated. Light in the 7 colors of the rainbow shined brightly, turning into a cocoon. Crack, some cracking sounds came from the cocoon of light. As time passed, more and more cracks appeared on the cocoon. Old man Yanxi had a tired and haggard face, but his gaze showed that he was extremely overjoyed. As he watched with expectations, the cocoon of light finally exploded, as a young man appeared in front of old man Yanxi, completely naked and bare. He floated in the air, his eyes were shut, as if he was sleeping. Old man Yanxi quickly moved forward, using his hands to caress the young man's body, from his thigh to his chest, and then to his face. Old man Yanxi could barely hold in his excitement, his fingers that were touching the face were shaking. He muttered, "Success! I actually succeeded. I replicated Renzo's methods and used a dream realm to create a completely new extreme physique. This is a historical moment. Ha ha ha." Old man Yanxi laughed loudly for a while, before stopping. "You were born from a dream realm, created from nothingness. Since I used the rule path become real immortal GU, I will name this, Pure Dream Reality Seeker Physique." Saying this, old man Yanxi moved his hand and took out a lump of soul. This lump of soul was dark like ink, it immediately flew into the body with the Pure Dream Reality Seeker Physique. Old man Yanxi waited for a moment, but he saw no movement from the body, his frown was getting deeper. What's going on? Why is he not waking up? This shouldn't be the case. He quickly inspected. A moment later, he sighed. It seems that this body with the Pure Dream Reality Seeker Physique is truly flawed. The Dream Path Tao marks are very high in quantity, they gained a type of power in the body. Any soul that enters it will fall asleep and lose their memories continuously. What should I do? Old man Yanxi paced around, feeling anxious. The lifespan of the Pure Dream Reality Seeker Physique body has already started to decrease. Time is limited, I cannot do any detailed research now to solve this problem. What should I do? After a long time, the body with the Pure Dream Reality Seeker Physique slowly opened his mouth, finally awakening. He was childlike and unlearned, looking at old man Yanxi, then looking around the place, his eyes were wide open and showed a naive expression. Old man Yanxi felt some regret, he tried all sorts of ways and finally awakened the soul within the Pure Dream Reality Seeker Physique body, solving the problem of the sleeping soul. But almost all the memories in the soul were lost. But it doesn't matter. The Pure Dream Reality Seeker Physique is a consumable rank 9 battle strength, he is the greatest trump card to defend our core. As long as our plan succeeds, so what if the Pure Dream Reality Seeker Physique has a flaw? Thinking of this, old man Yanxi smiled as he sized him up with his black eyes, his tone hardly concealing his happiness. Good, good, good. Pure Dream Reality Seeker Physique, you are the greatest accomplishment of my dream path research. Many of Bo Qing's immortal GU were robbed and his battle strength has fallen. You will replace him, becoming our greatest strength in suppressing the situation. Who are you, who am I? Ying Wuxie curiously asked. I am you, and you are me. I am old man Yanxi, and you shall be called Ying Wuxie. Old man Yanxi chuckled. He then lightly waved his arm, countless thoughts were transferred into Ying Wuxie's mind. Ying Wuxie felt a wave of information entering his mind. Old man Yanxi said, remember, you only have 18 hours of lifespan. Every 2 hours, your cultivation level will rise by 1 rank. Time is limited, I can only impart an immortal killer move to you. Although it doesn't have any killing power, it is the pinnacle of Dream Path achievement currently in the 5 regions, at the forefront of this era. Even those Heavenly Court GU Immortals are far behind. As the saying goes, when you have the skill, you can eat your fill. Learn it properly. When you become a GU Immortal, I will give you a complete set of GU worms for you to speed up your practice at that time. Southern border, Yitian Mountain. Fang Yuan, who was recuperating on his bed, shook as he opened his eyes suddenly. In his eyes, joy flashed across slightly before they went back to being emotionless. Around him, there were many injured members lying down and talking. Some healing GU masters were moving the injured members around, some were healing, while others were checking if injuries of patients were becoming worse. The air was filled with a bloody smell, it lingered in the nose and did not fade. After the 7th righteous demonic battle, Yitian village's medical ward was full of injured people. Right now, both sides were recuperating, healing from their losses and regaining their strength. Thus, the number of members in the medical ward was decreasing. Most of them were healed and left. Some could not be treated and died here. People were happy to live and hated to die. This medical ward became a place avoided by the demonic path GU masters. But Fang Yuan did not mind it. He pretended to be wounded and severely injured. Familiar face could deceive rank 8 GU immortals, not to mention these mortal GU masters on Yitian Mountain. Fang Yuan found that this was the place which was most suitable to refine the immortal GU house's battle will. Only here could he lay back, openly and calmly refining battle will almost unceasingly. Even though there were many people moving around, none of them could threaten a GU immortal like Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan's strategy finally paid off earlier. After spending so much time, I have finally finished converting graceful chaotic dual stages battle will. Now, I have to get rid of the other GU immortal's battle will and become its owner. Fang Yuan breathed in deeply, he did not hesitate, he took action immediately. Inside the immortal GU house, his battle will whipped up a storm, engulfing other battle wills easily. The battle wills of these southern border GU immortals were all operating independently and caught unprepared, they could not react before they were all wiped out by Fang Yuan. At once, Fang Yuan caused a huge commotion. The southern border GU immortals were furious and shocked, some screamed while others flew out, some were staring blankly from disbelief. They communicated and realized that someone did not participate in the gambling contest, they secretly refined battle will and fooled all of the southern border GU immortals. The southern border GU immortals felt immense anger and hatred, a sea would not be able to douse their fury. All of their hard work had been for nothing. They had been scheming against others, but now, it was all like a joke. Who is it? You dared to toy with us. Find them and kill them. They have openly challenged our southern border GU immortal world. Not only will I kill them, I will tear their skin and pull out their tendons, I will extract their soul and torture them for 1,000 years. The southern border GU immortals had surging auras as they encircled Yitian Mountain. They could no longer bother with hiding their traces, countless auras burst into the sky, engulfing the entirety of Yitian Mountain. The righteous and demonic path GU masters were stunned. What is going on? Immortals, are they immortals? Such strong auras, they must be the legendary GU immortals. To think that I could have an opportunity to meet them in my life. So many immortals, is this the plot of the righteous demonic path? The two factions of GU masters fell into chaos, a commotion ensued in their corresponding groups. It is useless, this is the forbidden zone, none of you have the immortal aperture sealing method, how can you come in? Fang Yuan snickered in his mind. But on the surface, he showed a fearful expression, similar to everyone around him. This was a crucial moment, Fang Yuan would, of course, not be careless. The forbidden zone could prevent GU immortals from entering, but it only targeted the immortal aperture, not their immortal GU. This meant that GU immortals could attack Yitian Mountain from afar. Who is it? Come out, you have the guts to steal from us, but no guts to admit it. The GU immortals were furious and anxious, they screamed like the rumbling of thunder, shaking the world. Even Yitian Mountain was shaking under their voices, not to mention the mortal GU masters. Including the rank 5 GU masters, all of them had pale expressions and were shivering in fear. Fang Yuan concealed himself and did not expose any flaws. After getting rid of the other battle wills, he manipulated the battle will and started to take over graceful chaotic dual stage. This process needed some time. But Fang Yuan was not worried about the southern border GU immortals attacking without any reservations. For righteous path GU immortals, they needed to defend their reputations, they would not conduct a massacre here. For demonic path GU immortals, some had placed their immortal GU with their mortal pawns, similar to how Shao clan's ancestor had left immortal GU on Shao Shan. Immortal GU were very fragile, Fang Yuan's spring autumn cicada could be crushed by a child. If they attacked without holding back, these immortal GU would likely be destroyed. As for some lone immortals like old man Yu Sha, his treasured disciple Lu Zuanfeng was on Yitian Mountain, how could he attack? More and more GU worms came under Fang Yuan's control. Graceful chaotic dual stage's secret was finally exposed to Fang Yuan. So this immortal GU house is a time path immortal GU house. It uses the power of time path to seal any attacks aimed at it, before sending them back. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, this is an incredible idea. Fang Yuan continuously praised in his mind. Chapter 1002. Extreme Formation, Dangerous Situation Again. The exact reason could no longer be confirmed. But in short, the immortal GU house, graceful chaotic dual stage, had been suppressing the great strength true martial immortal zombie for so many years, the two had formed a peculiar balance. The immortal GU house was ownerless, inside, there was pure battle will. Right now, Fang Yuan had completely converted the battle will into his own, he had even pushed out all of the southern border GU immortals. Since rebirth, after so much planning, he had finally achieved his goal. Fang Yuan was filled with joy. But at the same time, he was undeniably nervous. Faster, faster, Fang Yuan secretly urged himself. Even though the battle will was his, taking over the immortal GU house needed some time. This duration was when Fang Yuan was at his weakest. If any of the southern border GU immortals went berserk and suddenly attacked Yitian Mountain, Fang Yuan would have to defend against the attack, exposing himself in the process. The southern border GU immortals were furious and anxious, their minds were filled with rage and hatred. If they found Fang Yuan, they would definitely gang up and chop him into pieces, or completely eradicate him. Their emotions were understandable. After all, they had spent the last few months trying to be first, they had used all their methods to obtain the immortal GU house. But in the end, their hopes were dashed. The immortal GU house that they wanted had become someone else's. If Fang Yuan had acted in accordance to the gambling contest and won fair and square, the immortals could still accept that result. But Fang Yuan had sneakily avoided them completely, his actions was simply theft in their eyes, he was unscrupulous and shameless. Why had they been working so hard over these last days? It was all useless. Even though the southern border GU immortals did not attack, they had used all their investigative methods. In a short amount of time, Fang Yuan felt dozens of mental waves sweeping across his body. His anxiety increased, his muscles were contracted, all of the hair on his body was standing. Even though he was using the immortal killer move familiar face, it was a modified version. And even if it was the original, times had changed, some GU immortals might have developed new investigative methods that could expose it. Fang Yuan was confident in deceiving the rank 6 and 7 GU immortals. But against rank 8 GU immortals, he was not as confident. Time continued to pass, as Fang Yuan waited. Fang Yuan's mind was filled with thoughts that churned like a sea. As he took over the immortal GU house slowly, graceful chaotic dual stage's inner structure was exposed to Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan used all his time and effort to learn about these immortal GU and mortal GU. At this crucial point of time, Wisdom Path Grand Master attainment level helped him immensely. Using these immortal GU and mortal GU, Fang Yuan could deduce many things about the immortal GU house. Thus, Fang Yuan's understanding of the immortal GU house, graceful chaotic dual stage, rose rapidly from a state of nothingness. Success! Fang Yuan's eyes shined, he shouted internally. At this moment, he had finally succeeded, he completely took over the immortal GU house graceful chaotic dual stage. This immortal GU house belonged to him entirely, at Fang Yuan's will, this immortal GU house flew out. Bam! At this moment, the medical ward's doors were broken through. Xiao Shan, Lu Zuanfeng and another rank 5 GU master charged in ferociously with their troops. There and that one there, they are all suspicious, kill them. Xiao Shan was filled with killing intent, he pointed at 3 beds as he screamed. It turned out that not only were the southern border GU immortals themselves investigating, they were sending their pawns in both the righteous and demonic factions to undergo a bloodbath. Anyone that was found suspicious by the GU immortals was mercilessly killed, in order to find this accursed mastermind, Fang Yuan. The southern border GU immortals were all anxious. Even if their identities and the truth behind Yitian Mountain were exposed, they could not care less. Even though they did not see through familiar face, they were still suspicious of me, Fang Yuan muttered internally. Xiao Shan pointed at 3 suspicious people, Fang Yuan was one of them. Rank 5 GU Master Sun Pang who walked towards him with a ruthless expression, Fang Yuan felt completely calm, feeling no nervousness. Of course, on the outside, Fang Yuan showed a confused and angry expression, he screamed, "What are you doing? I am not a spy from the righteous path. Who cares if you are not? Sun Panghu shouted, pouncing towards Fang Yuan and kicking directly in the chest. Fang Yuan's chest was caving inwards, his heart was crushed as blood oozed out. Fang Yuan shouted in pain as he tried to retaliate. But Sun Panghu's punch sent him flying. Boom! Fang Yuan's corpse hit the wall, it slowly slid down, sprawling on the ground with his eyes wide open, he had died. Go to the next site. After settling this, Xiao Shan waved his hand as he brought his people elsewhere. The remaining injured members were all left panicking, there were also 3 unlucky corpses. Naturally, Fang Yuan was not dead. This was a disguise. Familiar Face's disguise was limited to a human-like form, but it was very easy to show an appearance of death. Fang Yuan still needed some time. Taking over the Immortal GU House graceful chaotic duel stage was not enough, there was still one matter he had to settle first. That was, to suppress the great strength true martial immortal zombie. There was still some immortal essence left inside graceful chaotic duel stage. Fang Yuan mobilized the Immortal GU House and created a huge force with his battle will, assaulting the great strength true martial immortal zombie. The slumbering rank 8 immortal zombie opened his eyes, resisting violently. Fang Yuan snorted internally. Sure enough, it will not be easy. He was not surprised. In his previous life, this rank 8 great strength true martial immortal zombie had charged out. Fang Yuan had previously deduced the possibility of the great strength true martial immortal zombie retaliating. A great strength true martial immortal zombie was something Fang Yuan required, he was not going to let it go, he prepared many methods just for this situation. But just as he was about to strike, tribulation clouds rumbled in the sky as the earth started to shake. The southern border GU immortals were uncertain, they shouted, what is going on? This seems like the prelude to a heavenly tribulation or earthly calamity. Why would there be a tribulation out of nowhere? Is someone undergoing tribulation? Who cares about the tribulation? What I am concerned about now is finding that thief who stole our immortal GU house. Fang Yuan was surprised. It is not time yet, why is this happening earlier? Oh no, the tribulations are already starting, then, is Shadow Sect also here already? Fang Yuan knew this was turning bad, he hesitated. Activating the tribulations in advance, was it the influence of my rebirth? Shadow Sect is a mysterious and huge power, should I retreat? Actually, at this point, it was okay to give up on the great strength true martial immortal zombie. After all, this was not the only possible great strength true martial immortal zombie in the world, there was still He Lu Lan. Even though Fang Yuan and He Lu Lan had an agreement, once it expired, or if he used an information path method to nullify the agreement, Fang Yuan would be able to target He Lu Lan. In the past, Fang Yuan did not have the strength to deal with He Lu Lan. That was because He Lu Lan was backed by Fairy Li Shan and Blazing Heaven Demoness. But now, Fang Yuan had the Immortal GU house, if he disregarded the Immortal Essence cost, he could suppress all 3 of these women, who cared if she was rank 7, rank 8, or had one of the 10 extreme physiques. With the Immortal GU house, Fang Yuan had sufficient confidence. However, it is quite a big loss if I give up. This is a rank 8 great strength true martial immortal zombie plotting against He Lu Lan will be a matter for the future. Who can be certain about the future? How can I ensure that I will succeed? The alliance agreement was just set recently, if I give up now, it will take too long to deal with He Lu Lan, unexpected surprises might occur. While he was hesitating, a change occurred in the sky. Old Man Yanxi appeared, leading the GU immortals of the 10 extreme physiques in setting up the 10 extreme immortal zombie lifeless formation. The southern border GU immortals were encircled, after feeling shocked, rage rose in their hearts. A GU immortal shouted, who are you? Were you behind the theft of the Immortal GU house? A rank 8 GU immortal snorted, cowards hiding yourselves, show your faces if you dare, I want to see who dares to plot against me in southern border. Old Man Yanxi looked at the southern border immortals as he smiled coldly in disdain, he turned around and looked at Ying Wuxie, I have already told you everything that needs to be done, you need to remember them. Ying Wuxie blinked innocently, he nodded, you can go ahead and die, don't worry about me. He was just born 12 hours ago, his cultivation level was at rank 6, he had become a GU immortal. But he was still very ignorant about the world, and about life and death. Old Man Yanxi shook his head helplessly. He naturally did not originally intend to create such an assistant. It is a pity, my attainment in human path cannot compare to Ren Zhu. The 10 extreme physiques from Ren Zhu could exist for a long time. But my pure dream reality seeker physique can only live for 18 hours. Even though the weakness of a sleeping soul was eliminated, the memories in the soul are still being lost by the effect of the dream path Tao marks. This way, there was no use in transferring a large amount of information into Ying Wuxia's mind. The more information he got, the faster he would forget them. Only if he tried to memorize it himself would there be some effectiveness. Old man Yan Shi concealed his regret. I am going now, but before dying, I will make a deduction for you. Be careful, one of us, old man Yan Shi said his final words before turning into powder, dissipating in the wind. Including his soul, many Shadow Sect GU Immortals sacrificed themselves, sending their souls into the giant formation. 10 Extreme Immortal Zombie Lifeless Formation, created by the sacrifice of many GU Immortals, it had reached 90% completion. The southern border GU Immortals had already tried to break this formation. Now that it was 90% complete, the southern border GU Immortals were startled and fearful. Above them, the Thousand Pearl Light Tribulation descended. The southern border GU Immortals gave up on breaking out. They had to deal with the impending tribulations first. Chapter 1003. Fang Yuan defeats Bo Qing in one move. Shadow Sect also came earlier. Fang Yuan looked at the sky, mumbling to himself internally. Although he wholeheartedly wanted to finish his plan early, after putting it into practice, he knew that although his plan was great on paper, the way events unfolded in reality turned him helpless. In his previous life, the southern border GU Immortals resisted several waves of tribulations before Shadow Sect's GU Immortals made their appearance. This life, however, Shadow Sect's GU Immortals also appeared early and arranged the 10 Extreme Immortal Zombie Lifeless Formation. Since this formation had succeeded, Fang Yuan was no longer in a hurry to retreat. The reason was simple: the worst situation had already appeared. Like in his previous life, Fang Yuan's fixed immortal travel would also be ineffective in this formation. Even with the Immortal GU House Graceful Chaotic Dual Stage, it would take some time to break through the 90% complete 10 Extreme Immortal Zombie Lifeless Formation. Fang Yuan had deciphered many battlefield killer moves, particularly in Eastern Sea's Yulu Blessed Land. However, Yulu Blessed Land's battlefield killer moves might be exquisite, but they were unmanned, and were arrangements that were fixed in place. Even if someone took control of them, their strongest state might not even match 1% of this 10 Extreme Immortal Zombie Lifeless Formation. Although Fang Yuan was not a formation path GU Immortal and also was not proficient in it, he at least had this insight. If he went out now, he would definitely be a target for all. The southern border GU Immortals would not let him go, and Shadow Sect's GU Immortals naturally would not just look on as the Immortal GU House was taken by Fang Yuan. Suppress the great strength true martial Immortal Zombie first, then look for a good opportunity to use the Immortal GU House to forcibly break through. Fang Yuan concentrated on the great strength true martial Immortal Zombie. The sudden appearance of Shadow Sect's GU Immortals had somewhat helped Fang Yuan from a certain perspective. If not for their appearance, the southern border GU Immortals would definitely concentrate on Fang Yuan. The pressure on Fang Yuan had relaxed. He had even more energy to deal with the great strength true martial Immortal Zombie now. What made Fang Yuan shocked was that this Immortal Zombie still had quite a bit of strength left. Facing Fang Yuan's continuous offense, he activated Immortal GU to mobilize his battle will and resisted fiercely and decisively. For a moment, Fang Yuan was on the back foot. This Immortal Zombie is also an astute schemer. Previously, he used battle will to try to refine the Immortal GU House, but failed. Probably because of exhaustion, he went into a deep sleep. While in his sleep, he accumulated his strength in the hope that when he woke up, he could use the accumulated energy to turn around the situation. Fang Yuan guessed, involuntarily having some admiration for such an opponent. If the great strength true martial Immortal Zombie cultivated strength path, he quite likely would not have such a method. However, this Immortal Zombie was different. He had such good strength path talent, but he actually gave it up to cultivate wisdom path. Who knew what he was thinking? But Fang Yuan knew that it was his wisdom path method that allowed him to forcibly dig a way out in this situation of certain loss. Maybe this Immortal Zombie had already woken up and slept many times, repeating it and accumulating battle will. But during his sleep, the Immortal GU House would purify his battle will. If not for Fang Yuan interfering, according to such a course of events continuing, this Immortal Zombie could definitely free himself. He would not only be able to free himself, he could also obtain Graceful Chaotic Dual Stage. Unfortunately, his scheme was for naught, as Fang Yuan overtook him. While Fang Yuan was dealing with this great strength true martial Immortal Zombie, the situation in the sky around Yitian Mountain was rapidly changing. Thousand Pearl Light Tribulation, Dark Flying Frost, desolate beasts, dragon roar tribulation, four inferno clouds tribulation, snow war tribulation lightning. Like the previous life, waves after waves of tribulations, with increasingly frightening might, descended upon the southern border GU Immortals, inflicting severe losses. It was not that they hadn't tried breaking the formation. But how could they break through the 90% complete 10 extreme immortal zombie lifeless formation? Like in the previous life, they mistakenly thought Ying Wuxie was the greatest flaw, but they were struck by the immortal killer move lead soul into dream, and had to halt in defeat. Later, they entrusted hope in the tribulations, hoping that the tribulations could destroy the 10 extreme immortal zombie lifeless formation. But Shadow Sect's GU Immortals started initiating their offensive. As time passed, under the graceful chaotic dual stage, the great strength true martial immortal zombies' resistance was becoming weaker and weaker. While Fang Yuan slowly saw hope, the southern border GU Immortals had already lost theirs. Almost all of them were dead, either dying to the battle formation from the extreme immortal zombies, or dying under the terrifying tribulations. The only remaining 2 rank 8s were heavily injured, running like headless chickens in the gaps between the tribulations and Shadow Sect's offense. Fang Yuan was also without other options. It was not that he did not try to help these southern border GU Immortals. He still had not completely suppressed the great strength true martial immortal zombie, so he naturally hoped these southern border GU Immortals could stall for some time. Not long earlier, he had secretly transmitted his voice, trying to inform these GU Immortals about the power of Ying Wuxie. But the 10 extreme immortal zombie lifeless formation had already spread to 10,000 li around Yitian Mountain. Not only did it isolate the space, it also stopped sound transmissions. Fang Yuan was unable to achieve what he wanted. Fang Yuan had tried other methods as well, but they all failed. After several attempts, Fang Yuan had wisely given up, placing all his concentration back upon the great strength true martial immortal zombie. At the same time, high in the sky, a tall and white tower was quietly hovering. Immortal GU House Heaven Overseeing Tower. Tower Lord, the southern border GU Immortals are already almost all dead, should we make a move now? Bai Chentian asked. Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord held his walking stick. With the help of Heaven Overseeing Tower, his gaze pierced through all obstacles and saw the battlefield below clearly. Such a powerful formation. This formation is seemingly an ancient battle formation, but in fact it relies on the Tao marks of the 10 extreme physiques. A man-made formation has the intrinsic qualities of a battlefield killer move. But this formation has a flaw, that is, it lacks one last strength path extreme physique. If all 10 extremes were to really gather, that would be quite a thorny situation. Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord remarked. No wonder Shadow Sect's people thought of all possible methods to capture that great strength true martial immortal zombie under the mountain. Lian Zhusheng suddenly realized. Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord stroked his beard. It is not easy to take the great strength true martial immortal zombie. They must pass the obstacle that is graceful chaotic dual stage. Let's wait for now. Bo Qing and the others have yet to appear. In this journey, we have brought 13 GU Immortals, along with the immortal GU House Heaven Overseeing Tower. But we have passed the regional wall through White Heaven without stopping on our way. We are not in optimal condition. The enemies still have trump cards unused, let them bustle about first. Even if the southern border GU Immortals are annihilated, aren't there still the tribulations? HMPH that person refuses to stay dead, he wants to return but has provoked the fury of Heaven's will. The mighty tribulations will become increasingly terrifying. Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord was not hurried. This was different from the previous life. In the previous life, when he saw the great strength true martial immortal zombie appearing again, he had immediately struck with a vicious attack. But in this life, the great strength true martial immortal zombie was suppressed by Fang Yuan. He could not even budge, much less appear out in the open, thus Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord was not in a hurry to make a move. Although his 12 companions had a common goal and all had rank 8 cultivation, Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord did not dare to make a rash move. Heavenly Court is still not making a move. Far away, Bo Qing was gazing at the sky solemnly. In the previous life, he was unable to attack Heavenly Lotus Sect and could only choose to attack Combat Immortal Sect, which made Shadow Sect's previous arrangements useless. But in this life, there were divergences. Vice Envoy Blue, who was 7-star child, did not die, and together with Yu Mu Chun and Song Zixing, they activated an immortal killer move to transport themselves quickly to Heavenly Lotus Sect. Attacking this sect was among Shadow Sect's plans. Bo Qing and the rest delayed some time before retreating. However, Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord was not easy to deceive. The unease inside him caused him to immediately return to Heavenly Court and use Heaven Overseeing Tower to make calculations. When he deduced Yitian Mountain, this crucial area, he quickly summoned as many GU immortals as he could and moved out together with Heaven Overseeing Tower, traveling to this place without resting. Since he won't make a move, we will. Song Zizing's voice came through an information path. GU worm. Bo Qing nodded. Let me go first. Next moment, dazzling light shot to the sky, an immortal GU house of a majestic scale appeared in everyone's vision. Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord was surprised. This immortal GU house had been hiding in the 10 extreme immortal zombie lifeless formation. Who knew what methods were used? He had actually not sensed it. The immortal GU house flew to the sky before fiercely crashing down on Yitian Mountain. Fang Yuan's expression was ashen, his eyes shining with a cold brilliance. Immortal GU house Sacred Feather City. He gritted his teeth. He had not thought that at this crucial moment, Sacred Feather City, which was originally owned by the Featherman GU Immortals, would appear at this place. The moment this city appeared, Fang Yuan had started feeling uneasy. Now, seeing this enormous immortal GU house falling down on him, Fang Yuan's heart sank to rock bottom. He was extremely unwilling, he was just a few steps away from success. The rank 8 great strength true martial immortal zombie was already on the verge of defeat and would not be able to hold on any longer. But now, he had to stop. The Sacred Feather City directly smashed down. Fang Yuan had to activate Graceful Chaotic Dual Stage to resist it. If the immortal GU house was not activated, its battle strength could not be displayed. The amount of immortal essence used in the activation process would determine whether the immortal GU house's battle strength would be high or low. Even Heaven Overseeing Tower, a rank 9 immortal GU house, had a portion cut by Bo Qing's sword light in its inactive state. Graceful Chaotic Dual Stage, rise. Fang Yuan resolutely called out internally, no longer concealing himself, showing his real body. Yitian Mountain instantly crumbled, while Graceful Chaotic Dual Stage shot towards the sky like a crimson meteor. It also had space path GU worms, bursting out with a powerful and formless force that instantly transported Fang Yuan inside. Right now, Fang Yuan was officially controlling Graceful Chaotic Dual Stage. Merely Sacred Feather City. Fang Yuan snorted inwardly, and with a flourish of his hand, rank 9 Yellow Apricot Immortal Essence spread out. Rank 9 Immortal Essence from Giant Sun Immortal Venerable, it was nothing to scoff at. Graceful Chaotic Dual Stage was originally shrouded within an aura of red light a few meters in size. But after the expenditure of Yellow Apricot Immortal Essence, this red light was like a volcano, as it violently enlarged to 15 or 20 meters. What? Bo Qing, who was controlling Sacred Feather City, called out in shock. Boom! An earth-shaking explosion erupted. Sacred Feather City was ruthlessly sent flying by Graceful Chaotic Dual Stage. Large amounts of city walls, gates and tiles were sent flying everywhere, turning into corpses of GU worms which then scattered along with the air. There was no doubt about it, Fang Yuan defeated Bo Qing in one move. Chapter 1004. Deep Underlying Schemes, Great Danger. Fang Yuan repelled Sacred Feather City. He did not know that immortal zombie Bo Qing was inside manipulating it. Using this opportunity, Fang Yuan maneuvered Graceful Chaotic Dual Stage, turning around in the sky and crashing towards Yitian Mountain again. Along the way, tribulations rained down and hit Graceful Chaotic Dual Stage, causing loud crackling sounds. Graceful Chaotic Dual Stage defended as it charged down relentlessly. It could protect itself from the tribulations. At this moment, Yitian Mountain had already collapsed, turning into a ruin. Yitian Mountain's demonic path GU masters were all heavily injured or dead. Corpses were everywhere. It was a terrible sight. Fang Yuan took a glance and then stopped looking at these lowly mortals. His eyes were shining with cold light. At this point, he was still unwilling to give up. The earlier suppression failed, but Fang Yuan still had a chance. Great strength true martial immortal zombie, you are mine. Graceful Chaotic Dual Stage was about to charge down again, when a second immortal GU house blocked Fang Yuan's path. This immortal GU house was entirely black, it gave off a metallic luster. It was also in the form of a fortress. But it was not as grand as Sacred Feather City, it was a battle fort that was forged with steel. To compare them, Sacred Feather City was like a gentlemanly prince, while this immortal GU house was a warrior clad in steel armor. Fang Yuan's eyes shined with bright light, he gritted his teeth and charged down again. He had to race against time. The more time the rank 8 great strength true martial immortal zombie had, the more he could recover to a better state. Boom! With a huge sound that could burst eardrums, the two immortal GU houses crashed into each other. A huge shock wave was generated, blasting out in all directions. The shock waves caused rocks from the mountain to fly away, among them were the corpses of GU masters. The two immortal GU houses were in a deadlock. Even though graceful chaotic dual stage had a powerful charge, the iron fortress-like immortal GU house could barely hold it off. Both sides were contesting. The iron fortress immortal GU house was slowly pushed back, but graceful chaotic dual stage was losing its momentum. Graceful chaotic dual stage is a rank 7 immortal GU house. This other immortal GU house is likely also rank 7, specialized in defense. Fang Yuan had a realization. He sighed, knowing that he had lost his opportunity. He had tried hard, but because of obstructions, he did not succeed. This amount of time was enough for the rank 8 great strength true martial immortal zombie to break free from the force of Fang Yuan's suppression and recover. Fang Yuan's attempt failed. He immediately tried to retreat, leaving this troublesome place. Turning around, graceful chaotic dual stage flew into the sky. Fang Yuan did not fly directly upwards, he crashed towards the southeast direction. The third and fourth immortal GU houses appeared consecutively. These two immortal GU houses were small, one was filled with blood-red light, in the shape of a chariot. The other was dark and eerie, it was an old castle with grey tiles and white walls. 4 immortal GU houses trapped graceful chaotic dual stage, which Fang Yuan was controlling. Fang Yuan charged in all directions, but he was obstructed by the 4 immortal GU houses. He could not gather enough force to charge out of the 10 extreme immortal zombie lifeless formation. Inside graceful chaotic dual stage, Fang Yuan's expression was dark. He did not expect Shadow Sect to make such a huge move. An immortal GU house was already very rare. Shadow Sect actually took out 4 immortal GU houses. What were they trying to do by being so relentless? Even though the situation was not in his favor, Fang Yuan was still calm. The enemy might be strong, but it was not a desperate situation yet, because one party had not joined the fight yet. Fang Yuan looked into the sky from time to time, he was waiting. Would Heavenly Court fail to deduce that Shadow Sect was attacking early? Even if they failed, by this time, they should have arrived. When Heavenly Court's GU Immortals attack, the situation would be chaotic. Fang Yuan would be able to take advantage of the confusion. But Heavenly Court's GU Immortals, why are they not attacking yet? Fang Yuan thought as he reduced graceful chaotic dual stage's power purposely. The immortal GU house that was shining with bright red light turned from brilliant to faint. At once, the situation changed. Fang Yuan's graceful chaotic dual stage was suppressed by 4 immortal GU houses. Inside Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord's eyes were shining with white light that gradually faded. He used Heaven Overseeing Tower earlier to make a deduction, it had just ended. He smiled coldly. The person inside graceful chaotic dual stage is an otherworldly demon. His name is Gu Fang Yuan. The destruction of Imperial Court Blessed Land and the collapse of 88 Truyong building had been done by him. This person seems to have some sort of relationship with Red Lotus Demon Venerable and Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. Don't think that he is being suppressed in this current scenario, he is just acting so that we will strike. Oh, then, are Fang Yuan and Shadow Sect allies or enemies? Is their intense battle just an act? Lian Zhusheng asked in confusion. Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord waved his hand. I am not interested in Fang Yuan and Shadow Sect's relationship, it is not important. Since he wants to lure us to attack, let's do it. The 10 extreme immortal zombie lifeless formation is part of the enemy's crucial plan. I have already deduced that they have obtained that final key immortal zombie. Everyone, come with me, activate Heaven Overseeing Tower and destroy the formation, ruin the enemy's scheme. Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord called out and everyone responded, they were full of intent to fight. The Heavenly Court GU Immortals around him all had stern expressions, they attacked together. A beam of light shot towards the 10 extreme formation. I wanted to use Fang Yuan to prevent the Heavenly Court GU Immortals from attacking, so as to stall for time. It seems that such a shallow scheme cannot deceive these Heavenly Court members. Attack, Envoy Blue, our 7-star child ordered as he thought over Shadow Sect's situation. Good, Heavenly Court is attacking. Fang Yuan was just starting to feel joy when he saw 3 more immortal GU houses emerging. One was a pavilion with red bricks and green tiles. One was a manor with white traces flying around. One was an altar with shiny golden lights. The 3 immortal GU houses worked together to resist the attack from Heaven Overseeing Tower. Fang Yuan did not know what to say. Since when did immortal GU houses become so commonplace? They were emerging one after another, what were they planning to do? Fang Yuan's sense of unease was growing. He had thought that the mysteries behind the Battle of Yitian Mountain were as deep as a lake. But to think that this place was as deep as an ocean. The hidden details simply ran too deeply. In the 500 years of his previous life, during the 5 regions chaotic war, a battle of such a scale numbered to less than 5. Good. Sacred Feather City, Unbreakable Iron Fortress, Blood River Chariot, Nightmare Castle, Green Wave Pavilion, Weaving Cocoon Manor, Golden Altar. 7 immortal GU houses were forced out by my one move. From inside Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord's voice could be heard. He exposed the names of Shadow Sect's immortal GU house. His voice was loud as thunder, it could be heard over the surrounding thousands of li. Now then, we will let you see the might of Heaven Overseeing Tower. Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord shouted as the heavens shook. Rank 9 immortal GU house, Heaven Overseeing Tower, activated fully. There was no warning, the sky turned white, the world turned white. Even Fang Yuan, who was inside graceful chaotic dual stage, at this moment could only see white. Light was everywhere, white light. It filled the entire world, all the space in this world was filled with white light. The light seemed harmless, Fang Yuan did not even feel a sense of danger. This what sort of attack? When the white light faded, Fang Yuan regained his senses slowly. Taking a look, his body shook. In the sky, debris of these immortal GU houses was falling down. The falling debris turned back into countless GU worms as they fell. Not a single GU worm survived. The corpses of these GU worms fell in the air, scattering everywhere. The most mysterious thing was, from the outside, these dead GU worms did not have any injuries, but they had lost all traces of life. The 3 immortal GU houses closest to Heaven Overseeing Tower, Green Wave Pavilion, Weaving Cocoon Manor, and Golden Altar had broken apart. The remaining immortal GU houses were also heavily damaged. But overall, Fang Yuan's graceful chaotic dual stage had suffered the least damage. Did Heavenly Court spare me? Fang Yuan had a thought but he quickly denied it. HMPH. Otherworldly Demon, Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord gave graceful chaotic dual stage a look as he directed his attention towards the 10 extreme immortal zombie lifeless formation. The move earlier had activated Fate Immortal GU, creating an incredibly strong attack. This was an attack that carried the power of fate. Fate was predestined. If one is not fated, no matter how hard they work, they will not achieve anything. If fate decrees that you fail, you will fail. This was an unavoidable attack. It could have destroyed the 10 extreme formation, but these 3 immortal GU houses sacrificed themselves and endured the attack. In contrast, from the 10 extreme immortal zombie lifeless formation, Ying Wuxie had flown out, his spot was taken over by the rank 8 great strength true martial immortal zombie. After being suppressed for so many years, I faced such a great enemy upon escaping. Ha ha ha, I like it. The rank 8 great strength true martial immortal zombie raised his head and laughed. He pointed at Heaven Overseeing Tower, shouting, "Scoundrels from Heavenly Court, come. Celebrate my resurrection." The fully completed 10 extreme immortal zombie lifeless formation activated. Dark clouds formed, covering the entire battlefield, spreading out endlessly at a rapid speed. All 10 of the extreme immortal zombies were hidden in the dark clouds, their traces were gone. Countless immortal apertures were drawn out by the mystical power of the formation, they resembled starlight. These immortal apertures were left behind after the southern border GU immortals died. The immortal apertures went into the deep part of the dark clouds and gathered. Countless GU worms, both immortal and mortal, were flying about inside the dark clouds. At this point, Fang Yuan finally understood something. So this 10 extreme immortal zombie lifeless formation is actually a refinement path GU formation. What is Shadow Sect trying to refine? They actually use the southern border GU immortals immortal apertures as the refinement materials. Such a method was simply unheard of. The high and mighty GU immortals were like ants now, casually killed and used to refine GU. Even Fang Yuan, with his 500 years of experience, had never seen something like this. Shadow Sect, a mysterious force hidden in the depths of history, its true motive and plan that had been ongoing for countless years was finally going to show itself. Chapter 1005, Thousand-Year Traitor, Stalling. You actually activated this formation in front of us. Even though you were once invincible in the world, you are already dead now. If you do not respect us, so be it, but such a heaven-defying act to transgress against heaven's will, how can we let you succeed? Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord shouted, gathering the strength of the Heavenly Court Immortals to use Heaven Overseeing Tower's strongest attack again. Endure it. The Shadow Sect Immortals, who had predicted this, activated their immortal GU houses and charged up. The world turned white. The attack from fate could not be defended against. After recovering his senses, Fang Yuan spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was purple-gold in color. Even though he was an otherworldly demon, he was still a part of the world, and under its influence, his injuries were only less severe than others. Taking another look, Fang Yuan saw that the Immortal Gu House's unbreakable iron fortress, Blood River Chariot, and Nightmare Castle had broken apart, turning into fragments and falling from the sky. Fang Yuan's graceful chaotic duel stage had also suffered huge losses, even though it was inside the 10 extreme immortal zombie lifeless formation. Up to 1,000 mortal Gu had died, 2 immortal Gu were on the verge of death, they already could not be used. 3 out of 7 of the duel stage's edges had broken apart. But Fang Yuan was happy about this. He wanted Heavenly Court to continue attacking this 10 extreme formation. Once there was an opening, he could escape. The situation was getting clearer. Evidently, Heavenly Court's Gu Immortals were here for Shadow Sect. If Fang Yuan escaped now, Heavenly Court's Gu Immortals would not have the spare energy to attack him. Under Fang Yuan's expectant gaze, Heaven Overseeing Tower was surrounded in white light once again. The white light gathered and became thicker. When it accumulated to its maximum capacity, it would unleash Fate's strongest attack again. By then, the 10 extreme formation would definitely be breached. Whoosh! With a burst of wind, Sacred Feather City moved towards Fang Yuan to crash into him. You are not dealing with Heavenly Court's Gu Immortals, but approaching me instead. Fang Yuan snickered, but did not fight the other party. He craftily maneuvered graceful chaotic duel stage, dodging everywhere and awaiting the next attack of Heavenly Court's Gu Immortals. Boom! Suddenly, Heaven Overseeing Tower shook immensely, the accumulated white light exploded and vanished. Heaven Overseeing Tower was covered in blemishes, it was heavily damaged. The Heavenly Court Gu Immortals in the tower were spitting out blood, facing the damage of the backlash. In Sacred Feather City, 7-Star Child's voice could be heard. Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord, you fell for our trap. At this moment, in Sacred Feather City, there were more than 10 Shadow Sect Gu Immortals, with Immortal Zombie 7-Star Child, Immortal Zombie Bo Ching, and Ying Wuxie at the lead. The other 6 Immortal Gu houses were destroyed, but Shadow Sect's Gu Immortals used some space path method to escape, gathering in this final Immortal Gu house, Sacred Feather City. With the 10 extreme immortal zombie lifeless formation, and having planned for so long, it was not strange that Shadow Sect could do this with their territorial advantage. How can this be? Fang Yuan saw the damage and was shocked and doubtful. Inside Heaven Overseeing Tower, the Heavenly Court Gu Immortals reacted one by one. Heaven Overseeing Tower is a rank 9 immortal Gu house, how can it be damaged so heavily? Earlier, Shadow Sect did not strike, that means Heaven Overseeing Tower itself has a problem. There are traitors in Heavenly Court. Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord's expression was grim as he looked at Bai Chen Tian and Lian Zhusheng fixedly. After Sword Immortal Bo Qing awakened, sword lights rampaged over Central Continent, one had cut Heaven Overseeing Tower. To prevent the Sword Chi from destroying more Gu worms and causing bigger damage, Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord had repaired it with Bai Chen Tian and Lian Zhusheng. Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord had no issues, of course, thus, the traitor was either Bai Chen Tian or Lian Zhusheng. Hearing Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord's words, the other Gu Immortals reacted, quickly moving away from these 2 suspects, encircling them in the process. Wait, how can I be a traitor from Shadow Sect? Bai Chen Tian's expression was shocked and furious, he defended himself. To join Heavenly Court, there are countless trials to go through. Heavenly Court has already existed for 3 million years, since when had any traitors appeared? Maybe this is a method from Shadow Sect, the urgent matter now is to destroy this refinement path formation. We must not fall for Shadow Sect's scheme of sowing dissension. Bai Chen Tian's expression was sincere, his anxiety could not be concealed. Ha ha ha, Lian Zhusheng beside him laughed loudly, his expression was dark as he looked around, speaking eerily, precisely because it was created 3 million years ago, any strict test or trial is already too outdated. How hard can it be to infiltrate Heavenly Court? Lian Zhusheng, you! Bai Chen Tian shouted, taking a step back in shock. So Lian Zhusheng is the traitor. Are you Lian Zhusheng, or someone else? Heavenly Court's Gu Immortals were preparing themselves for a fight, but nobody made a move yet. Lian Zhusheng never existed in the first place. You want to stop me? Not even the rank 9 immortal Gu house can succeed. He, survive this first. Saying this, Lian Zhusheng died. A large burst of green wind blew out from within him. Winds of assimilation. With his identity exposed, Lian Zhusheng immediately suicided, destroying his immortal aperture and creating the winds of assimilation. Such resolution and boldness, he was just like Qin Bai Sheng. Winds of assimilation could assimilate everything, they were extraordinary. But this was the internal space of the rank 9 Immortal GU House Heaven Overseeing Tower. Before the winds of assimilation grew any further, Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord and the others spent a great deal of effort to quickly quell the winds. But Lian Zhusheng's death did not simply only create this wind. Since there were traitors in Heavenly Court, was Lian Zhusheng the only one? Were there others? The United Heavenly Court GU Immortals were starting to have trust issues. Heavenly Court's investigative methods have not been modified for many years. According to his ability, it is not impossible to infiltrate Heavenly Court. A Heavenly Court GU Immortal said gravely. Is Heaven Overseeing Tower's damage severe? More people were concerned about this. Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord shook his head. 40% of Heaven Overseeing Tower was destroyed. We cannot use the attack from earlier again. If we attempt to force its use, it will only lead to Heaven Overseeing Tower breaking apart. After Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord said that, he sighed deeply. If it were not for Fate GU being incomplete, Shadow Sect would definitely not succeed. Although one had to admit that the creation of an undercover agent by Shadow Sect was simply brilliant. Lian Zhusheng had been there for 1,000 years, nobody had ever suspected him. Once he took action, he temporarily destroyed Heaven Overseeing Tower's strongest attacking method. Of course, the underlying cause for this was Shadow Sect exploiting Red Lotus Demon Venerable's achievement. If Fate Immortal GU was fully intact, Heaven Overseeing Tower would be able to stop its own attack, there would be no backlash. Everyone, the traitor is already exposed, why are you still encircling me? Bai Chentian could not bear to remain in this state, he asked this. The Immortals finally reacted, apologizing as they left the encirclement. But Heavenly Court's GU Immortals were not completely trusting of Bai Chentian, some of their gazes towards him carried deep suspicion. Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord saw this and was alarmed and fearful. He quickly spoke to control the situation. Everyone, listen to me, do not be suspicious of one another. Lian Zhusheng was merely exaggerating. If he could continue to lurk, how could he expose himself? If Heavenly Court had many spies, Heaven Overseeing Tower would have been destroyed long ago. Why would they only reach this point? The morale of the Immortals rose, realizing at once. So close, we almost fell for their scheme. Tower Lord is right, it is Shadow Sect's limit to achieve this much. If Lian Zhusheng could really resist our investigative methods, why would he expose himself in suicide? He had no confidence. This shows that our methods are still useful. Let's not consider how Lian Zhusheng got into Heavenly Court for now. The urgent matter now is the formation down there. Heaven Overseeing Tower might have lost its strongest attack, but we still have hope. As long as we work together, the power of a rank 9 Immortal GU house can still destroy their schemes. The Immortals were all experienced veterans. After discussing, their morale was raised once again. Heaven Overseeing Tower was activated, crashing down like a meteor. Shadow Sect did not block it. They opened a gap in the formation and allowed Heaven Overseeing Tower to get in. Fang Yuan wanted to leave, but was obstructed by Sacred Feather City. Thus, inside the formation, 3 Immortal GU houses engaged in a chaotic battle. Even though the rank 9 Heaven Overseeing Tower was heavily damaged, it was still an overlord. It charged around with an unstoppable might. Shadow Sect used the power of Sacred Feather City and the 10 Extreme Immortal Zombie Lifeless formation to barely contest with Heaven Overseeing Tower. Meanwhile, Fang Yuan was maneuvering graceful chaotic dual stage, with evasion as his priority. Compared to before, Fang Yuan's predicament was much better now. Because Shadow Sect and Heavenly Court had both suffered immense losses. As Fang Yuan was an otherworldly demon, his losses were actually the smallest among them. No need to rush. Shadow Sect and Heavenly Court are irreconcilable enemies. They will continue to fight intensely. As they continue to weaken themselves, I will have an opportunity. Right now, my priority is to preserve my strength. Fang Yuan assessed. No need to be hasty. As long as we are inside the formation, the other party needs to focus their attention on Heaven Overseeing Tower. The longer we drag, the stronger the calamities and tribulations, and the higher our chances of winning. Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord looked at the situation and explained to the Heavenly Court Immortals. Stall. Inside Sacred Feather City, Immortal Zombie Bo Qing called out. 7-Star Child continued. That's right, we have Ying Wuxie. The longer we drag this on, the higher his cultivation level, and the stronger his Dream Path killer move. Dream Path is beyond this era, even Heaven Overseeing Tower cannot defend against it. Against Dream Path attacks, it would have almost no defense. Are you talking about me? Ying Wuxie stared with wide-opened eyes, pointing at himself. 7-Star Child nodded. Even Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord cannot deduce your actual situation. The only concern now is, the higher your cultivation level, the more sophisticated your killer move, Lead Soul into Dream, becomes. But this immortal killer move needs more GU worms to become stronger, the activation process also becomes more complex. You need to use it properly, there cannot be a mistake. Ying Wuxie breathed in deeply, waving his hands with a fearful look. Uncle Zombie, I am getting nervous after hearing that. Coincidentally, Shadow Sect, Heavenly Court, and Fang Yuan, all three of them were thinking of stalling for time. But in the end, who would get the last laugh? Chapter 1006, continuously going in and out. Bam bam bam, waves and waves of lightning strikes rained down continuously. Before the previous wave dissipated, the next wave struck. The entire sky was like a dark blue forest. This forest made entirely of lightning was covered in dark clouds. The 10 extreme immortal zombie lifeless formation had already turned into dark clouds. The 10 extreme immortal zombies inside could not be found at all. This made Fang Yuan's plan of attacking the formation cores a failure. In the dark clouds, 3 meteor-like immortal GU houses circled around one another, clashing from time to time, or attacking with a long-range method. All of them were patiently waiting for an opportunity, but whose tactic would emerge victorious? As the tribulations increased in strength, the 10 extreme formation was starting to fall short, the dark clouds had scattered slightly after being struck by lightning. But it had not reached the level of weakness that Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord wanted. Because the three sides were restricting one another, Fang Yuan's opportunity never came. Okay, I have rank 7 cultivation level now. Inside Sacred Feather City, Ying Wuxie spoke cheerfully. Good, we will deal with Fang Yuan first and take graceful chaotic duel stage. 7-star child replied. Ying Wuxie nodded. Shadow Sect had specially designed the Dream Path killer move, Lead Soul into Dream, for him. They had prepared a set of GU worms, every rank of cultivation would have a corresponding version of Lead Soul into Dream. Why were they dealing with Fang Yuan first instead of Heavenly Court's GU Immortals? Firstly, Fang Yuan only had rank 6 cultivation level, he was easier to deal with. Furthermore, he had control of Graceful Chaotic Duel Stage. Once he was dealt with, they would obtain Graceful Chaotic Duel Stage to fight against Heaven Overseeing Tower. Secondly, Heavenly Court's GU Immortals were also stalling, they were not emitting strong pressure on Shadow Sect. Shadow Sect's GU Immortals realized this and were going to make use of it. Thirdly, Ying Wuxie was only rank 7, his Lead Soul into Dream was still ineffective against rank 8 GU Immortals. If Heavenly Court's GU Immortals were attacked by it in advance, they would have time to try and deduce the killer move, they might be able to resolve it later. Ying Wuxie's expression was serious as he started to use Lead Soul into Dream. Don't be nervous, do it slowly. You can do it, good luck. The other Shadow Sect GU Immortals were more nervous than Ying Wuxie himself. Rank 7 Dream Path killer move, Lead Soul into Dream. Under the Immortals' expectant gazes, Ying Wuxie did not disappoint them, he successfully activated the Dream Path killer move. Lead Soul into Dream's power was sent towards Graceful Chaotic Duel Stage formlessly. Fang Yuan was caught unprepared, he fell into a dream realm after being hit. In the pavilion on the lake, star constellation Immortal Venerable was singing while playing her zither. Fallen songs and despondent heroes, difficulty in resisting the trials of fate. Bent swords sink in the sand, rising and falling from ancient times, the rumbling of an unceasing heavenly river. Alas, spectral night carries a soul into endless dreams, where can one rest in peace? During spring and autumn body and mind shifts, only heavens will remains vast and boundless. Similar to the first 2 times, this time, a new wave of information somehow went into Fang Yuan's mind. Spectral night carries a soul into endless dreams, where can one rest in peace? Spectral night soul into endless dreams, so the truth behind Shadow Sect is like this. Fang Yuan's body and mind shook. Weird. At the same time, Ying Wuxie scratched his head inside Sacred Feather City, having a strange expression on his face. What is it? You did not succeed, the other immortals asked. They were extremely concerned about Ying Wuxie's performance. Ying Wuxie shook his head. They fell asleep and entered a dream, but this immortal killer move's effect is different from what was predicted. Shadow Sect's GU Immortals relaxed. Ying Wuxie, this is the first time you are using the rank 7 Lead Soul into Dream, it is normal for it to be different from your expectations. Since we succeeded, we should use the opportunity to obtain this immortal GU house. Sacred Feather City moved, turning around and charging towards Graceful Chaotic Duel Stage. At the same time, the dark clouds rumbled intensely, the 10 extreme immortal zombie lifeless formation coordinated with Sacred Feather City's movement. However, just as Sacred Feather City was about to hit graceful chaotic duel stage, Ying Wuxia's eyes opened wide. Oh no, he escaped from it. Lead Soul into Dream would have a wondrous effect against any other GU immortal. But against Fang Yuan specifically, it had little effect. Why? Because among all the immortals here, Fang Yuan's dream path attainment was second to Ying Wuxia's. He had his 500 years of memories, and he had the special immortal killer move, Unravel Dream. However, this move was only rank 6, Lead Soul into Dream was rank 7, it was superior. According to common sense, Fang Yuan should not be able to escape. But the dream realm he was in was very strange. Seemingly, because it was star constellation Immortal Venerable's dream, the difficulty was very low. If one use of Unravel Dream was not enough, he would use Unravel Dream more. Fang Yuan had many Dream Path Mortal GU, he could expend them a huge number of times to use the killer move Unravel Dream. The action of collecting the spring dream fruits had given Fang Yuan immense returns at this moment. But it was too late when Fang Yuan escaped from the dream. Boom! At the next moment, graceful chaotic duel stage was sent flying. Fang Yuan could not stand stably, he fell inside the immortal GU house. But he had regained his senses, he quickly made graceful chaotic duel stage fly upwards, causing Sacred Feather City's plan of immobilizing the immortal GU house to fail. What is going on? How could he escape? That was Lead Soul into Dream. Shadow Sect's immortals shouted, their expressions were like they had seen something unthinkable. This situation was too unexpected. Ying Wuxie scratched his head, he was worried too. Let me try again. Immortal killer move, Lead Soul into Dream. Fang Yuan was hit again. In the pavilion on the lake, star constellation Immortal Venerable looked at Fang Yuan, her eyes were deep like pools, her smile was light and mysterious. Her hands were holding her zither. But this time, she did not sing. The music of the zither was clear and beautiful, but Fang Yuan did not have the time to enjoy it, he knew that he was in the dream realm, how could he stay any longer? After using the killer move Unravel Dream countless times, he escaped from this dream realm. What is going on? Inside Sacred Feather City, Ying Wuxie screamed, he was being driven crazy. Just as Sacred Feather City was about to get close to graceful chaotic duel stage, Fang Yuan woke up again, manipulating the immortal GU house and escaping. Sacred Feather City was more damaged than graceful chaotic duel stage, its speed was slower now. Try again. 7-star child's expression was grim, he had a vague guess in his mind but he did not give up. Ying Wuxie quickly nodded, activating the killer move again. Damn it, this is too troublesome. The other party's dream path attainment is beyond this era. Lead Soul into Dream. Even if I am inside the immortal GU house, I cannot defend against it, I get hit every time. Fang Yuan's expression was not any better than that of 7-star child. As time passed, there were bound to be improvements. Immemorial, remote antiquity, olden antiquity, during those times, the world of human GU immortals was still not as strong as now. Of course, the rank 9 venerables were special cases, they were not considered in this. In Fang Yuan's previous life, Dream Path was flourishing, dream realms were everywhere. Many of the immortal GU houses that Super Forces owned had added Dream Path GU worms into them, to defend against methods of Dream Path, they were effective. But graceful chaotic duel stage, which Fang Yuan owned now, originated from that mysterious GU immortal from the past, it was older than the current era, it could not defend against Lead Soul into Dream. Immortal killer move, Lead Soul into Dream. Inside Sacred Feather City, Ying Wuxie shouted again. How is it? The immortals looked at Ying Wuxie. Ying Wuxie nodded with certainty, he is inside the dream. Attack! Bo Qing shouted, as Sacred Feather City got close to graceful chaotic duel stage. But graceful chaotic duel stage dodged at the nick of time again. What is going on? Didn't he go in? Why is his reaction faster this time? 7-star child frowned. He went in. No, he came out. Ying Wuxie stammered. The immortals were speechless. Inside graceful chaotic duel stage. Oh old bai, at this crucial moment, I need to depend on you, my ally. Fang Yuan had just come out of the dream realm, he patted Tai Bai Yunsheng's shoulder. A moment ago, Fang Yuan knew that Shadow Sect would not let go of him, they were sure to drag him into the dream again. Even though he could escape, he had to spend time for that. During this moment, graceful chaotic duel stage had no one to manipulate it, the other party could attack in the meantime. Thus, Fang Yuan brought out Tai Bai Yunsheng to reinforce him. Earlier, graceful chaotic dual stage could escape because Tai Bai Yunsheng was controlling it. The 10 extreme immortal zombie lifeless formation restricted space path methods, fixed immortal travel could not be used. But before Fang Yuan came here, he had already sent Tai Bai Yunsheng into his own immortal aperture. Meanwhile, He Lu Lan and Fairy Li Shan were hiding inside Tai Bai Yunsheng's immortal aperture. Fang Yuan, you are taking too huge of a gamble. Tai Bai Yunsheng manipulated the immortal Gu house as he said with shock. Even though he had observed the battlefield through Fang Yuan, this old man was shocked beyond words at the involvement of Shadow Sect and Heavenly Court. Fang Yuan laughed. The other party has dream path methods, they might target you. Call out Fairy Li Shan and He Lu Lan. At the next moment, He Lu Lan and Fairy Li Shan emerged. They had complex emotions on their faces, but among which, it was mostly shock. Looking around, He Lu Lan said, Fang Yuan, you are really good at putting yourself in danger. Her tone had a hint of admiration. Fairy Li Shan, however, said, Oh Fang Yuan, you are dragging us into a pit of fire. Fang Yuan smiled, waving his hand and saying grandly, What are you afraid of? When two tigers fight, one will definitely be injured. With you helping me, the other party cannot do anything to me. With the protection of the immortal Gu house, we might have a chance of victory. Afterwards, you will be heavily rewarded. He Lu Lan nodded, she did not speak anymore. Her eyes were shining with bright light, she was assessing graceful chaotic dual stage. Fairy Li Shan felt hugely vexed internally. Because of the new alliance agreement, she had to come. Earlier, Fang Yuan had used Yi Tian Mountain and graceful chaotic dual stage to coax them into lurking in Tai Bai Yunsheng's immortal aperture, to think that the situation had already developed beyond Fairy Li Shan's imagination. Through the immortal Gu house, they could see the battlefield outside. This famous Gu immortal who had made countless connections in northern plains was feeling great trepidation now. Like what Tai Bai Yunsheng had said earlier, Fang Yuan was taking too huge of a gamble. Could Fairy Li Shan not feel trepidation? Chapter 1007. Everyone's abilities against the Grand Tribulation. Fairy Li Shan, can you contact Blazing Heaven Demoness now? Fang Yuan observed the battlefield through the immortal Gu house and asked. In the current situation, the more reinforcements they had, the better. Blazing Heaven Demoness was not part of the new alliance agreement, this was likely He Lu Lan and Fairy Li Shan's arrangement to guard against Fang Yuan. But at this moment, He Lu Lan and Fairy Li Shan were both stuck in here, would they not want Blazing Heaven Demoness to assist them? Fairy Li Shan knew that they had fallen for Fang Yuan's scheme, she rolled her eyes and tried to contact her. In a moment, her expression was pale as she shook her head, no. This 10 extreme formation is amazing. It can even restrict my information path methods. Fang Yuan nodded, he did not speak, instead he thought, it seems that only after breaking out of the formation can we contact this strong ally. Actually, even if Blazing Heaven Demoness could come, Fang Yuan would not feel assured in letting her stay in the immortal Gu house. But if she was outside, it was too dangerous, nor could it be justified to not let her in. Ignoring Blazing Heaven Demoness for now. With the assistance of He Lu Lan, Tai Bai Yunsheng, and Fairy Li Shan, Shadow Sect could not take down Fang Yuan. And to deal with Heaven Overseeing Tower, the rank 7 Ying Wuxie was not strong enough. As they continued to stall, the tribulations got stronger. Heavenly tribulations fell one after another, there was no repetition. Suddenly, golden light shot out from the sky, shining brightly. Crack crack crack, a series of crisp cracking sounds occurred. Tens of thousands of golden Vajra pearls descended from the sky in an endless fashion. Grand Tribulation, Shadow Sect's Gu immortals were all taken aback. Ha ha ha, this is the relic Vajra Tribulation. Inside Heaven Overseeing Tower, Heavenly Court's Gu immortals laughed as they stroked their beards, they knew what this tribulation was. This tribulation had surpassed the levels of the 10 great catastrophes. Catastrophes like the Snow War Tribulation lightning were still within the limits of a heavenly tribulation. But this relic Vajra tribulation was stronger than a heavenly tribulation, it was a grand tribulation. After Gu masters ascend to immortal, they are troubled by calamities and tribulations. According to the time in their immortal aperture, once in a while, calamities and tribulations would occur. Calamities and tribulations contain both disaster and fortune, if one could not pass them, they might die, but if they pass, their foundation would deepen, their cultivation level would rise. Among which, rank 6 Gu immortals had green grape immortal essence. They faced an earthly calamity every 10 years, and a heavenly tribulation every 100 years. After 300 years, after 3 heavenly tribulations, they would become rank 7. Rank 7 GU Immortals had Red Date Immortal Essence. They faced an earthly calamity every 10 years, a heavenly tribulation every 50 years, and a grand tribulation every 100 years. After 300 years, they would become rank 8. As for rank 8 GU Immortals, their immortal apertures would create White Lychee Immortal Essence. They faced a heavenly tribulation every 10 years, a grand tribulation every 50 years, and a myriad tribulation every 100 years. After 3 myriad tribulations, they would become the invincible rank 9 GU Immortals. Earthly calamities, heavenly tribulations, grand tribulations, myriad tribulations, the calamities and tribulations were ranked according to increasing strength. Heavenly tribulations and earthly calamities were already very dangerous, grand tribulations were even more terrifying. Countless GU Immortals had died because of them, being wiped out of existence. Thus, every GU Immortal expert was wary and careful. They worked day and night to cultivate in great difficulty, facing this pressure. As for myriad tribulations, there was a term in the cultivation world, known as apocalyptic myriad tribulations. It was extremely difficult for GU Immortals to survive them. Once someone survives a myriad tribulation, it would be an incredible glory. GU Immortals from all over would look up to and admire them. In the long history of humanity, there were only 10 people who had passed 3 myriad tribulations. They were the 10 Venerables. Sword Immortal Bo Ching had passed 2 myriad tribulations and was highly favored to become a Sword Path Immortal Venerable. He failed once on this 3rd tribulation and barely survived. When he tried again, he died. At present in Northern Plains, old ancestor Shui, who was desperately trying to pass the 1st myriad tribulation, he had spared no expenses in refining fortune rivaling Heaven Immortal GU. As for Heavenly Lord Bai Zhu and Yao Huang, they were still far away from the 1st myriad tribulation. They might be old, but they had all used time path methods to slow the rate of time in their immortal apertures. Some GU Immortals fear calamities and tribulations. They even might spend a huge fortune to completely remove the tributary of the river of time in their immortal aperture. This way, the time in their immortal aperture would be completely still, the calamities and tribulations would not approach. But in that case, the immortal aperture would not be able to produce immortal essence, and without undergoing calamities and tribulations, the GU Immortals' Dao marks would not increase, their cultivation level would stagnate. And time path methods that stalled for time had drawbacks. They could not stay in the paused time for overly long, they had to pay even higher costs to maintain it. But in the current GU Immortal world, to prepare amply for tribulations, most GU Immortals would use time path methods to slow the time in the immortal aperture. Even expert GU Immortals were no exception. This was because, the higher the cultivation level, the greater the power of the calamities and tribulations, and the more dangerous they become. Most of the rank 8 GU Immortals in Heavenly Court were sleeping during normal times. This hibernation was one of the best time-slowing methods in the world. For rank 8 GU Immortals, they had to face a challenge that threatened them every 50 years, those were grand tribulations. Right now, in the sky, the first grand tribulation descended. Relic Vajra tribulation. Even though it was not directed at them, Heavenly Court's GU Immortals felt joy but also deep wariness. Vajra pearls crashed into the dark clouds with crackling sounds. This thick dark cloud could be seen thinning at a rapid pace. Soon, the uppermost layer of dark clouds melted like ice that was mixed with hot water. Seeing this, Shadow Sect's Immortals had grim expressions, their brows were knitted. Great, Heavenly Court's GU Immortals smiled, they had used this stalling tactic, it had finally started to work. Even without us doing anything, the other party might lose already. Ha ha ha, Bai Chentian laughed. Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord's gaze was deep, he said with admiration and deep emotions. The other party might have been extremely strong during his time, but how can he surpass heaven and earth? Humans should respect heaven and earth. Compared to it, what can the strength of a GU Immortal do? Looking at the rank 9 GU Venerables, which one of them could live forever? Respecting and revering heaven and earth, following the will of heaven, this is the true way of cultivation. Facing the might of the Grand Tribulation, the 10 Extreme Immortal Zombie Lifeless formation was slowly losing its sustainability. We cannot resist it head-on. The formation was controlled by people, it was naturally more flexible than the battlefield killer moves inside Yulu Blessed Land. The dark clouds opened up a space and let the Vajra pearls into the formation. Crack crack crack, the Vajra pearls hit the 3 immortal GU houses in the formation. Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord sneered, he knew that Shadow Sect was planning to make Heaven Overseeing Tower endure some of the pressure for them. Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord was unwilling to see that happen. But he could do nothing. He was inside the formation, there was nothing he could do. He activated the immortal GU house and tried to dodge. Fate Immortal GU is inside Heaven Overseeing Tower. One of the main materials in refining Fate Immortal GU is Heaven's will. And these tribulations are also due to the will of Heaven. Heaven Overseeing Tower, overseeing the world, we follow Heaven's will and uphold justice for Heaven. Thus, under the tribulations, Heaven Overseeing Tower suffers far less damage than the other Immortal GU houses. Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord spoke. The implications of his words were very obvious. He wanted to continue stalling. When the 10 extreme formation reveals a flaw, he would activate the Immortal GU house and unleash a victorious attack. Towards this, the other Heavenly Court GU Immortals had no objections. Oh no, right now, we have to endure more of the pressure, otherwise, the 10 extreme formation would not last until the end. So what if it's a grand tribulation? Our plan defies Heaven. We had already seen such a thing from Dongfang Chongfan. The appearance of a grand tribulation was within our expectations. Sacrificing other Immortal GU houses to protect this sacred feather city, it was for this moment. Shadow Sect's GU Immortals showed resolute expressions. They were extremely prepared. Above Sacred Feather City, a faint light appeared. This light looked pink, but in truth, it was pure white. There was only a hint of pinkness. The strange thing was, this light made people feel a strong sense of warmth in their hearts. But in essence, this was not a light. It was a situation when the power of wishes was scattered. Each Immortal GU house, even though were proficient in every aspect, had their respective specialties. For example, Dark Prison's specialty was in capturing, rearing, and enslaving desolate beasts and ancient desolate beasts. If its rank could be raised, it would also be able to subdue immemorial desolate beasts. Rank 9 Heaven Overseeing Tower's specialty was in unleashing the attack of fate. None of the targets could defend or resist it. Unfortunately, because of Rank 9 Immortal GU Fate's current condition, it could no longer be used. As for Sacred Feather City, the Immortal GU house that Shadow Sect spared no effort in obtaining, it had its specialty too. That was, it could absorb the power of wishes from past and present generations of Feathermen in the city, to automatically refine wish power Mortal GU. This Sacred Feather City had existed for a long time, occupied by the Feathermen. Generations after generations of Feathermen lived in the immemorial Green Heaven Fragment world. The stored wish power Mortal GU was incredibly large in number. Even though the Immortal Killer Move Heavenly Wish already expended a large number of them, more than half was still left. Or rather, the Feathermen did not know of any other ways to use them. They did not, but Shadow Sect had an incredible background. It originated from long ago. It had a method. Thus, Sacred Feather City's wish power Mortal GU were continuously activated, consumed without counting the cost. Wish power GU was a consumable GU. Obtaining the power of wishes, Sacred Feather City experienced growth in all aspects. It flew down and blocked the relic Vajra tribulation, helping the 10 extreme formation endure much of the pressure. What an amazing tribulation! In just a short time, graceful chaotic dual stage is already showing signs of breaking. Hey Lulan shouted. Fairy Li Shan's expression was ashen, her gaze was wavering. This grand tribulation was too terrifying. If she had to face it alone, she could only endure 2 or 3 pearls. But there were tens of thousands of Vajra pearls in this grand tribulation, and they were still growing in number, unceasingly. Fang Yuan laughed instead. Ha ha ha, I was waiting for this. I will show you the true power of graceful chaotic dual stage now. Absorb. At the next moment, thoughts exploded like fireworks in his mind. Starlight was shining dazzlingly. All of his concentration and attention was on graceful chaotic dual stage. This Immortal GU house could use time path methods to seal any attacks aimed at it, before sending them back at enemies. But this method, when used, needed the controller to be completely focused. The GU Immortal needed heavy concentration. Fang Yuan was not familiar with the Immortal GU house earlier, nor could he manipulate the Immortal GU house to move and deal with his enemies while using this method. But now, with Tai Bai Yunsheng and the rest helping him, and with Sacred Feather City busy with the Grand Tribulation, Fang Yuan could finally find time to use graceful chaotic dual stage's unique power. Chapter 1008, Respective Sacrifices. Under Fang Yuan's control, graceful chaotic dual stage erupted with a dazzling red light. The red light enshrouded a large distance, burning like a raging inferno. A mysterious strength was spread over the fire. Any Vajra tribulation pearl that hit the Immortal GU house would be engulfed by the red light and sealed inside. The rank 9 Immortal essence of Giant Sun Immortal Venerable allowed graceful chaotic dual stage to display its strongest ability. Crack! The whole Immortal GU house shook intensely and started cracking. It was barely able to absorb the relic Vajra tribulation. After all, this was a grand tribulation. But Fang Yuan still succeeded. More and more Vajra pearls were controlled by him, sealed inside graceful chaotic dual stage temporarily. However, Fang Yuan had to pay a huge price for this. We battled for so long, but the portion of Giant Sun's immortal essence I took out was not expended by even 30%. But after absorbing 100 Vajra pearls, all of that portion of Giant Sun's immortal essence was expended. The rapid expenditure of Giant Sun's immortal essence caused Fang Yuan to be inwardly shocked. But right now was not the time to be distressed over the loss. He took out more of Giant Sun's immortal essence. Graceful chaotic dual stage moved freely. Not only was it safe in the Grand Tribulation, it also absorbed even more Vajra pearls, its strength continuing to increase instead. Heaven Overseeing Tower was a rank 9 immortal GU house with astonishing defense, and with Fate Immortal GU as its core, it had a defensive effect against calamities and tribulations. But Fang Yuan's graceful chaotic dual stage, under the effect of Giant Sun's immortal essence, was able to display extraordinary might, displaying the wonders of time path. Its strength did not decrease but increased. After a wave of this Grand Tribulation, Shadow Sect's Sacred Feather City suffered the biggest damage. Even if they had used large numbers of Wish Power Mortal GU, it could not match Fang Yuan and Heavenly Court. The Relic Vajra Tribulation continued for 8 minutes before stopping abruptly. Without letting the three sides have time for a breather, a second wave of tribulation descended. Circles of light lit up in the sky. From within the circles of light, multiple giant deer charged out. Each of these deer were the size of an elephant. Their bodies were translucent, seemingly formed from white light. Immemorial Desolate Beast, Destiny Light Deer. This was a Grand Tribulation formed from immemorial desolate beasts. Every immemorial desolate beast could match a rank 8 GU immortal. And now there was a whole 22 of these deer. That is to say, there were 22 beasts of rank 8 battle strength. No doubt, even if these deer did not have any wild immortal GU on them, this Grand Tribulation's power was much more terrifying than the first wave. The light deer group galloped towards the 10 extreme immortal zombie lifeless formation. In an instant, Shadow Sect's group paled. A gap quickly expanded in the 10 extreme formation, letting half of the deer group enter inside. Destiny Light Deer have 9 colors corresponding to the immemorial 9 heavens. These deer are all white light deer. It seems they should come from white heaven. Destiny Light Deer have gentle natures. They are named in beautiful legends where they carried humans to the heavens. Who would have thought that under the influence of heaven's will, these deer would go berserk and be filled with intent to battle? Despite Heavenly Court's GU immortals not wanting to participate, by being in this situation, they were unable to evade and were also involved. Fang Yuan controlled graceful chaotic dual stage to retreat to the edge of the battle. These light deer were alive. He was unable to use the immortal GU house to seal them. The attacks that could be sealed by graceful chaotic dual stage using the mysteries of time path were things like wind, water, earth and fire, not beasts. Fortunately, Fang Yuan had captured many Vajra pearls earlier. He used them now to force the deer away. In the second wave of tribulations, Heavenly Court's situation was best, Fang Yuan second, and Shadow Sect had the heaviest pressure on them, their situation extremely critical. At the crucial moment, it was immortal zombie Bo Qing who stood out. He activated famous and dazzling sword path killer moves like 5-finger fist heart sword, their power unstoppable and terrifying. Most of the Destiny Light Deer lost their lives on the spot under the slashes of sword lights. Even if they had wild immortal GU, it was of no use. Bo Qing was already dead, but his immortal zombie body was filled with an unimaginable number of sword path Dao marks. With the amplification of these Dao marks, even the same killer move would have completely different effects from when Qin Bai Sheng used it. The difference was gigantic. Immortal zombie Bo Qing persevered bitterly, finally letting Shadow Sect get through the second wave of Grand Tribulations. However, the dark clouds in the sky was already extremely sparse. The 10 extreme physique immortal zombies were no longer able to conceal themselves and were vaguely visible. The formation has already weakened to its lowest point. Charge! Fang Yuan resolutely called out. Graceful chaotic dual stage shot out Vajra pearls, attempting to break the formation. On another side, Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord also saw this good opportunity, and Heaven Overseeing Tower also moved out, adding insult to Shadow Sect's injury. What to do? Inside Sacred Feather City, Ying Wuxie had his head in his hands, unable to do anything to help. The expressions of Shadow Sect's other GU immortals were also ashen. The mood was extremely solemn. It was already the crucial moment between victory or defeat. The 10 extreme immortal zombie lifeless formation was completed, and would either succeed or fail. There was no other result. Once the formation was broken, everything would fall apart in succession. There is nothing else we can do, we can only sacrifice Zombie Alliance. 7-star child heaved a long sigh, before coming to a decision. The Zombie Alliance branches that were spread throughout the 5 regions were actually subordinate forces of Shadow Sect, like how the 10 great ancient sects of Central Continent were subordinates to Heavenly Court. It was just that Shadow Sect was extremely covert, many Zombie Alliance higher-ups were not even aware of it. This secret was hidden in the deepest parts of Zombie Alliance. The 10 Extreme Immortal Zombie Lifeless Formation was the greatest plan of Shadow Sect, made by exhausting everything they had. At this moment, Shadow Sect was forced to make a painful sacrifice, giving up Zombie Alliance to salvage this situation. The backup plan was activated, one after another, figures appeared within the 10 Extreme Formation. These were immortal zombies from all the Zombie Alliance branches. Numerous rank 6, rank 7 and rank 8 zombies appeared, their numbers were shocking. This is, inside Graceful Chaotic Duel Stage, Heilu Lan, Tai Bai Yunsheng and the rest were wide-eyed as they blurted out together. HMPH. Sure enough, Shadow Sect was behind Zombie Alliance. Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord frowned, killing intent surging within him, his gaze turning cold. Good. We will catch all these rebels that defy Heaven's will in one fell swoop. But unexpectedly, these immortal zombies did not seem to be in a conscious state and were like puppets controlled by wires. Before Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord could make a move, they actually sacrificed themselves, turning into a portion of the 10 Extreme Formation. Big Sister. Fairy Li Shan held in grief. Among these immortal zombies, she saw a blazing heaven demoness figure. But this rank 8 immortal zombie, the leader of Northern Plains Zombie Alliance branch, did not seem to be in a conscious state, showing a blank expression. Under the gazes of Fairy Li Shan and Heilu Lan, blazing heaven demoness also followed these immortal zombies, turning herself into immortal material, merging into the huge formation. Obtaining these immortal zombie bodies filled with Dao marks as well as countless immortal GU and immortal apertures, the 10 Extreme Formation's dark clouds condensed and instantly expanded, surpassing its previous peak state, and reaching an unprecedented level, almost covering the whole sky. Fairy Li Shan wept tears of sadness. Heilu Lan sank into silence. Fang Yuan frowned, the rank 8 reinforcement he was anticipating had died miserably in front of his eyes. Who could have those Zombie Alliance had such a relation to Shadow Sect? Even if someone had seen through the truth and spoke it out, who would believe them? Spreading throughout the 5 regions, an overlord among super forces, the huge Zombie Alliance was actually only a front for Shadow Sect. Previously, Shadow Sect issued a compulsory task to refine GU formations on a large scale. It was probably to scheme against Zombie Alliance's members. Tai Bai Yunsheng suddenly came to a realization, feeling his heart chilling at the sinister motive of Shadow Sect. Fang Yuan's expression was also unsightly. I had guessed the relation between Shadow Sect and Zombie Alliance, but had not expected there to be such a situation. My previous life's memories misled me. After all, during the 5 regions' chaotic war, all the Zombie Alliance branches had existed. Such an immense cost, killing almost all the immortal zombies of the 5 regions, and making them into immortal materials to put in this 10 Extreme Formation. What did they want to refine? Could it be the legendary GU for eternal life? Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord similarly had an extremely unsightly expression. The immortals from Heavenly Court behind him also showed worried expressions. Even if they were experienced and knowledgeable, with high status and power, they could not help but be awestruck by this astonishing move of Shadow Sect. From this moment onwards, the super force with the most GU immortals over the 5 regions, Zombie Alliance, was completely destroyed, dissipating in the wind. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. A piercing sound penetrated everyone's ears. The third wave of grand tribulations had descended. Heaven's will was ferocious. No matter what Shadow Sect was trying to refine, it was clear that it was absolutely a heaven-defying thing and had already provoked the fury of Heaven's will. Even heaven and earth did not permit its creation. The third wave of grand tribulations was much more terrifying than both the previous 2 grand tribulations combined. Sharp rain started falling from the sky. Every drizzle of rain was only half an inch long, but they were incomparably sharp as if they could pierce through everything in the world. Grand tribulation, absolute piercing rain. The 10 Extreme Formation was reconstructed, but the dense rumbling dark clouds seemed to have suffered a huge blow, unable to regain their strength. Fang Yuan repeated the same thing, using Giant Sun's immortal essence to activate Graceful Chaotic Duel Stage to absorb the piercing rain. It was just that this time, he clearly felt the difficulty was many times higher than earlier. After holding on bitterly for a while, Graceful Chaotic Duel Stage was pierced in many places with large numbers of GU worms continuing to be sacrificed. If this continues, the Immortal GU house can probably only last 15 minutes of time. He Lulan called out to Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan also did not have any good methods. Despite him already using all his strength and absorbing many attacks with graceful chaotic dual stage, he still was not able to protect everything. The arrow-like rain he was dealing with was only about 10% of the total. Shadow Sect was suffering most of the arrow-like rain. With this, anyone would know the terror of the Grand Tribulation. Under such a fatal predicament, rank 8 GU Immortals absolutely would not have a good time. The third wave ended, Sacred Feather City and Graceful Chaotic Dual Stage were both shattered, the remaining GU worms were stored by the respective GU Immortals. Heaven Overseeing Tower was filled with cracks, many times deeper than before, a corner of the tower had even completely crumbled apart. Everything is over. The final victor can only be Heavenly Court. Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord laughed loudly, activating the strongest attack of Heaven Overseeing Tower. This was an attack that carried the power of fate. Unavoidable and unstoppable. At the next moment, Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord saw. Under Heaven Overseeing Tower's attack, the formation cracked open, Shadow Sect's GU Immortals suffered countless casualties, Fang Yuan and the rest also died together. Chapter 1009, Huge Hand. It's over. Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord stood on top of Heaven Overseeing Tower, looking at the battlefield. In his field of vision, Shadow Sect's Sacred Feather City had turned into rubble, Bo Qing, 7-Star Child and others had fallen to the ground as corpses. Graceful Chaotic Dual Stage was heavily damaged, the GU Immortals' corpses inside were mostly in pieces. Dark clouds faded, a beam of light shot down from the sky, it was shining with golden brilliance, light burst out. This is what happens to those who defy Heaven's will. Ha ha ha, Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord laughed loudly. But after a few seconds, he frowned, feeling suspicious that something was amiss. Oh wait, Heaven Overseeing Tower was damaged and cannot use Fate's strongest attack, why did it manage to attack earlier? Also I could not help but laugh earlier, that is not my normal behavior, what is going on? At this moment, Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord could vaguely hear some faint voices in the sky. Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord, wake up. Quickly wake up. Wake up, aren't I awake now? Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord felt greatly surprised, the suspicion inside him grew. Suddenly, his body shook, he realized the truth. Oh no, I fell into their trap, everything that happened is not real, I am inside a dream realm. As he thought of this, he realized more and more issues. Both parties had died too easily. Especially Shadow Sect, they were backed by that person, after all. Furthermore, the other Heavenly Court GU Immortals were missing, in the entire tower, he was the only person. I can confirm that I am in a dream realm. However, how do I leave? Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord was anxious, even though he knew he was in a dream, he did not have unraveled dream like Fang Yuan, thus, he could not escape from the dream realm. Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord was sleeping soundly. Snore snore snore, he was snoring loudly, lying down on the concrete floor with a band of Heavenly Court's GU Immortals around him. Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord was not only old, he was very tired. Earlier, in order to repair Fate Immortal GU, he consecutively refined GU, and later, he spent a lot of time repairing Heaven Overseeing Tower, protecting Heavenly Lotus Sect, and fought intensely with Bo Qing and the others. After that, he found Shadow Sect's secret mastermind and mobilized Heavenly Court's GU Immortals to use Heaven Overseeing Tower and enter White Heaven. He did not rest at all, traveling towards Yitian Mountain in southern border. And when he arrived, he had to control Heaven Overseeing Tower to engage in a huge battle. Thus, the moment he went into the dream realm, his entire body relaxed, he snored extremely loudly, he was in a deep sleep. Heavenly Court's GU Immortals surrounded Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord in the middle, they poured water on him, they used fire to burn him, they shouted until their throats were sore, they tried all methods but he could not wake up. This was the power of Dream Path. It was beyond this era, just this one move could not be stopped. Even these rank 8 Heavenly Court GU Immortals had no way to resolve this. The scene was quite amusing. Outside Heaven Overseeing Tower, the battle was extremely heated, the sky turned dark, as the Grand Tribulation rumbled. Heaven Overseeing Tower floated in the sky, unmoving. Inside the tower, the Heavenly Court Immortals were anxious, Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord's soul was deeply in the dream, they had no methods to wake him. All they could do was to use some wisdom path methods to transmit to him, to try and get Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord to wake himself up. On Shadow Sect's side, the atmosphere was no longer as dreary, it was much more relaxed now. Ying Wuxie, good job. This is the power of Dream Path. Amazing. Ah, after so long, you finally have rank 8 cultivation level. Shadow Sect's GU Immortals surrounded Ying Wuxie, some of them relaxed. After all, the situation earlier was too dangerous. Some were in awe towards the power of Dream Path, some patted Ying Wuxie's shoulders and praised him continuously. After fighting for so long, Ying Wuxie with the pure dream reality seeker physique had advanced again, becoming a rank 8 Dream Path GU Immortal. Thus, he could use a rank 8 Immortal Killer move, Lead Soul into Dream. After 2 failures, during his 3rd attempt at this killer move, he finally succeeded, sending Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord into a dream. The effect was immediate, with Heaven Overseeing Tower stopping all movements. Shadow Sect's pressure was relieved greatly. 7-star Child asked, "How long will Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord be trapped for?" Ying Wuxie answered, "He is a rank 8 GU Immortal who has passed 1 myriad tribulation, the dream realm can only trap him for several minutes. But even if he escapes, I can still use the killer move to lead his soul into a dream once again." "Good, Yan Shi did not create you in vain." 7-star Child sighed. At this time, Heaven Overseeing Tower began to move again. What is going on? Shadow Sect's immortals were shocked. Someone looked towards Ying Wuxie. Did Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord get out? Earlier, Ying Wuxie's attack was useless on Fang Yuan. He kept entering and exiting. This made the confidence of the Shadow Sect GU immortals fall. But this time, Ying Wuxie shook his head. He was certain, Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord is still in the dream. It seems that the other Heavenly Court GU immortals are manipulating the tower instead. That was right, seeing that they could not wake up Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord, the Heavenly Court GU immortals took over Heaven Overseeing Tower. Even though Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord was asleep, the entirety of Heaven Overseeing Tower did not belong to him alone. After Star Constellation Immortal Venerable died, Heaven Overseeing Tower had become Heavenly Court's public property. Right now, Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord was fast asleep and unconscious. The other Heavenly Court GU immortals had the rights to take over control of Heaven Overseeing Tower. But soon, Heaven Overseeing Tower stopped moving again. This was seen by Fang Yuan's group. He Lu Lan and Fairy Li Shan had doubtful and angry expressions. What is Heavenly Court trying to do? Fang Yuan's expression was grim. It seems that Shadow Sect used Dream Path methods to deal with the Heavenly Court GU immortals, just like what they tried with me. But why didn't they target Heavenly Court's GU immortals earlier? What is the point of considering this now? We do not have the Immortal GU house to protect us, and Shadow Sect has also lost Sacred Feather City. Only Heavenly Court still has Heaven Overseeing Tower. But they are obstructed by Shadow Sect. We are in grave danger. Fang Yuan, can you use fixed immortal travel again? Tai Bai Yunsheng was full of worries. I can't. Fang Yuan shook his head, sighing deeply. It seems that now, we are dead meat. He Lu Lan smiled bitterly, a harsh light shined in her eyes as she clenched her fists. It is a pity that He Cheng isn't dead yet, I cannot avenge my mother even up until death. Fang Yuan glanced at her, he did not speak. After the 3rd Grand Tribulation, Graceful Chaotic Dual Stage and Sacred Feather City had broken apart, only Heaven Overseeing Tower was left. Heavenly Court was the hope of Fang Yuan's side, but that hope had vanished. Not even considering a 4th Grand Tribulation, simply the 10 Extreme Formation was something Fang Yuan and the others could not hope to survive against. Is this really it? Fang Yuan inspected Spring-Autumn Cicada. Too little time had passed, it had not recovered much, it could not be used again. At this time, in the sky, the sound of a zither playing could be heard. Right now was daytime, but the sky was shining with endless starlight. The music entered the formation, into the GU immortals' minds. Oh no, the 10 Extreme Formation also defends against sound path methods, but the formation cannot block this zither music at all. This is the 4th Grand Tribulation, Zither Mind Tribulation. And the starlight in the sky, it is so bright even during daytime. This is the 5th Grand Tribulation, Star Flow Tribulation. Why is it so dangerous? The 4th and 5th Grand Tribulations appeared together. Seeing this, Shadow Sect's GU immortals shouted, they forgot about both Heavenly Court and Fang Yuan for the moment. In Heaven Overseeing Tower, Heavenly Court's GU immortals also drew in deep breaths. The might of the Grand Tribulations increased according to the number of tribulations. The 4th Tribulation, in terms of might, surpassed the first 3 Grand Tribulations together. As for the 5th Star Flow Tribulation, it was stronger than Zither Mind Tribulation, Absolute Piercing Rain, Immemorial Light Deer, and Relic Vajra Tribulation combined. What is Shadow Sect trying to refine? They actually attracted such fury from heaven, to send down such terrifying disaster. Heavenly Court's GU immortals and Fang Yuan had many questions. The two grand tribulations had not descended yet, they were still storing power. Shadow Sect's GU Immortals had grim expressions, they barely managed to endure the first three tribulations. And now, the fourth and fifth grand tribulations were here. Anyone could feel the deep animosity of heaven, it was not going to give Shadow Sect any way to live. What now? At once, Shadow Sect's GU Immortals were lost and helpless. Their immortal GU house was destroyed, the 10 Extreme Formation had suffered a huge blow from the third grand tribulation, even if all the GU Immortals were sacrificed, they could not defend against these two grand tribulations. It seems that we are going to die in the grand tribulations after all. He Lulan sighed. Fang Yuan squinted, he had a different opinion. Regardless of what Shadow Sect was trying to refine, they had first created the 10 Extreme Immortal Zombie Lifeless Formation, killing Southern Borders GU Immortals to use their immortal apertures and bodies as GU refinement material, before sacrificing all of Zombie Alliance's members as fuel. Furthermore, they even lost 7 immortal GU houses. The price that Shadow Sect paid was unheard of, if Fang Yuan had not seen it himself, he would not believe it if anyone told him. Since they paid such a huge price, Shadow Sect was not going to give up. The zither music suddenly became louder, it was heard by everyone. The immortals' expressions changed, they felt the world spinning, some of them fell down. The zither mind grand tribulation had started. In the sky, starlight gushed down like a huge blue tsunami, it extended over an endless distance, crashing down. Star flow grand tribulation, Shadow Sect's immortals had firm expressions that were prepared for death, they encouraged each other as they charged forward. Only Ying Wuxie was left, dealing with Heaven Overseeing Tower. Fang Yuan's side was on the ground, they had pale expressions, desperately resisting the power of the zither mind grand tribulation. Heaven Overseeing Tower was a rank 9 immortal GU house after all, it was still floating in the sky. Without an immortal GU house, how can we survive 2 grand tribulations? He, dying from the might of heaven and earth, it has to be more glorious than dying from old age in bed. Fairy Li Shan had a dazed expression, she looked at the sky, blood flowed out of her 7 orifices. She had already given up on resisting the zither mind tribulation. The others were still desperately holding on. At this moment, an incredibly powerful aura with supreme strength burst out of the ruins of Yitian Mountain. An immortal aperture's entrance opened. This was Shadow Sect's blessed land. Earlier, the Shadow Sect headquarters that Bai Ningbing could not find had already been placed here long ago. Feeling this aura, all of the GU Immortals' hearts shook. Even the rank 8 Heavenly Court GU Immortals had pale expressions, their eyes were full of fear. Shadow Sect's Immortals had overjoyed expressions. Our main body has appeared. Boom, a huge and monstrous ghostly hand moved out of the Immortal Aperture's entrance. The rank 9 aura grew immensely. A formless shock wave swept across the battlefield. Rocks broke and rumbled, dust and smoke rose. This is. He Lulan and Tai Bai Yunsheng were tongue-tied. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. Inside Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord had finally woken up, he felt immense pressure in his mind as he exposed the identity of the ghostly hand. Chapter 10:10. Embroidered Tower cannot block the demonic might. This ghostly hand that stretched out from life and death blessed land was extremely huge, like a hill. Its arm was not fully stretched out, more than half of it was still inside the door. Life and Death Blessed Land's entrance was seemingly already open to the maximum, but only a small part of the ghostly hand could come out, as if it was stuck. Rank 9 aura, majestic and vast, spread out and engulfed in all directions. Fang Yuan's side hurriedly retreated. Under the suppression of the rank 9 aura, they felt suffocation and had a fearful sensation that they were going to die from it. Looking at this huge hand again, it was dark like the depths of an abyss, terrifyingly sinister, and seemingly undulating with a dark blue light. What soul beast is this? It actually has such a terrifying aura. Not even immemorial soul beasts can match its aura. Could it be that the world has rank 9 soul beasts? He Lulan blurted out in shock. She still did not know the true identity of this ghostly hand. Impossible. Fairy Li Shan's expression was pale as paper as she retreated, speaking in a trembling tone, among all the living beings in the world, only humans can reach rank 9, thus man is the spirit of all living beings. Once the soul left the physical body, it should be in a weak state, moreover the soul was incorporeal and could pass through bricks and tiles. But this right hand of Spectral Soul Demon Venerable was solid like it was material, stable like a hill. After stretching out of life and death blessed land, it grabbed at the ruins of Yitian Mountain. Large numbers of boulders turned into powder under the hand. This was simply beyond the common sense of the cultivation world. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's main cultivation path was Soul Path. His Soul Path foundation was so deep that it had reached the limits of a material state. It far surpassed the immortal's imaginations. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, looking at the huge hand that engulfed his vision, Feng Yuan felt his mouth drying up. He knew the origin of this huge hand. It was because not long ago, when he had been struck with the immortal killer move Lead Soul into Dream, and had entered the dream realm again, he had heard the melodious song of star constellation Immortal Venerable. Fallen songs and despondent heroes, difficulty in resisting the trials of fate. Bent swords sink in the sand, rising and falling from ancient times, the rumbling of an unceasing heavenly river. Alas, spectral night carries a soul into endless dreams, where can one rest in peace? During spring and autumn body and mind shifts, only heavens will remains vast and boundless. Following this song, information flowed into Feng Yuan's mind out of nowhere. Spectral night carries a soul into endless dreams, where can one rest in peace? This showed the ghostly hand's true identity, informing Feng Yuan that the mastermind of Shadow Sect behind the scenes was Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. When Feng Yuan had known this, he had been extremely shocked. With such mental preparation, now that he looked at the giant ghostly hand, Feng Yuan was able to forcibly calm down, instead feeling some relief. Everyone dies. This was the rule of the world, and everyone knew of it, even rank 9 venerables could not escape this fate. Then where did the soul of these rank 9 venerables go to after death? This was clearly explained in less than the legends of Ren Zhu greater than. Road of Life, Road of Death and Obsession Death Domain which held Fairness Immortal Gu. In the legends, after Verdant Great Sun died, his soul returned to the door of life and death. Rank 9 venerables along with all the living beings in the world had such an outcome in the end. Less than the legends of Ren Zhu greater than clearly recorded, the road of life was filled with suffering Gu while the road of death had 3 obstacles, Danghun Mountain, Luopo Valley and Reverse Flow River. Feng Yuan did not know about Reverse Flow River's location, but he knew Danghun Mountain and Luopo Valley were in his hands. Feng Yuan even made a bold guess. The third obstacle, Reverse Flow River, was also probably no longer on the road of death. Without the obstruction of these 3 obstacles, couldn't souls after people die easily return to the world of the living? This meant Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's soul returning to the world of the living was not an unexplainable matter. Regardless of what happened in the depths of the door of life and death, and what the truth was, right now, at this moment, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's soul had charged out of the door of life and death and appeared once again amidst the living. So all these were really Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's arrangements. No wonder Shadow Sect is so mysterious and so powerful. No wonder Shadow Sect's GU immortals did not fear death. Have they already grasped a method of reviving the soul? But what in the world does Spectral Soul Demon Venerable want? Shadow Sect did everything possible to protect the 10 extreme immortal zombie lifeless formation, not even stinting on making any sacrifices. What are they trying to refine? The doubts in Feng Yuan's mind intensified, like the dense dark clouds above him. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, you finally could not bear it anymore. Inside Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord heaved a deep sigh. With the help of Heaven Overseeing Tower, he had already deduced Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's identity back at Heavenly Court. That pair of eyes that gazed at all things from the darkness, filled with killing intent, were the eyes of Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. Knowing Spectral Soul Demon Venerable was attempting to defy Heaven to resurrect and escape fate, Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord had paled with shock and alarm, hurriedly awakening Heavenly Court's GU immortals to immediately take action and destroy Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's plan, making him fall back to Obsession Death Domain, maintaining Heaven's will and fate. It was because the 2 roads to Obsession Death Domain had been traveled by Fate Immortal GU personally. All things go through life and death, it is the world's greatest fairness. Once Spectral Soul Demon Venerable resurrected, it would no doubt be unfair, the greatest violation of Fate and Heaven's will. Fate Immortal GU would probably be unable to recover further because of this. They had to take this chance while Spectral Soul Demon Venerable had not resurrected, and pass judgment. If they allowed this Demon Venerable with the strongest killing intent in history to resurrect, the world would become filled with massacre and chaos. Heavenly Court's side could forget about restoring their former glory, they might even be unable to protect themselves. That was the reason that in this battle at Yitian Mountain, Heavenly Court did not care about the price to activate the rank 9 Immortal GU House Heaven Overseeing Tower, bringing Heavenly Court's main forces with them. Spectral Soul Rank 9 Demon Venerable. What's there to fear? He is already dead, his soul has been hiding in the door of life and death, lingering on his last breaths, he is already no longer the rank 9 Demon Venerable. Right, everyone is aware of a soul's weakness. If he truly had his former strength, why would he need to establish Shadow Sect and create so many split souls? Why would he need to form these schemes? In my opinion, he can at most only be considered Spectral Soul, and not Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. Heavenly Court's GU Immortals talked and roused each other's morale, expelling the fear in their hearts. Facing a rank 9 existence, even these rank 8s of Heavenly Court could not help being anxious and fearful. The 10 extreme formation is Spectral Soul's weakness. We need to first stop this huge hand, then we can gather our strength to break this formation. Bai Chen Tian shouted. That makes sense. Heavenly Court's immortals nodded, a portion of them then flew out of Heaven Overseeing Tower. Heaven Overseeing Tower started activating, releasing sparkling white light. Immortal Killer Move, Lead Soul into Dream. Ying Wuxie once again activated his only ability. One skill to dominate the world. Damn it. Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord stomped his foot in anger but could only fall into the dream realm once again, unable to extricate himself. Shadow Sect had gone through untold hardships to create Ying Wuxie, and their efforts were showing outstanding effects at this moment. Even the rank 9 Immortal GU house was being tied down by Ying Wuxie alone. Even if there were people who replaced Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord's position, they also soon fell into dream realms. As long as Ying Wuxie targeted Heaven Overseeing Tower, these temporary Tower Lords would follow suit and be struck by his ability. HMPH, you think the Grand Heavenly Court only has one Immortal GU house? Right at this time, Heavenly Court's GU Immortals, who had flown out of Heaven Overseeing Tower earlier, suddenly brought out their second Immortal GU house. Rank 8 Immortal GU house, Embroidered Tower. This small pavilion was adorned with beautiful decorations, its walls were red and its tiles were made of jade, looking exquisite and beautiful, but it lacked part of its foundational support. One could clearly see the traces of destruction on the Immortal GU house. Although this was a rank 8 Immortal GU house, it was only a damaged object and not intact. The so-called Heavenly Court only has these antiques left. It is embarrassing for you people to keep what reckless savage demon Venerable broke for so long, and you are still bringing it out now to make a fool of yourselves. Immortal Zombie Bo Ching stood up, raising his right hand in the shape of a fist above his head. The next moment, the Peerless Sword Path Killer Move, 5-finger fist heart sword, erupted with full power. Embroidered Tower shook for a while from this attack, before shooting out 7 embroidery needles condensed from faint light. These 7 embroidery needles flew gracefully like birds, and struck the huge ghostly hand in a blink of an eye. Immediately, the embroidery needles pierced through the ghostly hand and the ground countless times. Spectral Soul's ghostly hand tried to rise, but could not even budge. The 7 embroidery needles seemed to be using invisible thread that tightly sewed this ghostly hand to the ground. This Embroidered Tower Immortal GU house might be only rank 8, but after Primordial Origin Immortal Venerable's disciple, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable, was betrothed, he prepared it as a dowry. In the past, when reckless savage demon Venerable had rampaged into Heavenly Court, and was struck by this move, he also had to discard the 3 bloody skins to free himself. Inside the Embroidered Tower, the leading Heavenly Court's GU Immortal sneered. According to logic, during the time when the ghostly hand was sewn to the ground, the ghostly hand could have already flown away from the ground. But this ability of Embroidered Tower was this Immortal GU house's strongest attack. The sewing threads it used were actual Dao marks. It used Dao marks as threads to sew the ghostly hand to the ground. If Spectral Soul wanted to raise his hand, he would need to have the power to lift the ground of the whole of southern border. Maybe reckless savage demon Venerable had such power. But this remaining soul could not reach such a standard. Heavenly Court's foundation was truly unfathomable. Even when facing Spectral Soul, they had corresponding methods. Seeing Spectral Soul's huge hand tightly sewn to the ground, He Lu Lan, Tai Bai Yunsheng and the rest stared, dumbfounded. While Shadow Sect's group revealed worried expressions. However, the next moment, the solid and malevolent dark ghostly hand suddenly turned soft, until it turned into a pool of black water. Whoosh! A sea of black water surged out of the door of life and death. In an instant, the surrounding mountain ranges were submerged by it. This water that was from a soul covered all of the surroundings. It was tyrannical and domineering. Fang Yuan and the rest quickly flew into the sky. The next moment, the sea of black water soared to the sky, turning into a monster thousands of meters tall. Spectral Soul, Heavenly Court's GU Immortals were terrified. A giant ghostly hand swept across the air at such a quick speed that it could not be dodged, smashing Embroidered Tower immediately. Another hand grabbed the large Heaven Overseeing Tower. The ghostly hand increased its strength, cracks started appearing on Heaven Overseeing Tower, and at this rate, the whole of Heaven Overseeing Tower looked like it would be crushed. The two grand tribulations, zither mind tribulation and star flow tribulation, came smashing down. Spectral soul roared towards the sky, suppressing the zither sound. He raised two of his other hands and ferociously tore at a space. The space where he tore broke, the huge starlight tsunami rushed into the void. The two grand tribulations were so easily resolved by spectral soul. Fang Yuan and the rest, witnessing such a scene, were wide-eyed and tongue-tied. Chapter 10-11, Spectral Soul. Spectral Soul. The immortals present could not believe their own eyes. Zither mind tribulation, star flow tribulation, these two grand tribulations were easily stopped by spectral soul, it was as easy as drinking water. This is the might of a rank 9 demon venerable. Fang Yuan's heart shook. Spectral soul was already dead, what was present now was merely his soul. This gigantic soul was already beyond normal form. He was thousands of meters tall, like an imposing giant. The dark clouds that the 10 extreme immortal zombie lifeless formation created merely reached the height of his waist. Fang Yuan and the others were in the air, resembling flies. Looking at Spectral Soul's leg, it resembled a giant mountain peak. Spectral Soul's chest had reached the clouds, he was as tall as the sky. He had 3 heads. The front head had dragon horns, a lion's mane, snake eyes, and elephant tusks. The left head had a peach-colored forehead, hair like grass, and 3 flower-like eyes. The right head had a fringe of clouds, eyes resembling lightning, ears like fire, and a golden mouth. He had 1,000 arms, 500 on each side. They were dark like ink, his muscles were bulging with firm lines, oozing with demonic aura. He also had 1,000 ghostly hands. Earlier, Heavenly Court had spent huge effort to use embroidered tower to immobilize a ghostly hand to the ground, but that was merely 1 out of 1,000. Ah, this appearance. Don't tell me. Impossible, impossible. Fairy Li Shan had recognized Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, she screamed in disbelief. Her arms were covering her head, she shook her head as she retreated, she lost all the grace that a rank 7 GU Immortal had. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's appearance was not a secret, it was widely spread in the GU Immortal world, even in the mortal world it was well known. Especially in southern border, many villages and countless mortals had a culture of revering Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. The people used clay to create a statue of Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, and would pray to it during festivals and offerings. Hei Lu Lan's pupils shrunk to pin size, she was so shocked she could not speak, her entire body was shivering. Gulp, Tai Bai Yun Sheng swallowed his saliva, his body was covered in cold sweat. Fang Yuan showed a moved expression full of anticipation. His shock from earlier had vanished. This is the limit of soul path. The soul turns from phantom to solid, it can interfere with the material world, it is as condensed as a physical body, and is unbelievably powerful. Such a soul foundation definitely surpasses 100 million man soul. My soul compared to it, is like an ant versus the moon. But even the powerful Spectral Soul Demon Venerable died in the end, his soul returning to the door of life and death. Now that he has broken out, defying heaven and fate, what is he trying to do? When can I reach such a level as well? But even at this level, he cannot avoid death. I pursue eternal life. Does it truly exist? Fang Yuan's eyes shined with bright light, at this moment, he felt greatly excited. Even as an immortal zombie, he could feel a sensation of hot-bloodedness. One could learn from examples set by capable people. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable was a predecessor who was undeniably a forerunner of GU cultivation. Even Fang Yuan, who had 500 years of experience, was small like a fly when he was facing Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. But Fang Yuan's fear had gone away entirely. He felt deep excitement, it was feverish. Like a person who aspires to climb the highest mountain seeing an immeasurably tall peak, even if that was not the goal, he still felt deeply motivated and wanted to climb up, to surpass it. Fang Yuan had long since forgotten about death. If he died on the path of ascension, even if his corpse was desecrated and his soul was utterly destroyed, so what? This was the goal that he pursued. Bam! At this moment, Heaven Overseeing Tower burst out with a grand light, it shattered Spectral Soul's ghostly hand and regained freedom. It was a rank 9 immortal GU house after all. Inside the tower, the atmosphere was extremely heavy. Heavenly Court's GU immortals bit their lips, seeing this overwhelming giant, they felt great pressure in their hearts. As expected of Spectral Soul, such vast demonic might, it is simply terrifying. Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord laughed loudly, the aura in his body rose as his silvery hair swayed, his sleeves were fluttering like a war banner. His fighting spirit soon spread to the other Heavenly Court GU immortals. The immortals' eyes burned with passion. Heaven's will cannot be defied. Heaven cannot be defied, even if you are spectral soul demon Venerable, who had once slaughtered the world and caused endless bloodshed. Your era is over. Even if we die today, we will protect the great Tao of heaven. Come, activate Heaven Overseeing Tower. The Immortals had firm determination. Heaven Overseeing Tower shined with an unprecedented dazzling light. Spectral Soul's left head looked at it as it growled. Several hands were moving around. The entirety of Spectral Soul moved with a speed disproportionate to its size. In an instant, several hands grabbed Heaven Overseeing Tower tightly. More and more ghostly hands emerged, overlapping over one another, surrounding Heaven Overseeing Tower in the center. Heavenly Court's GU Immortals were unrelenting. Heaven Overseeing Tower's light shone through the crevices of the ghostly hands, fingers, shooting out light that resembled sharp blades. More than 10 ghostly hands had layered together, but they shook vaguely. Spectral Soul, after getting to this point, actually ignored Heaven Overseeing Tower. The three heads looked towards the sky, having grim expressions. Even though he was several thousand meters tall, the sky was taller, it was still above his head. As if angered by Spectral Soul's arrogance, the deepest part of the sky was conjuring the strongest thunderstorm it could muster. An apocalyptic feeling engulfed the Immortals. This is no longer a grand tribulation. This is a myriad tribulation. Apocalyptic myriad tribulation. Shadow Sect's GU Immortals were lost for words. Beyond grand tribulations, there were myriad tribulations. Myriad tribulations were terrifying. If a rank 8 GU Immortal passed all three, they would become a rank 9 Venerable. Heaven was enraged. It knew that grand tribulations were useless against Spectral Soul, thus, it conjured a myriad tribulation. Myriad tribulation, wind lightning prison. Fast, fast, fast. The myriad tribulation descended faster than any GU Immortal's expectations. Countless lightning bolts descended from the sky, countless tornadoes coiled around Spectral Soul's body like pythons and dragons. Spectral Soul's three heads roared at the sky angrily. His 6 eyes shot out blood-red light that was oozing with killing intent. It had an intimidating aura. 1,000 arms moved together, ghostly hands tore the tornadoes apart while his hill-like fists punched against the lightning bolts in the sky. He Lu Lan and the others could not speak anymore. The scene in front of them was like the reenactment of a legendary tale. The myriad tribulation was targeting Spectral Soul in the 10 extreme formation. Fang Yuan and the others were inside the formation. They were rather safe. This myriad tribulation's power is much higher than ordinary ones. Our main body can endure it. The 10 extreme formation. It has been refined by 60% already. Only 60% the following tribulations will become more terrifying. Saying this, Shadow Sect's GU Immortals became silent. Their real archenemy was not Heavenly Court or Fang Yuan, it was Heaven. If they were in their complete state, Shadow Sect's group was confident. But because of Heavenly Court and Fang Yuan, they were in an incomplete state. In fact, the 10 extreme formation had almost been about to break earlier, they only salvaged it by sacrificing Zombie Alliance. Sacred Feather City is lost, and our main body has appeared. We serve little purpose now. That's right, we should sacrifice ourselves to the 10 extreme formation and save some time. That is the best way. Then, what about those people? Leave them to us. Ying Wuxie spoke this as he looked at Bo Qing. The later tribulations would be more powerful. Shadow Sect's GU Immortals had little use in resisting the tribulations. They might as well use themselves to accelerate the refinement of the formation. The true identity of these Shadow Sect GU Immortals was that they were Spectral Soul Demon Venerable split souls. Precisely because of this, Shadow Sect could remain mysterious and hide in the background, developing for so many years without exposing themselves. This was also why Shadow Sect's GU Immortals disregarded death. They were united and did not care about sacrifice. This huge force was simply a one-man show by Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. After discussion, Shadow Sect's GU Immortals, including 7-Star Child and Song Zixing, made the same choice as Old Man Yan Shi. They entered the formation and sacrificed themselves. Only 2 people were left. One was Ying Wuxie. He had the pure dream reality seeker physique. His cultivation level also rose as time passed. At the last moments of his life, he would fully become rank 9. He was the final trump card of Spectral Soul. The other was Immortal Zombie Bo Qing. He had also been one of Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's split souls, but right now, he was only Bo Qing's immortal zombie body. The remnant soul inside was not Bo Qing but Mo Yao. Mo Yao's remnant soul would not help in the formation even if she went in. She could only be refined as immortal material. This was not worth it, thus she stayed behind. Currently, Spectral Soul was controlling the situation, resisting the myriad tribulation while suppressing Heaven Overseeing Tower. Immortal zombie Bo Qing and Ying Wuxie had no more worries, they charged towards Fang Yuan and the others. Fang Yuan and the others were not their match, they quickly retreated. But being encircled by the formation, and with space path methods sealed, where could they run to? Bo Qing waved his hand and sword light flew out, chopping off Fairy Li Shan's head as blood spewed out of her neck. The sword Immortal's strength could not be resisted. Man as before. At the crucial moment, Tai Bai Yunsheng activated Man as before Immortal Gu. Fairy Li Shan returned to her former state, touching her neck, her eyes were filled with fear. Immortal zombie Bo Qing's arms were behind his back, he laughed arrogantly, merely a rank 6 time path Immortal Gu, how can it stop me? As he said this, Fairy Li Shan's eyes widened as sword chi burst out of her body, turning her into a pile of mushy flesh. Little ant, He Lu Lan cried out in pain, her eyes were bright red as she charged towards Bo Qing. Ying Wuxie blocked Fang Yuan. He stared at Fang Yuan intently. Fang Yuan, you were actually able to leave my dream realm, very interesting. Then, with my rank 8 cultivation level, I want to see if you can escape from it again. You know my name, Fang Yuan growled, feeling something amiss. He, you are an otherworldly demon, you are still useful to Shadow Sect, I will spare your life. Don't think of using Spring Autumn Cicada, this rank 6 Immortal Gu has already been deduced by Old Man Yanxi. In its current state, it cannot be used, isn't that right? Ying Wuxie was confident of victory, he approached with a smile. What? Fang Yuan's entire body shook. Chapter 10-12. Murdering kin, slaughtering everyone. 100,000 years ago. Southern border, Zhanxi Mountain. It was night time, darkness was everywhere. Wind and thunder rumbled, lightning flashed across the battlefield at times. Partway up Zhanxi Mountain, more than 10 GU masters' corpses were on the ground. It rained heavily, but it could not wash away the thick and bloody smell of the place. A battle had just ended, there were only 2 people left on the battlefield, the victor was evident. Ha ha ha, a young man laughed while looking at the sky, his eyes were blood red, his expression was filled with bloodthirst. He slowly walked towards the other GU master. The other GU master was an old man, he was heavily injured and could not battle anymore. He retreated in a hurry, but he tripped and fell into the mud. The young GU master slowly walked in the rain, standing in front of the old GU master, looking down imposingly, his gaze was cold and icy, there was not a hint of warmth. But the old GU master's gaze did not carry fear, instead, it was filled with disbelief and fury. The elderly man shouted, Why, I am your grandfather, I brought you up, I taught you everything you know. Your accomplishments today are all because of the clan's nurturing. Why did you attack the clan's higher-ups, why did you repay our kindness with enmity? Why? Facing the elderly man's questioning, the young GU master lowered his gaze, smiling lightly, Why? I did not really consider that. If I have to give a reason, maybe it is because I was annoyed. Annoyed? That's right, saying things like, our clan is weaker than the other party, we should endure it and suffer in silence. Saying things like, we should respect the old and love the young, we should be courteous and have integrity, we should not talk back to elders. Saying things like, the clan is relying on me to defend its reputation, I need to think for the clansmen, that is how I can become a brilliant clan leader. It is really annoying. Since I was young, I have felt annoyed, I thought I could endure it, but I kept enduring and finally, I could not anymore. The young GU master said as his mouth opened, revealing his pale white teeth. Just because of this, the old GU master was furious, he sat up in anger. He stared with wide-opened eyes as he scolded, Why did you become like this? What were you actually thinking about? I must have been blind, I raised you for so many years in vain. I actually wanted to hand the village to you. The old GU master angrily rebuked until he cried, he sobbed uncontrollably. Enough. The young GU master had a ruthless expression, the old GU master's crying made him extremely annoyed. He raised his right hand, slashing down. Whoosh. With a soft sound, the old GU master was cut in two, blood spewed out as his intestines flowed out, he had died without satisfaction. The young GU master became calm, he stopped moving. He wore a black robe, standing in the rain like a statue. He lowered his head, looking at the corpse below him, memories of the past appeared in his mind involuntarily. When he was a child, his grandfather had brought him to ride horses and fly kites. When his superb aptitude was revealed, his grandfather smiled in joy. When he became a GU master, his grandfather taught him personally. He taught him to handle the clan affairs, he taught him meticulously. A long time passed. The young GU master let out a breath, he started to laugh. Hee ha ha ha. Soon, his laughter became louder as he raised his head, looking at the sky with his arms wide open. His tears flowed out, he was filled with sorrow, but on his face, there was an expression of utter satisfaction. He felt like he was someone who was drowning. Suddenly, he had reached the surface of the water and struggled to get to the shore. He breathed in deeply, he could smell a thick, bloody stench, it assaulted him, seemingly filled with the rage of his clansmen. But he felt that this air was goddamn fresh. Even though I am very sad as this freedom. Ha ha ha, if I had known this, I would have killed them long ago. These annoying things should have been killed long beforehand. From now on, I will kill whatever annoys me. The young GU master screamed in the rain, his excitement was evident on his face. Crack, a flash of lightning went by, illuminating the young GU master's expression of joy. 100,000 years later, lightning flashed and thunder roared, the young GU master's face was still illuminated by this light. But now, he was already entirely different, he was a monster that was thousands of meters tall, with 3 heads and 1,000 arms. So noisy, non-stop rumbling, enough is enough. Spectral soul roared. Boom, 1,000 arms exerted force, demonic aura surged and filled all the surroundings, they coiled around the tornadoes and tore them to shreds. The impact of his actions caused the clouds over the whole area to stir. He suppressed the wind and lightning. The lightning bolts completely vanished under his wrath. The clouds dispersed and the sun returned, the myriad tribulation, wind-lightning prison, had been resolved by spectral soul. Even a myriad tribulation could not stop him. The might of a demon Venerable, it was fully displayed. All who witnessed this, be it Fang Yuan's side, or Heavenly Court's GU Immortals, they were in shock. Did we succeed? Bo Qing and Ying Wuxie looked back, joy showing on their faces. But immediately, the sky turned dark again, countless gray clouds gathered above Spectral Soul's head. The second myriad tribulation was gathering strength. Bo Qing and Ying Wuxie's expressions turned dark. Heavenly Court's GU Immortals heaved a sigh of relief. Spectral Soul's 6 eyes showed a pondering expression. Suddenly, he raised hundreds of arms, stabbing into the dark clouds at his waist. The dark clouds were formed by the 10 extreme formation, receiving Spectral Soul's help, the clouds shook intensely. Oh no, he is accelerating the formation. Even though I do not know what he is trying to refine, we cannot let him succeed. Everyone, collaborate with me. Under Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord's lead, Heaven Overseeing Tower turned phantom, it flew out, bypassing the encirclement of the ghostly hands. At the next moment, Heaven Overseeing Tower turned back into material form, with a loud sound, it propelled forward and crashed into Spectral Soul's right head fiercely. At once, Spectral Soul's head caved in from the impact, his chin was slammed into the position of the cheekbones. Spectral Soul roared furiously, 100 hands grabbed at Heaven Overseeing Tower. Again, Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord shouted. The 6 Heavenly Court rank 8 GU Immortals around him were in charge of this. At the critical moment, Heaven Overseeing Tower turned phantom again, causing Spectral Soul's attack to miss. This ability to turn phantom was one of Heaven Overseeing Tower's methods. But it was not easy to activate, a large amount of thoughts and concentration was needed, it was like graceful chaotic dual stage's ability to absorb attacks. 6 Heavenly Court GU Immortals turned the tower phantom twice, they were breathing heavily in exhaustion. Heaven Overseeing Tower floated above Spectral Soul's head in phantom form. But at this moment, 100 of Spectral Soul's strong dark arms shrunk immensely, turning dry, thin and long. Obtaining his help, the 10 extreme immortal zombie lifeless formation underwent a huge change, the scattered dark clouds gathered towards the center. At the center of the dark clouds, a round ball could be vaguely seen, it spun on its own, shining with 14 different colored lights. Seeing this, Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord had an anxious expression, he ordered, chop off these arms. Heaven Overseeing Tower was like a rocket, it drew an eye-piercing light rainbow in the sky as it slashed forward. The light rainbow cut all of Spectral Soul's arms off upon contact. Ying Wuxie, go and deal with Heavenly Court's GU Immortals. Immortal Zombie Bo Qing called out. It was a simple matter for them to deal with Fang Yuan's side. But because of a series of events, they were constantly interrupted. Ying Wuxie gritted his teeth, he was unwilling to leave at this moment. Give me a moment to make Fang Yuan sleep first. Saying so, he activated the rank 8 Immortal Killer move, Lead Soul into Dream. Fang Yuan could not dodge, he was dragged into the dream realm. At the pavilion in the center of the lake, the music from the zither could be heard. Fang Yuan met Star Constellation Immortal Venerable again. Unravel Dream, Unravel Dream. Unravel dream, unravel dream, unravel dream, unravel dream. Fang Yuan hurriedly activated his dream path killer move, but the dream realm held firm. All he saw were transparent ripples in his vision. His unravel dream might work against the dream realm, but it was only rank 6. In contrast, Ying Wuxia's killer move was rank 8. The difference between the two was too vast. Fang Yuan could not unravel the dream realm. At once, Fang Yuan's heart sank to rock bottom. The zither music continued. As star constellation Immortal Venerable smiled at Fang Yuan gently, she sang with a soft voice. Fang Yuan smiled bitterly. He knew that he had lost. Phantom form. Heaven Overseeing Tower dodged Spectral Soul's attack again. But Spectral Soul's ghostly hands did not stop. They drove into the 10 extreme formation. Heaven Overseeing Tower was prepared to attack again, but one of Spectral Soul's heads opened its eyes and gazed at Heaven Overseeing Tower, immobilizing it. Heaven Overseeing Tower was unable to change out of its phantom form. Ha ha ha, this time, why don't you try and escape? Ying Wuxie placed his hands at his waist, laughing smugly. Fang Yuan, He Lu Lan and Tai Bai Yunsheng shouted. But Fang Yuan was deep in sleep, he could not be woken up. Bo Qing was about to kill He Lu Lan and Tai Bai Yunsheng, when there was suddenly a huge suction force from the ground. The immortals were caught off guard, they were all sucked into the ground, their legs were deeply buried in the ground, a strong force was restricting them, preventing them from moving. Grand Tribulation, Earth Collapse. Bo Qing and Ying Wuxie were shocked, they did not expect that while the Myriad Tribulation was dealing with Spectral Soul, there was actually a Grand Tribulation waiting to ambush them. Why are they not restricted? Soon, both of them were shocked again. They saw that after landing on the ground, He Lu Lan and Tai Bai Yunsheng regained their freedom, they could move freely. He Lu Lan and Tai Bai Yunsheng were shocked and joyful. The latter quickly grabbed Fang Yuan, who was sleeping, and retreated rapidly. What made them even more joyful was that after the 10 extreme formation created the mysterious ball, the force that restricted the space around them vanished. If Fang Yuan woke up, they would be able to use fixed immortal travel and escape. But Fang Yuan was deep in sleep. Immortal zombie Bo Qing's eyes shined with deep killing intent. He was about to use his sword path Immortal GU, when he felt that the thoughts in his mind, just as they appeared, were sucked out and into the ground. Evidently, the power of the Grand Tribulation Earth Collapse had a variety of targets. Not only could it target the GU Immortal's body, it could even affect their thoughts, wills, and emotions. Just like this, Bo Qing could only watch as He Lu Lan and the others escaped from under his nose. Chapter 1013, Grey Memory. This Grand Tribulation Earth Collapse was completely unreasonable. Not only were the GU Immortals trapped in the ground, their thoughts were also interrupted. Without thoughts to mobilize their GU worms, what methods could GU Immortals use? Unless they could use Wisdom Path methods to resist it. But the condition for that was, the Wisdom Path method had to be set up in advance. Otherwise, once they fell into Earth Collapse, even if the GU Immortal had a Wisdom Path method to use, they could not unleash it. Taking action in advance was the only way. Without the initiative, one was doomed. This showed the power of the Grand Tribulation. One could just imagine the might of the Myriad Tribulation. Damn it! Ying Wuxie struggled continuously, there were few results from his actions, he sank deeper and deeper as he screamed. Stop struggling, stop thinking. It will make our situation worse, we cannot deal with this at the moment. Immortal zombie Bo Qing who was beside him said in a calm tone. Strictly speaking, Mo Yao's remnant soul was very calm. She was experienced. When she was alive, she helped her lover Bo Qing with his tribulation. The myriad tribulation that she had seen before was more terrifying than this. Comparatively, the Grand Tribulation Earth Collapse was harmless and gentle. We can only hope that our main body saves us. Ying Wuxie sighed, looking at Spectral Soul. Only to see that Spectral Soul was also sinking, half of his huge legs were already below the surface of the ground. Not just that, his left leg's lower portion was tightly sewed onto the ground. This was the result of an earlier attack by the Immortal GU House Embroidered Tower. Even though Spectral Soul was powerful and mighty, and had used his full efforts, he could not control the entire situation. At this moment, out of his 6 eyes, 2 were staring at Heaven Overseeing Tower, preventing it from moving, the other 4 were staring at the sky. At the top of the sky, gray-colored clouds were growing in thickness, they descended slowly. The second myriad tribulation had started. But it was different from the first, wind lightning prison, that was extremely fast beyond one's reaction speed. In an instant, the wind and lightning would approach a person and attack them. This myriad tribulation however, was very slow. It was so slow that anyone who was undergoing the tribulation could retaliate in many ways. But Spectral Soul did not move. He stood quietly, like a solemn mountain. Did our main body get hit already? Ying Wuxie shouted, looking extremely anxious. This is such a good chance, you have to retaliate. But until the grey cloud completely shrouded Spectral Soul, he did not move. He stared at Heaven Overseeing Tower, controlling it firmly. Heavenly Court's GU Immortals were troubled. They used the Phantom method to make Heaven Overseeing Tower evade Spectral Soul's attacks. But to think that Spectral Soul's Phantom Path attainment level was beyond expectations, he was certainly a great Grandmaster. Heaven Overseeing Tower's Phantom tactic was taken advantage of by Spectral Soul, becoming unable to return to its normal form. Then how could it fight or do anything in that state? The myriad tribulation is coming. Ying Wuxie gritted his teeth, looking at the grey cloud descend slowly. Immortal Zombie Bo Qing squinted, his muscles were tense. The Grand Tribulation Earth collapse was enough to make them defenseless and helpless. Now that the myriad tribulation had descended, was it the end for Bo Qing and Ying Wuxie? The grey cloud descended, but it caused no harm. What is going on? Is this a harmless myriad tribulation? Ying Wuxie was nervous, seeing that there was no disturbance. He touched his body all over as he cried out in suspicion. Bo Qing did not answer him. Heavenly Court's GU Immortals recognized this myriad tribulation, but Ying Wuxie was unable to obtain the answer. Is this grey memory? The Heavenly Court GU Immortal who recognized it cried out. What is grey memory? The Heavenly Court GU Immortal recalled. When I was young, I had once obtained the inheritance of a rank 8 GU Immortal. In the past, this rank 8 GU Immortal failed to pass a myriad tribulation, grey memory. During his final moments, he left behind his inheritance. This myriad tribulation is harmless to the body, but it draws out the person's deepest memories. These memories were either those which had caused huge pain to the GU Immortal's mind, or were a trauma in their life. Don't look down on this myriad tribulation. That rank 8 senior did not even last 15 minutes under this myriad tribulation. He lost all his motivation and became dejected without any fighting spirit left in him. He lost all interest in life. The saying goes, you are your worst enemy. Looking at Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, he was invincible in the world, then wasn't his biggest enemy himself. For everyone in the world, even if we become a rank 9 Venerable, we will have a period of time when we were weak. We cultivate step by step, becoming stronger along the way. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable slaughtered people over the world. He had an immense murderous nature. People guessed that he might have suffered some trauma when he was young. Who does not have any painful memories in the deepest part of their mind? Who does not have any shameful memories that they cannot express? Who has never made any decision that went against their nature? Along the way, who has never made a mistake? Amazing, simply amazing. This myriad tribulation is incredible. Perhaps even Spectral Soul is going to falter here. Myriad tribulation, grey memory. Because he recognized this myriad tribulation, Spectral Soul did not move. He knew that no attacks could resolve this tribulation. Only by entering it and facing his past, all the shame, trauma, humiliation and anger, could he pass this tribulation. The grey clouds coiling around his body suddenly had bright lights. There was even sound emitting from them. What was presented in front of the Immortals was a scene from Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's childhood. Kill her, kill her, kill her. A band of GU masters surrounded a family of 3, their eyes were reddened as they shouted ruthlessly. Father, you cannot kill mother. A child protected his heavily injured mother, yelling with all his energy. HMPH, all demonic path members should be executed. We of the righteous path have to uphold justice and slay members of the demonic path. Why can't we kill her? Not only can we kill her, we must kill her. Only by killing her can our clan's humiliation be purged. The old GU master who was leading the group, said with a righteous tone. He shouted angrily. He was the grandfather of the boy, the leader of the clan. The clan leader's words received a warm cheer from all of the clan elders and elite GU masters. They raised their arms and shouted, kill, 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 whoosh. With a soft sound, fresh blood spewed out. The boy quickly turned around. At the next moment, his eyes opened wide, as his pupils shrunk to pin size. He saw his father had moved in front of him. His face was red and he was gritting his teeth. There were tears in his eyes as he suppressed his intense emotions. The dagger that he was holding had already stabbed deeply into the heart of his beloved wife. The boy opened his mouth and wanted to scream. But he did not make any sound. From that day onwards, he became very quiet. Evidently, this boy was Spectral Soul Demon Venerable when he was a child. Under the influence of grey memory, His childhood trauma was no longer hidden, it was displayed in front of everyone. The gray fog moved, as another scene appeared. Several years had passed. The young boy had grown slightly, he was standing in front of his grandfather respectfully. His grandfather, who was the clan leader, drank a sip of tea, asking casually, "I let you read about the history of our clan, what insight have you gained? Come, tell grandfather." "Grandfather," the boy first greeted, before saying, "I have had many gains these last few days, I have learned much." "Oh, tell me," the old man asked in curiosity. "Looking at history, I realized that there is one universal law in this world, that is, to kill." The boy said calmly. "Kill?" The old man frowned, he replied in a grim tone, "Explain it to me." "Yes," the boy continued, "when we are hungry and need food for our bellies, we kill prey. When we have enemies, we kill our enemies and eliminate the threat. When the world is peaceful, the ruler will kill his meritorious subjects to gain authority and control," the boy said slowly, he did not notice that the old man's frown was getting deeper. The boy continued, "Throughout history, it is a case of you killing me, and me killing you. What is a hero? They are someone who has killed the most enemies. What is a loser? They are someone who could not kill their opponent and got killed instead. Actually, even though kill is a word, it has very deep meaning behind it. How to kill? Should one use GU worms and do it themselves, or hire other GU masters to accomplish the deed? Sometimes, we cannot kill outright, because that would attract trouble, so we choose to assassinate. There are many forms of assassination, for example." "Enough," the old man bellowed, in his anger, he smashed the cup on the ground. The fragments shot past the boy's face as a wound was created, blood flowed slowly. The old man stood up, pointing at the boy, shouting in anger, "I let you study and read, it is for you to admire the achievements of our clan's ancestors, and learn about the glorious history of our clan. I want you to learn about courtesy and integrity, I want you to understand the glory of the righteous path. And you actually learned about killing? What sort of twisted logic is this? You are confined for a month, stay in the house and reflect upon your mistake." "Yes, grandfather," the boy replied, he spoke softly, but there was a stubborn light in his eyes. The gray fog moved, as the scene changed again. Several years later, the boy was already a rank 1 GU master. I finally refined hidden aura GU today, I will give grandfather a shock by hiding in the study room." The youngster sneaked into the room. No, I am only a rank 1 GU master, while grandfather is rank 4. It is very easy for him to find me. I should hide behind the secret door, in the hidden tunnel, and jump out to scare grandfather later. The youngster changed his mind, he opened the secret door and hid behind it. Not long after, he heard a commotion. He did not dare to open the secret door, he could only listen to the voices. Two people walked into the study room. His grandfather walked with heavy and hurried steps, he was furious. This traitorous son, he really wants to rebel. He wants to harm his father. The old clan leader was enraged, he slammed the table and caused a huge impact. "Clan leader, the evidence is conclusive. News that you have obtained an 80-year lifespan GU has already spread out. It is confirmed that young clan leader wants to harm you." A hoarse voice could be heard. The youngster could recognize instantly that this was a certain clan elder, the personal aide of the clan leader. HMPH. This traitorous son, he wants to seize my authority, how can that be possible? The clan leader shouted. "Clan leader, there are many higher-ups supporting young clan leader." The hoarse voice said again. There was a brief silence. The youngster's grandfather's voice said solemnly, "My son's influence is not to be underestimated. If we suppress him openly, not only will our reputation in the righteous path be damaged, there will be internal strife that would weaken the clan. Come, go and prepare, we will strike first and find a chance to assassinate him. Once he is dead, as long as we kill this traitorous son, the other clan elders will have no choice but to give up." Clan leader is wise. Behind the secret door, in the hidden tunnel, the youngster covered his mouth, his entire body was shivering intensely. Chapter 10:14, Food Path Inheritance. Tai Bai Yunsheng carried Fang Yuan as he sprinted and escaped. He Lu Lan took one final look at the gray fog. Spectral soul demon Venerable's pitiful childhood made He Lu Lan feel a sense of understanding due to her similar experience. For some reason, the Grand Tribulation, Earth collapse, did not affect them. Tai Bai Yunsheng and He Lu Lan made use of this chance to escape, running away while feeling shock and joy. The 10 extreme formation was in its critical moment, it could not restrict the surroundings, Tai Bai Yunsheng and He Lu Lan escaped very easily. Soon, the battle of Yitian Mountain was thrown to the back of their minds. In a few minutes, they could no longer see the gray clouds in the sky. Fang Yuan, wake up. He Lu Lan slapped Fang Yuan's face, but he was not responding, he was sound asleep. Without Fang Yuan's fixed immortal travel, they could not leave southern border. Unless they crossed the regional walls. But that would cause too much losses. GU immortals from northern plains. A voice could be heard from afar. Next, 3 southern border GU immortals landed. Seeing He Lu Lan and Tai Bai Yunsheng in a pathetic state full of injuries, the leading GU immortal was shocked. Looking at your injuries, did you come from Yitian Mountain? Speak, what actually happened there? Tai Bai Yunsheng had an expression of wariness. He Lu Lan smiled coldly. You want to know what happened, go there and see for yourselves. The 3 southern border GU immortals snorted. They did not have high cultivation level, they were here to investigate because the GU immortal experts of their respective clans had gone to Yitian Mountain and lost all traces of communication with them. No matter which super force it was, they were very concerned about the ownership of graceful chaotic dual stage. Furthermore, He Lu Lan and Tai Bai Yunsheng's auras were very weak, they were covered in injuries and were not in their best condition. We are asking you to speak, you had better obey us. Northern Plains GU immortals coming to southern border and still acting so arrogantly. Attack, take down the 3 of them. Thus, a battle occurred out of nowhere. And in Yitian Mountain's battlefield, the gray fog was still spreading. The situation was in a stalemate. No matter how hard the Heavenly Court GU immortals tried, they could not go out of their phantom form. Ying Wuxie and Bo Qing were all immobilized on the ground because of earth collapse. Waves of gray fog coiled around immortal zombie Bo Qing as they shined with bright lights, showing constantly changing scenes. These were Mo Yao's memories. As a variant human, she had suffered a fate of being ostracized. Speaking of which, it was strange, Bo Qing's immortal zombie body actually had Mo Yao's remnant soul. What happened in the past to Bo Qing during his tribulation was unknown. But Mo Yao, who was now present, had to endure the attack, because her remnant soul was in the gray fog. The most painful memories in her mind was drawn out. HMPH. Immortal zombie Bo Qing snickered. Facing these sad traumas in her life, Mo Yao's remnant soul showed her strong-willed personality. Strange, why are you unaffected by the gray fog? Bo Qing looked at Ying Wuxie who was beside him. Ying Wuxie was staring at Bo Qing's gray fog intently. I don't know. Ying Wuxie shook his head. He pointed. Yours is pretty interesting. Bo Qing snorted. It seems that because you were just born, and only have 18 hours to live, you had no time to experience these things. Saying this, Bo Qing's face was full of worries. The myriad tribulation gray memory was not a threat to Ying Wuxie. That was because he was too young, he did not have much life experience. But it was a completely different story for Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. This second myriad tribulation is truly vicious. Once you are within the gray fog, not only are your past traumas revealed, the deepest emotions in your mind will be drawn out, you will experience the emotions that you once felt. My memories have already caused me to feel upset. If the recollection was on my lover, I might if I am already this affected by it, then for Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, who has had a longer life and much more experience, how would he deal with it? Thinking about this, Mo Yao's remnant soul looked up by moving the immortal zombie body. Inside the gray fog, Spectral Soul was like a tall mountain, he was unmoving, like a dormant volcano. Surrounding him, the gray fog was rumbling, countless rainbow lights were shining. This fog showed all kinds of images. Spectral Soul had already become a GU immortal. Inside Earth Abyss. Youngster, you want to obtain my inheritance. In the darkness, 2 eyes shined brightly like lanterns. Yes, the GU immortal spoke concisely. He wore a black robe with messy shoulder-length hair. His expression was cold, bright light shined in his eyes from time to time. Hee ha ha ha. In the darkness, a crazed laugh could be heard. It got louder and louder, it caused one's eardrums to tremble. After a while, the laughter stopped. It seems you have made your decision. Then this is your inheritance test. Roar. Following a loud roar, a strange beast came out of the darkness. This beast had 4 limbs, its body was covered in scales, it had a crocodile's head. Its huge crocodile-like mouth had sharp teeth inside, they were shining with cold light, like blades of daggers. Above its head, it had 2 curly dragon horns. But from its body, there was the aura of a GU immortal. Evidently, this was a beastman GU immortal. Beastmen were a type of variant human. In history, they were the most targeted during the era of the 3 demon venerables. Who could have thought that Spectral Soul encountered a beastman GU immortal during his life? This beast man Gu Immortal with dragon horns and a crocodile's head opened his mouth, biting at the Gu Immortal's soul. But Gu Immortal's spectral soul did not dodge or evade. The beast man bit, tearing apart spectral soul's arm. Blood spewed out. Crack, crack. The beast man chewed, under the grinding of his sharp teeth. Spectral soul's arm was torn to shreds, blood oozed out of the space between his teeth, flowing everywhere. Gulp, the beast man swallowed, sending the blood and flesh, along with the bones, down its throat. Delicious. I have not eaten such fresh food in a long time. The beast man Gu Immortal shouted, pouncing again. Spectral soul did not retreat, he allowed him to continue biting. The beast man Gu Immortal quickly ate his other arm, and his 2 legs, devouring them. Assaulted by intense pain, spectral soul was expressionless, he did not even frown at all. Instead, the beast man Gu Immortal showed some shock on his face. You are different from those previous people. The beast man Gu Immortal stopped eating, he assessed spectral soul as he spoke with a tone of praise. You have no emotion of fear at all. You know, I invented food path, I did a lot of research on eating. Many people wanted to obtain my inheritance, they allowed me to eat them, they looked very tough on the outside with no expression, but they were filled with pain and fear on the inside. Don't think that emotions can be concealed so easily. Actually, this kind of flesh tastes sour and disgusting, it is not delicious at all, I can tell when I eat it. Then, is my flesh delicious? Spectral soul asked. The beast man Gu Immortal frowned, he spoke. Honestly speaking, your flesh feels cold, your bones are too tough, they are not delicious. They taste like the icicles that I ate during my childhood, when I was hunted down by you humans in frozen lands while escaping in hunger. But forget it, ha ha ha, I have been trapped here, I have not eaten anything fresh in a long time. How can I not be satisfied with this? Furthermore, what I love eating most are the heart, lungs, liver, and kidneys, they are my favorites, ha ha ha. Lad, you want to obtain my inheritance, there is a price to pay. Don't die at the last moment. Saying this, the beast man Gu Immortal scratched, tearing open spectral soul's stomach, pulling out his large and small intestines. Next, in front of spectral soul, he sucked them into his mouth, crying out that they were delicious. Spectral soul had a pale face, but his expression was still cold, as if those were not his intestines. Deep in the beast man Gu Immortal's eyes, there was a flash of panic. He cackled, brandishing his claws, pointing at spectral soul's chest. Next, I will eat your lungs, you have to endure it. What can I not endure? Spectral soul smiled coldly. In this special environment, even if I am eaten until only my head is left, I can still grow back. And by then, I would obtain your inheritance. After that, you would lose all value to me, you should worry about yourself. The beast man Gu Immortal's movements froze for a second, he went into a rage, his eyes were spewing fire. Lad. You talk big, I want to see how long you can endure this for. He purposely moved slowly, causing friction in spectral soul's body, making him feel that his intestines and organs were being held, and his bones were being scratched, to try to generate fear and panic in him. The beast man Gu Immortal took out spectral soul's organs and ate them one by one. In front of him, he opened his mouth from time to time, letting spectral soul see the miserable state of his organs that were crushed to bits. Spectral soul's calm expression slowly changed, turning into one of interest. The beast man Gu Immortal saw this gaze and had a change of expression. What are you thinking of? I find it interesting. I am eating your flesh, I am eating your organs, you find it interesting. The beast man Gu Immortal looked at spectral soul with a disbelieving expression. Of course, eating is natural in this world, but on the other side of eating, there is killing. We eat meat, we have to hunt. When we eat vegetables, we have to uproot them, that is also killing. Even if we eat nothing but wind and drink nothing but water, we are still swallowing and digesting them. All in all, eating is killing. Of course, killing is not just eating, thus, your food path is inferior to my killing path. I have eaten many things, but I have never been eaten by another individual. You are eating me now, that is the same as killing me. Similarly, I have killed many life forms, but I have never been slowly killed by anyone else. This allowed me to understand the feeling of being killed, it is a form of enjoyment. Those who kill have to be prepared to be killed. Simply by killing others, I cannot fully comprehend killing. Thank you for letting me comprehend a deeper meaning in killing. The beast man Gu Immortal heard this and opened his eyes wide, he looked at spectral soul like he was seeing a nightmare, a monster. Cold sweat began to form on his head. He felt that he could not swallow the young man in front of him anymore. He gulped, feeling that his throat was blocked. Lad, I will eat your upper body now, let's see how arrogant you can be. The beast man Gu Immortal shouted, devouring with a frenzied gaze, his eyes were reddened. Soon, Gu Immortal's spectral soul had only his head left. Seeing this, all of the heavenly court Gu Immortals, along with immortal zombie Bo Qing and Ying Wuxie, were silent. Even though he only had a head left, Gu Immortal's spectral soul was still calm and at peace. What sort of willpower? Heavenly court's Gu Immortals were lost for words. Earlier, the heavenly court Gu Immortal who was very confident of the myriad tribulation gray memory saw this and his expression turned dark, he lost his confidence. But at this moment, the beast man Gu Immortal laughed wildly. He laughed in an insane manner, he was so happy, tears were flowing out of his eyes. It was filled with a tone of mockery. Ha ha ha, you were deceived, but don't be upset, you are the 270th person who was deceived. Ha ha ha. Spectral soul's gaze flashed. Is this inheritance fake? Of course it is real. Back then, I cultivated to rank 8, barbarian Zhu Lai tried to trap me instead of killing me, he was after my food path, HMPH. I could not beat him, but he could not obtain what he wanted so easily either. I established an agreement with him, I would pass the food path inheritance to future humans but not him. And the inheritor must endure my eating test. After making the agreement, I have been trapped here, many humans came here in order to pass the test, to obtain knowledge of food path. But even barbarian Zhu Lai could not understand my true ability. My entire body is full of food path Dao marks, I have reached a level that has never been achieved by anyone before me. I can consume rocks and wind to fill my stomach. I can even consume GU worms to increase the Dao marks on me. I ate Dao marks non-stop, and finally, after 1,000 years, I broke the agreement that we had made. Ha ha ha, so do you get it? Next, I will eat your head and turn you into my nutrients and nourish me, to allow me to recover. Don't worry, I will remember you, you are one of the most unique among the pitiful people that I have eaten. So that is it, spectral soul still had a plain expression, he was very calm. The beast man Gu Immortal's expression froze, he grabbed his throat, shouting anxiously, what is going on? What is going on? Spectral soul laughed coldly, I would never allow another person to determine my life and death. Not to mention an old agreement. You think my flesh is so easy to consume? Every piece of flesh that you eat contains a part of my soul. You are a great expert in food path, but coincidentally, I also have some attainment in soul path. Soul path, when did such a path appear? The splitting of the soul will cause you pain that is immensely higher than the tearing of your flesh. I'll let you know, I am the founder of soul path. As for that bit of pain only by experiencing it will I enjoy the amazing feeling of killing, isn't that right? Spectral soul said as the beast man Gu Immortal's expression turned ashen, he stopped moving. He was dead, his eyes were opened wide, staring at Gu Immortal's spectral soul. Even though the other party only had his head left. In the beast man Gu Immortal's eyes, there was only fear. Chapter 10-15, Scenes of Past Events. Not only the beast man Gu Immortal, the heavenly court Gu Immortals who saw this also felt immensely fearful. Demon, this spectral soul is completely crazed, even though there was a cause, he is filled with demonic thoughts, he thinks that nothing cannot be killed, he thinks that the greatest joy is killing, he thinks that the Tao of heaven and earth is essentially killing. No wonder he could become a demon venerable, and cause the greatest bloodshed in the world. Even the pain of tearing his soul apart felt splendid to him. He seems cold and logical, but he is actually crazy to the extreme. Nobody can save him, his mind is incapable of redemption. I have to agree, an invincible mindset is the basis for becoming invincible. He has such a mindset, it is simply demonic, but because of this, his mind will never waver, everything in this world will only reinforce that misconceived ideology. The myriad tribulation gray memory cannot stop him. Even though he is not a demon venerable now, and cannot be, physically invincible, he is still mentally invincible. Heavenly courts Gu Immortals discussed, they were anxious, fearful, disdainful, and filled with hatred, all of these were on their expressions. Chirp, chirp, just at this moment, in the sky, there was the clear chirping of birds. Heavenly courts immortals looked up, feeling great joy. Myriad tribulation, another myriad tribulation. The myriad tribulation gray memory is not over yet, but another myriad tribulation is on the way already. Spectral soul demon venerable is defying heaven, once he revives, the world would undergo bloodshed again. Heaven would not allow him to do so, thus it caused these immense tribulations. He will definitely not succeed. The chirping of birds became louder and more frequent. The sky was shining with a jade light. Large groups of birds entered a formation and charged down. Myriad tribulation, grand clear space. One of the heavenly court GU immortals recognized this. They seemed like birds, but it was actually the power of space path. Wherever the flying birds went, space would be cleared out, nothing could exist there, it was a terrifying power that could not be stopped. This is grand clear space. In history, there was a Northern Plains predecessor who failed the tribulation but survived it. With an inspiration, he created the immortal killer move three-winged green bird. His descendants obtained it and had once dominated Northern Plains. That's right, this is the tribulation. Under the expectant gazes of heavenly court's GU immortals, the jade flying birds flew down, circling around spectral soul. Wherever the flying birds went, long and deep wounds were formed, as if they were sharp blades. Wounds soon formed all over spectral soul's body, it was a terrible sight. Spectral soul had no reaction, but Ying Wuxie was screaming on the ground. Immortal zombie Bo Qing was also showing nervousness on his face. The gray fog surrounded spectral soul, its power was seemingly causing him to dwell in his memories. A vast amount of rainbow fog that was thousands of meters tall rumbled in the surrounding 100 li, countless scenes were shown, they displayed spectral soul demon Venerable's rich life experiences in front of everyone. Suddenly, behind spectral soul's head, rainbow fog expanded, forming a huge veil that pushed away all of the surrounding scenes. In the image, there was an abundance of green light, this was a green heaven fragment world of the immemorial 9 heavens. A group of GU masters were inside fighting with a group of featherman GU immortals. Spectral soul, who was still a GU immortal, was also among them. He wore a black robe and had black hair that swayed with the wind, killing intent was oozing. Humans, you are too much. The Featherman GU immortal leader cried out, throwing out an immortal GU house. It was Sacred Feather City. More than 10 Featherman GU immortals flew into Sacred Feather City, as the city burst out with a glorious light. The human GU immortals could not beat them, they were utterly defeated. GU immortal spectral soul was unable to resist the might of the immortal GU house, he was heavily injured, barely surviving. Next, the scene vanished, turning into countless smaller fragmented images. Tens of thousands of images surrounded spectral soul, encircling him tightly, almost without any gaps. All of the experiences in his life, as long as there were emotions in them, they were shown, everyone was watching with dazed expressions, they could not keep up with the number of scenes. Spectral soul's entire life was condensed endlessly. Everyone could see that he walked further and further on the demonic path, his killing nature also intensified, as his cultivation level rose. A huge screen of fog was formed, pushing away the surrounding images again. The position was at spectral soul's left leg. Seeing this, the immortals had an understanding. The larger the scene that came from the rainbow fog, the more variation there was in spectral soul's emotions at the time. Thus, the moment the scene started, everyone's attention was drawn. This was a silver-white space. It was the location of a thieving heaven true inheritance. GU immortal spectral soul barged in, arrogance could be felt from his expression, he spoke to himself, thieving heaven, even though you were a demon Venerable, you are already dead. Why don't you leave your inheritance to me? However, the thieving heaven true inheritances were left for otherworldly demons. GU immortal spectral soul was not an otherworldly demon, he was not qualified to inherit it. He tried all kinds of methods, but he ended up spitting out blood, his expression was pale as he returned empty-handed. When spectral soul became a demon Venerable, he dominated the world, slaughtering the masses. He stood on a peak, his hair was white as snow. Looking afar, looking at a field of corpses, looking at the perishing life forms. This was recorded in human history, spectral soul destroyed a certain super force and slaughtered over 10 million people just to obtain lifespan GU. He played with the lifespan GU in his hands, while his expression was perplexed. He looked over the scenery, muttering to himself, Heaven, if you want to kill us, why did you create us? Even though he had strength that was invincible in the world, he was perplexed. His killing path could not explain this. Another huge screen of fog appeared. Spectral soul demon Venerable came to a thieving heaven true inheritance space, the same place he had once went to in his youth. Thieving heavens will formed in front of him. Anyone who can become a Venerable has an outstanding aspect. I hope you can be magnanimous and leave this true inheritance for a fated person. Spectral soul demon Venerable's hands were behind his back, he had a cold expression. When I was young, I had desired everything in here. But now, I have already obtained my Tao, no matter how precious the things are here, they are of no attraction to me. I came here because I have a question. Thieving heavens will smiled, I understand. Those who have reached our heights will have questions about heaven and earth. How about this? I will share my experiences with you, as a reference. Okay, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable nodded. Thieving Heavens will continued. You might already know, I am not from this world, I am what you would call an otherworldly demon. The world I came from is different from here in both its foundation and scenery. To me, I am only a traveler here, I want to go home, I have strived over my whole life for that goal. My real name is vansh.saran. In my original appearance, I had blonde hair and blue eyes. Before coming here, I had a beautiful fiancé, we were preparing to get married. I had a high status in society, that was because I was a mecha operator. Mecha, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's eyes were shining with deep interest. Even though he had traveled over the 5 regions, this was the first time he was hearing about other worlds. Mecha, you can think of it as a puppet, or a suit of armor. A human stays inside and manipulates it to unleash immense battle strength. Thieving Heavens will explain vaguely. A moment later, another scene appeared. Within 88 True Yong building. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable held Giant Sun's true inheritance, looking at it as he sighed deeply. This possession method can extend lifespan, but possessing a body using the soul is only a desperate method, death is still unavoidable. To extend one's lifespan GU is the best option. The path of a GU immortal is filled with calamities and tribulations, it is hard for the body to resist them, and it is hard for the soul to exist independently. The maintenance of longevity means the defiance of heaven. It is hard. Giant Sun, oh Giant Sun, even if you created 88 True Yong building and attempted to plunder the lifespan GU in northern plains. But heaven's will is vicious, fewer and fewer lifespan GU are being produced, even if you obtain all of the lifespan GU in the world, so what? Heaven's will dictates the production of lifespan GU. To live a long life, the crucial thing is heaven's will. At the river of time, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable stood in the air, looking at a red lotus that was floating on the river's surface. His entire body was emitting a thick darkness that was corroding the red lotus. Eventually, after exerting all his efforts, he successfully left a ghost face on the surface of the red lotus. Throughout history, the most mysterious red lotus demon Venerable, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable sighed, his face was full of fatigue as his eyes shined brightly. I want to know, why did you purposely stop and leave behind the heavily injured Fate Immortal GU? A long time passed. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's expression was mixed with shock and bafflement. He muttered, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable truly made a deep scheme. So only a complete otherworldly demon can thoroughly destroy Fate. Even Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable is only half an otherworldly demon. He is similar to the Immortal Killer Move soul replacement that I created. His soul is from another world, but his body was born here. I want to extend my lifespan, I have to defy heaven, and go against heaven's will. Unfortunately, heaven's will has no soul, I cannot kill it. Maybe with the help of this Red Lotus true inheritance, I can become half an otherworldly demon. In a dark secret room, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable sat on the ground, there were countless GU formations in front of him. Inside the GU formation, there were countless corpses, including men, women, young and old, and all sorts of variant humans. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable had disheveled hair now, his hands and body were covered in blood, he was skinny like a skeleton, his eyes were deeply swollen but they were shining with brilliant light. He was staring at a book fixedly. Less than the Legends of Ren Zhu greater than. The Legends of Ren Zhu, the Legends of Ren Zhu, to think that I only truly comprehended you today. You are an exposition of human path, you are the true inheritance left behind by Ren Zhu. With methods of human path, I can create a completely new body, after soul replacement, I will become half an otherworldly demon. Maybe not just that, I can still. It is a pity, it is too late, it is too late. I am heavily injured beyond treatment, death is approaching me. Seeing this, Heavenly Court's GU immortals were deeply in shock. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable was invincible in the world, but he actually died from injuries. Who hurt him, or did he injure himself after testing out human path methods? The myriad tribulation grand clear space was still continuing. More than half of Spectral Soul's 1,000 arms were already chopped off by the jade flying birds. His body was covered in wounds, but he was not resisting at all. Chapter 10:16. Over a long time. There was another scene. Inside the door of life and death. In Obsession Death Domain. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable had no body, what was displayed was the soul with 3 heads and 1,000 arms. He looked at his appearance in the lake, muttering to himself, very good. I created a method of soul devouring based on food path, it not only let me return to my peak condition, I could even devour the souls of other GU immortals to obtain their memories and cultivation experience over their lives. Is this a blessing in disguise? But from start to finish, I did not find the souls of any other immortal venerables or demon venerables. I can understand why Star Constellation is not here. Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable is not here too. Did he return home successfully? It is time to return to the world of the living. Without Dang Hun Mountain and Luo Po Valley obstructing me, it is much easier for me to get out of the door of life and death compared to Renzu. But my main body cannot move out yet. I should send out some split souls to pave the way for my main body. HMPH. When I regain control of the world, I will deal with you. Spectral Soul looked at a special soul. He was sleeping soundly, his body was emitting a golden luster, he was like a sun that had sunken into a lake. In the following scene, there was no spectral soul, but 7 mortals instead. We can see the light of day again, this is amazing. Among the 7 people, one looked up at the sky. Even though we are now mortals, we have our main body's cultivation experiences, we can definitely become GU immortals. Due to the obstruction of Reverse Flow River, only 7 of us made it out, even though there were 10 at the start. It is going to take some effort to let our main body come out. If anyone finds out, it will be troublesome. They will not sit around and watch. To play it safe, we should separate and develop in all 5 regions secretly. We will communicate once in a while. In that case, why don't we create an organization to deceive the masses? That's true, let's call it Shadow Sect, we will be as unnoticed as shadows, yet we are everywhere. One day, the entire world will be shrouded in our shadows. Alright, the 7 of us will be called red, orange, yellow, green, azure, blue, and purple. Like 7 of the immemorial heavens, we have once stood at the peak, but have now fallen. This is to warn ourselves that we cannot be lazy or complacent. Sword Immortal Bo Ching is actually a split soul of Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. Heavenly Court's GU immortals cried out. Among them, an old woman said in shame, there is no denying it with the evidence in front of us. My spirit affinity house is at fault for failing to investigate properly. The methods of a demon venerable are almost impossible to defend against. Even in Heavenly Court, his split soul spies were lurking here, not to mention Spirit Affinity House. It was fortunate that Tower Lord noticed it and used Heaven Overseeing Tower to expose these shocking secrets, that gave us the chance to stop this terrifying demon. Heavenly Court's GU Immortal exclaimed. In this situation, even though they could not do anything, Spectral Soul's condition was not good either. Ever since Grey Memory descended, Spectral Soul had been standing still, allowing the myriad tribulation grand clear space to assault him, he was already covered in countless injuries. Azure. On the ground, Mo Yao's remnant soul, who was inside Bo Ching's immortal zombie body, felt deep emotions as she saw the young and handsome Azure in the image. Around her, grey fog rumbled as a scene in the depths of her memory was shown. All around there were ruins, there were countless mangled corpses lying on the bloody ground. There seemed to have been an intense battle earlier. Husband, don't die, you cannot die. If you die, how will I live without you? Mo Yao hugged Sword Immortal Bo Ching as she sobbed helplessly. Bo Ching held Mo Yao's hands weakly. At this point, I will not conceal it from you. I am from Shadow Sect, I am a split soul of Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. You love the wrong person, loving me will only cause you pain and hardship. Go, leave, if not, it will be too late. Mo Yao's body shook, she shook her head as she rejected him firmly. No, I will not go. I don't care about your identity, I only know that we love each other deeply, that is the most important thing. I don't care about anything else. If I cannot live together with you, I will die with you. Oh. Ying Wuxie watched from the side, he showed a curious and shocked expression. Grey fog rumbled continuously, the scenes around Spectral Soul became more and more chaotic. Earlier, it was from Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's perspective, but now, they were from the perspectives of 7 people. These 7 only inherited a small portion of his foundation, they had their own difficulties and pains. Once in a while, Spectral Soul's main body would send out more split souls from Obsession Death Domain, traveling through Reverse Flow River. This made the scenes even more chaotic now. However, the largest image still attracted everyone's attention the most. 6 members of Shadow Sect gathered together. They were the first batch that had left the door of life and death, they were all immortals now. It was my mistake, Green spoke. If I did not ask Azure to teach that unscrupulous merchant in Treasure Yellow Heaven a lesson, Azure would not have fallen into the trap of love and betrayed us, even our main body was exposed. This is not your fault, Green. Purple consoled. These are traps and difficulties created by heaven's will. Haven't you all noticed? It was faint when we were still mortals, but as our cultivation level rise, our lives also have become more filled with difficulties, nothing is going smoothly. Anything we do will cause unnecessary consequences, there are problems everywhere. We have to settle Azur's matter quickly, otherwise, our main body's plan will be obstructed. What should we do? Azur cultivates sword path and his battle strength is the highest. Do we need to gather our strength and jointly eliminate him? It is possible, but the price is huge, and the risk is high. I have a plan. If it succeeds, we might be able to turn Fairy Mo Yao over to our side. Purple said slowly. Oh, what plan? Purple smiled. The reason why Azur fell into the trap of love was because Spirit Affinity House used their signature Immortal GU, love. This GU is rank 9, its might is nigh unstoppable, thus Azur fell prey to it, it is not his fault. After all, his sword path is not complete yet, he cannot resist such attacks. But coincidentally, I had some enlightenment today, my wisdom path attainment level reached Great Grand Master. Because we have been keeping in contact, I have a deep understanding towards Azur's sword path. After he got into trouble, I have been deducing on how to solve this problem. I deduced an Immortal GU recipe, it can create Wisdom Sword Immortal GU. Wisdom Sword Immortal GU. Purple nodded. That's right, Wisdom Sword can cut the threads of love, even if this GU cannot rival rank 9 Love GU, in actuality, we just need to cut away the Dao marks from Love GU on Azur's body. We can make it such that Azur obtains a fortuitous encounter and thinks he created this new Immortal GU recipe himself. Once he uses it, the love threads on his body will be cut, he will regain his reasoning and become one of us again. Not just that, since Mo Yao still has those love threads, we can use them to turn her over to our side. Purple's words made everyone overjoyed, they praised. Brilliant, brilliant plan, haha, worthy of a wisdom path GU immortal like Purple. What? Seeing this, Immortal Zombie Bo Ching, who was on the ground, frowned deeply. Mo Yao's remnant soul, which was inside the body, knew that her lover had created Wisdom Sword Immortal GU himself. Then after that, did Azur deceive my feelings, or did he still love me? At once, Mo Yao's remnant soul shook, she was filled with doubts. But at this time, another scene was portrayed around Spectral Soul. Shadow Sect's 7 immortals gathered. As long as I become a Venerable, even without our main body, I can be unrivaled and dominate the world. By then, with such invincible strength, even heavens may not be able to deal with me. At the least, there are still many lifespan GU in this era. Azur raised his head, speaking with an arrogant tone. Don't look down on heaven's will. Green said solemnly, the lesson that we have learned over these years, isn't it enough? Purple, you are our advisor, what do you think? Yellow asked. Purple looked at Azur. After Azur's first failure, it seems that as long as we prepare amply and deal with any mishaps, there aren't big problems. How is Fairy Mo Yao? He. Azur laughed coldly. That silly woman, she is prepared to sacrifice herself for me. She went to 88 Truyong building to refine Calamity Beckoning Immortal GU. She wants to draw the myriad tribulation over to herself when I undergo the tribulation. Purple shook his head. Even though Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's luck path is quite innovative, Mo Yao's method will not succeed. But since she has the intention to do so, why don't you hand change Soul Immortal GU and that Immortal Killer move over to her? If you fail the tribulation, as long as your soul is intact, you will still have a foundation, you can start over rapidly again. It is better to prepare amply. Azur nodded expressionlessly. This scene made Immortal Zombie Bo Ching's body shake intensely. Ying Wuxie felt something amiss, he quickly said, don't overthink it, this is a myriad tribulation, it might not be real. Immortal Zombie Bo Ching did not speak, he was silent as a rock, he clenched his fists as his muscles tensed, his eyes were shut tight. 5 of the immortals from Shadow Sect were gathered again. Blue failed, he used his own immortal aperture and fused with the immemorial Blue Heaven fragment, in order to research Heaven's will, but he has already fallen deep into the dream realm. Yellow said with deep pain. The immortals were silent. A long while later, Purple said, even though Blue can be saved, I think we should not attempt it hastily. This is a trap left by Heaven's will, in order for our members to get exposed. Sigh, we can tell after Azur failed his second attempt to ascend to rank 9. The power of that tribulation was more than 10 times as much as the first. Evidently, Heaven's will does not want us to become venerables, it is trying to deal with us at all times. I will not hide it from you, I have recently had a bad feeling. First Azur, then Blue, I am afraid the next one is me. The immortals were shocked. They quickly said, "Purple, don't overthink it." "I am not overthinking, this is the prediction of a wisdom path GU Immortal. After I am gone, GU Immortal Dali will take over my position. Also, the power of heaven's will is higher than our estimations, but it is not impossible to deceive. From now on, Shadow Sect will lay low, accumulating our strength in secret. When we perform the heaven-defying deed, we should go all out at once, so that heaven's will has no time to react to our actions." Chapter 10:17, Deep Scheme. On a larger image. Green, hurry go. Yellow grabbed Green's hand, pulling him outwards. "No, I will not leave. It can still be saved. Look at the immortal fetus GU, it is still alive." Green screamed, struggling, "Let me go, that is my entire life's work." "You think this explosion is simply an accident? Look at the remaining rank 8 immortal materials, take a good look at them." Yellow called out furiously. Green's body shook, clarity returned to his eyes, he had a realization, his forehead was covered in sweat as he said with lingering fear, "These immortal materials are all full of heaven's will. That was so close, a moment ago, my sense of reasoning was influenced by heaven's will. Even after setting up this huge formation and hiding in Northern Plains Earth Trench, I was still noticed by it. Only a complete otherworldly demon can be fully undetected by heaven's will. As being discovered is nothing to be discouraged over. Give up on this attempt, we will start over again." Yellow consoled. Green was speechless, looking at the sandy area around him, he nodded solemnly. "I've already told you, your deduction is completely wrong, I have nothing to do with Red Lotus, true inheritances." GU Immortal Dali said helplessly. The opposing time path GU Immortal was shrouded in fog, their appearance could not be seen. Only the red lotus marking on their forehead was visible, bright and red. They smiled coldly. "I used the time path method in Red Lotus, true inheritance to deduce, how can that be wrong? Red Lotus Demon Venerable's next true inheritance is with you." Dali was silently before replying, "There is nothing else to say, let's fight." Saying this, he charged ahead. You finally stopped evading. The mysterious GU Immortal was filled with intent to fight. After a long battle, GU Immortal Dali could not defeat the other party, he was suppressed by the Immortal GU House, graceful chaotic duel stage. The myriad tribulation grand clear space finally ended. Spectral Soul did not put up any resistance, his entire body was hurt by the countless green birds, his mass had shrunk by 1/3. At the same time, Heaven Overseeing Tower was prepared to strike, it seemed to be close to getting out of its phantom form. The surrounding gray fog had dissipated by half. This meant that the myriad tribulation, gray memory, was already half over. But the tribulations from the sky still continued. Another myriad tribulation was gathering on top of Spectral Soul's head. It seemed that as long as Spectral Soul was still alive, Heaven's will would not let him off. Myriad tribulation, dark oil poison. From the sky, drops of sticky poisonous oil dripped down. The oil seemed to be boiling hot. When they landed on Spectral Soul's body, there was a sizzling noise as smoke rose. The oil entered the wounds created earlier, flowing in and corroding Spectral Soul's body, an intense process of rotting was occurring inside. Soon, the poisonous oil turned from drops to streams, countless streams were raining down from the sky, over the surroundings. Spectral Soul's huge body was bathed in poisonous oil, it was rotting at an observable rate, his body mass was shrinking rapidly. But he did not do anything. Ying Wuxie, who was below, had an anxious expression. He wanted to call out, but he was in the Grand Tribulation Earth collapse, any movement or intense thinking would cause him to sink further. "What is wrong with you guys, both of you are acting like this?" He grumbled, looking at Immortal Zombie Bo Ching beside him. From the start, Immortal Zombie Bo Ching was like a statue, not moving, it was as if he was dead, he was unmoved by anything outside. Thankfully, they were below Spectral Soul's feet. Being covered by Spectral Soul's body which was above the clouds, the myriad tribulation did not cause any harm to Ying Wuxie or Immortal Zombie Bo Ching. A very far distance away, He Lulan and Tai Bai Yunsheng were assisting each other as they escaped. Behind them, a group of southern border GU Immortals were chasing them. The xenophobia of the 5 regions GU Immortals was quite strong. Even in the most open Eastern Sea, foreign GU Immortals did not have an easy time, they were often ostracized and bullied by Eastern Sea GU Immortals. In the earlier battle, after He Lulan nearly killed a southern border GU Immortal, the situation became uncontrollable. The southern border GU Immortals flew into a rage, these northern plains outsiders were so arrogant and bullying them, not only did they fight in southern border, they injured them. Where did they think they were? Thus, the chasing continued. Not just that, they even gathered their allies and reinforcements. He Lulan and Tai Bai Yunsheng were not in good condition to begin with, they were injured. They battle as they retreated. Under their skillful movement, they got farther and farther away from Yitian Mountain. No matter how huge He Lulan's ambition was, she did not dare to get close to that place again. That was not the stage for rank 6 GU immortals. Not even rank 7s, and rank 8s also could only be side characters. That was a battlefield where spectral soul and heavens will fought. The myriad tribulation dark oil poison had already ended, spectral soul was now surrounded by another myriad tribulation. This myriad tribulation was unknown, it had broken the limits of historical records. It was formless and ethereal, only a mystical aura that could not be perceived was around. The aura coiled around him, causing spectral soul's body to explode wherever it went. Spectral soul was a soul, but it was so condensed it was like material, it was as if it was a soul beast. With the explosions caused by the aura, the huge mountainous body vanished, only a framework of it was left, huge pieces of the soul were blasted away. In the grey fog, another scene appeared. Old man Yan Shi coughed blood, he held heavenly secret immortal GU as he muttered, so Fang Yuan has spring autumn cicada. No wonder he could refine fixed immortal travel and go to central continents who immortal blessed land and obtain Dang Hun Mountain. He then destroyed imperial court blessed land and caused the collapse of 88 Truyong building. Since he is an otherworldly demon who possesses spring autumn cicada, he has clearly escaped fate. This can be the best tool against heaven's will. Fine, I will conceal the tracks of you and Tai Bai Yunsheng, to prevent others from deducing matters about you. Qin Bai Sheng secretly watched the immemorial ruin bat as well as the numerous calamities and tribulations in this area. This was the time when Dongfang Chongfan had undergone possession and was going through tribulation. Dongfang Chongfan was merely using possession to revive, but his main body's aura was perceived by heaven's will, sending such a terrifying disaster. In the future, when our main body tries to revive, the tribulations would likely be worse. The blazing glory lightning brilliance immortal zombie nodded beside him. We can leave, this test against heaven's will has ended. Why is Chu Rong not back yet? At this time, Fairy Zhang Yu appeared with a terrible expression. Chu Rong is dead, the operation to take back modest thatched hut failed. What happened? Qin Bai Sheng was mildly shocked. Chu Rong is a fire path grand master with rank 7 cultivation level. It is the inheritor of 3 thatch demon immortal. Fairy Zhang Yu said. This person was deeply concealed, his methods were ruthless, I almost failed to make it back. 3 thatch demon immortal HMPH, forget it, we will give up on modest thatched hut. Before the commencement of our crucial plan, we cannot expose our identities over this immortal GU house and cause heavens will to attack us in advance. Qin Bai Sheng thought for a moment and said this. Luopo Valley, Shadow Sect's group faced the central continent GU immortals with grim expressions. Qin Bai Sheng stared at Feng Juzhe, sighing, heaven's will's attack is already here. In order to protect the pawn Fang Yuan, Yan Shi concealed his traces. Central continent's GU immortals investigated Fang Yuan and in following their clues, instead found us. What do we do? Fairy Zhang Yu asked. We have no choice but to fight. Qin Bai Sheng gritted his teeth and said. Cough, 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 old man Yan Shi coughed continuously, his expression was pale, he was so exhausted that it seemed like he would die from being out of breath. I used heavenly secret GU and consumed 100 years of lifespan. But it was worth it, I deduced that spring-autumn cicada's condition is bad, it has already been used. Seeing that Fang Yuan went to Yitian Mountain in advance, he evidently knows about the Battle of Yitian Mountain. With this, I can deduce that our main body has already failed once, thus, he had to use that Red Lotus true inheritance to make Fang Yuan rebirth, sending him back to the past to change the future. Hey, thankfully, spring-autumn cicada is only rank 6, it is nothing scary. In that case, Fang Yuan is the best method of measurement. Looking at his future performance, I can deduce even more things. Would searching his soul directly be easier? Or would it affect the entire situation? In accordance to my planning, Bo Qing and 7-star child have already slowed down Heavenly Court as much as possible. This result should be a lot better compared to the last time. Old man Yan Shi sat in the pavilion, looking at the mountain and fog change mysteriously. On Zombie Alliance's side, the arrangements are set, we can use them as a backup. It would be best to preserve them, sigh, I hope we do not need to use them. Using the newly obtained lifespan GU, I have about 20 years left. It is time to die. It is natural for my split soul to return to the main body. But before dying, I should help the main body deduce the tribulations of the following heaven-defying plan. A moment later, cough, 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 I didn't die. This means that I have already deduced all of the tribulations. No, it is because every wisdom path advisor of Shadow Sect, from generation after generation, had been deducing all along. We finally accumulated enough foundation to create a qualitative change. This is so ironic. Using Heavenly Secret Immortal GU as the core, the wisdom path killer move created can deduce the contents of the tribulations. But this Immortal GU was created by Paradise Earth. He had tried to get rid of the main body's influence all his life. To think that after dying, he actually provided us such huge help. Seeing this, Heavenly Court's GU Immortals were shocked beyond words. It turned out that Shadow Sect had already deduced the tribulations. That meant it was very suspicious that Spectral Soul was not moving inside the myriad tribulations. The mysterious myriad tribulation had gone away, the next myriad tribulation descended. Vine Dragon Tribulation. Countless green vines with sharp thorns shot out from the sky and ground, coiling around Spectral Soul's body. Soon, millions of vines surrounded Spectral Soul tightly, forming a huge ball. They coiled around him relentlessly, becoming tighter and tighter, stabbing into his body and using the demon Venerable's soul as their nutrients. Something is wrong. Something is wrong. He is doing this on purpose. Look at that 10 extreme formation. Heavenly Court's GU Immortals shifted their gazes around as they came to realizations. Because Shadow Sect had deduced the tribulations, they could make arrangements around them. Spectral Soul purposely did not put up resistance because he wanted to fuse his soul path foundation into this formation, as the nutrients for this formation. What is he trying to refine? He actually used his own demonic soul as GU refinement material. Not just that, with so many myriad tribulations around him, they are actually carving space path, poison path, chi path, and wood path Tao marks on his body to destroy his soul path Tao marks. They could harm Spectral Soul because these Tao marks were not weaker than the soul path foundation that he had accumulated for the last 100,000 years. Gasp! Sensing this, Heavenly Court's GU Immortals drew in deep and chilling breaths. It seemed that Spectral Soul was not only refining himself, he was even using the power of the myriad tribulations to achieve his goals. But what was his goal? The 10 extreme formation was at the final juncture. In the dark fog, the ball of light was becoming brighter and rounder. Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord's heart sank to rock bottom. He had a determined expression. He said solemnly, "We cannot go on like this, we have to ruin Spectral Soul's scheme. No matter what he is refining, we have to destroy this 10 extreme formation. But we are in phantom form. No, we have one chance to retaliate. This is something that generation after generation of Heaven Overseeing Tower Lords have created after researching. It has always been kept as a confidential secret." Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord said. Heavenly Court's GU Immortals heard this and were joyful and surprised. "Why don't you use it?" Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord smiled bitterly. He told them the price for using it. Heavenly Court's GU Immortals fell into deathly silence. Chapter 10:18. Narrow Victory. A moment later, someone stepped up. "Since Shadow Sect can make sacrifices, why can't we of Heavenly Court do the same? I am willing to stay behind and manipulate Heaven Overseeing Tower. I am willing to. Giving up this body to slay a demon Venerable, what reason is there not to?" More and more GU Immortals stood up. Of course, there were Heavenly Court GU Immortals who had other opinions. "In my opinion, the urgent matter now is to find out what Spectral Soul is trying to refine. The matter is not desperate yet, we should preserve our strength until absolutely necessary." Back then, when Spectral Soul Demon Venerable was still alive, he could not take down Heavenly Court. Now that he is dead, he is weaker than during life. What should Heavenly Court fear? Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord waved his hand. "I have decided, those who want to stay will come with me to activate Heaven Overseeing Tower. As for the rest of you, I will send you to White Heaven. Regardless of victory or defeat, you have to gather the remains of the Immortal GU House and return to Heavenly Court." After saying this, Heavenly Court's members came to an agreement. Heaven Overseeing Tower shot out a bright light towards the sky, before a beam of light descended from the sky, covering the entirety of Heaven Overseeing Tower. Spectral Soul was startled. He tried to control Heaven Overseeing Tower, preventing it from getting out of its phantom form. But Heaven Overseeing Tower was not being manipulated to get out of its phantom form. In fact, its final attack required it to stay in phantom form the entire time. Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord's voice resounded over the surroundings. "Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, I will show you the newest and most powerful attack of Heaven Overseeing Tower. Boom! With a loud sound, the surrounding scenery had a subtle change. The myriad tribulation, vine dragon, was coiling around Spectral Soul's body, but now, under the control of Heaven Overseeing Tower, it changed targets and attacked the 10 extreme formation instead. Spectral Soul's expression changed. Heaven Overseeing Tower's attack was beyond his expectations. Even though he had planned for tens of thousands of years, and deduced it countless times, expending the lives of many generations of Wisdom Path GU Immortals. His entire plan had been deduced and refined, deduced and perfected. But he did not deduce that Heaven Overseeing Tower had a method to manipulate the myriad tribulation directly. What sort of method was this? An intense aura burst out. Spectral Soul stopped being motionless. He quickly used his methods to resist the attacks of the countless vines. He had experienced many myriad tribulations. To complete the mysterious immortal GU in the 10 extreme formation, his battle strength had already been severely lowered. But right now, he attacked at full strength. His demonic might was overwhelming. It gave off an unstoppable feeling. Even though more than half of the soul path Tao marks on his body were gone, he was still shining with the light of Tao marks. They were bright and numerous like the stars in the sky. An unimaginable clash. One side controlled the myriad tribulation to attack, while the other's soul changed into countless forms to defend against the vines. Even though he was alone, even though he only had his soul left, Spectral Soul showed incredible capabilities in battle that almost resembled a miracle. He blocked all of the vine dragons coming his way. The 10 extreme formation was tightly defended by him. Nothing could go through. Heaven Overseeing Tower, still in phantom form, was disassembling. The speed got faster and faster. The countless mortal GU and immortal GU that formed Heaven Overseeing Tower were facing destruction every minute and second. In Heaven Overseeing Tower, every few breaths of time, one rank 8 Heavenly Court GU Immortal died, sacrificing themselves. In order to control the myriad tribulation, Heavenly Court had paid a huge price. The same went for Spectral Soul. His main body was already heavily injured. To resist the vine dragon myriad tribulation, his soul was diminishing rapidly. It was as fast as a deflating balloon. The aura that was all over the place had weakened. His overwhelming demonic might seemed to have turned from a forest fire to a pile of bonfire. Spectral Soul, you transgress against heaven, you will die like a dog. Before dying, Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord shouted his final curse. Around him, all of the Heavenly Court GU Immortals were dead. With a loud bang, the remaining half of Heaven Overseeing Tower broke apart, turning into countless fragments. The fragments turned back into mortal GU and immortal GU, following the beam of light, penetrating the heavenly wind chi wall to go deep into White Heaven. The Heavenly Court GU Immortals who were left behind to guard White Heaven rapidly moved and collected the immortal GU. Most importantly, they had to retrieve Fate Immortal GU. Spectral Soul's body had shrunk from thousands of meters to hundreds, until he was only a handful of meters tall. Not only that, his soul was no longer condensed, it was very translucent, it swayed with the wind, his aura was very weak. The Grand Tribulation Earth collapse dissipated at this moment. A bright sword light flashed in the sky. Immortal zombie Bo Ching had already flown towards Spectral Soul. Mo Yao's remnant soul inside the body screamed, "Spectral Soul, return my husband to me." Spectral Soul's gaze was fixed upon the 10 extreme formation. The dark fog in the 10 extreme formation was gone. All of the 10 extreme immortal zombies were sacrificed. Only one round ball was left, shining in the light of 9 different colors. Immortal zombie Bo Ching moved closer. "You promised me you will revive him." Spectral Soul turned around, gazing at immortal zombie Bo Ching's face. The split soul that created Bo Ching was already destroyed in the myriad tribulation. With the split soul lost, how can I revive him? You lied to me. Immortal zombie Bo Ching clenched his fists. A dangerous light was shining in his eyes. Of course I did not lie to you. I am Bo Ching's main body. When I revive, Bo Ching will naturally revive as well. When I dominate the world, it would also mean that Bo Ching has attained rank 9 cultivation level. Isn't this what you were hoping for? Spectral Soul said slowly. Old scumbag. Immortal zombie Bo Ching was furious. He attacked Spectral Soul. But the sword light had just shone and vanished instantly. Immortal zombie Bo Ching floated in front of Spectral Soul, unable to move. You are my final obstacle. He, it is a pity. If Yan Shi did not remind me earlier, you might have caused me trouble. But now he. Did you forget that all of your sword path immortal GU have my will in them? Did you also forget who was the one feeding them over these years? Spectral Soul spoke coldly. He paused before continuing. Now, I will give you one final chance. Kill them, and repent for your act of betrayal. Them, naturally meant the Heavenly Court GU Immortals in White Heaven. Spit. HMPH, foolish woman. At the next moment, Mo Yao's remnant soul was pulled out, devoured by spectral soul in one mouthful. After swallowing this remnant soul, spectral soul's body condensed slightly. Wu Xie, you will defend me, I only need a little over 10 breaths of time to succeed. Spectral soul said as he shrunk to the size of a child. Yes, Ying Wu Xie flew up, standing beside spectral soul, looking around alertly. The beam of light that penetrated the heavenly wind chi wall was gone. We have no chances left. Heavenly Court's GU Immortals sighed. They retrieved the remaining immortal GU from Heaven Overseeing Tower as they retreated. Spectral soul touched this newly refined immortal GU, with his eyes filled with emotions. After plotting for tens of thousands of years, after so much planning and painstaking efforts, I finally succeeded in refining this rank 9 sovereign immortal fetus GU. With this immortal GU, I can surpass all of the venerables in history. I can obtain the body of an otherworldly demon, reaching an unsurpassed realm that nobody has ever seen. All other immortal venerables and demon venerables in history will not be my match. Even if Renzu resurrects, he will be inferior to me. Ha ha ha. Spectral soul raised his head and laughed. In his laughter, there was insanity, relief, pride, arrogance, and venting. Wind blew, as spectral soul swayed in the wind. He almost had used up his full strength. If he did not devour Mo Yao's remnant soul, he might not even be able to keep his form. The laughter stopped. Spectral soul squinted, having an eerie gaze. The closer I am towards the end, the more I cannot afford to be careless. The remaining soul path Dao marks on him were shining brightly. Using his soul, he could undergo surveillance of a very huge radius. In White Heaven, Heavenly Court's GU Immortals had withdrawn, although they left behind many investigative GU worms. Spectral soul snickered. The light in his soul shined brightly as he spat out a breath of spectral chi towards the sky. This spectral chi moved up, penetrating the heavenly wind chi wall and destroying all of the investigative GU worms left by Heavenly Court's GU Immortals. Not a single one was left. Spectral soul quickly looked around. Soon, he saw Fang Yuan. At this moment, Tai Bai Yunsheng and He Lulan were guarding him. Fang Yuan was lying on the ground, his eyelids were trembling, he was about to wake up. He is awake, he is almost awake. Tai Bai Yunsheng cried out in joy. He Lulan frowned deeply, looking into the horizon, she said without turning her head, then quickly wake him up. Use fixed immortal travel and leave this bloody place. Spectral soul frowned slightly, but he soon returned to normal. Right now, they were a gigantic distance apart. The radius of 10,000 li around Yitian Mountain was covered by the myriad tribulations. The entire area looked completely different from before. If Fang Yuan used fixed immortal travel, he could only teleport to 10,000 li away from Yitian Mountain. Furthermore, after he wakes up, he might not take a risk and approach the mountain. Even if he takes a risk, there was already enough time for spectral soul. After having been enveloped in grand tribulations and myriad tribulations, this entire area was very clean now. The GU Immortals who died in the immortal apertures they left behind had all been refined by the 10 extreme formation. A small portion were also destroyed by the tribulations. Only life and death blessed land was intentionally preserved. There are no problems left. No. Spectral soul turned his gaze towards Ying Wu Xie. Ying Wu Xie blinked several times, looking at his main body. How much lifespan do you have? Spectral soul asked. Ying Wu Xie answered. I have 15 minutes left. More than enough. Spectral soul finally relaxed his mind. He could no longer sustain his form. His body faded and condensed into a ball made of soul. It was the size of a face, firmly condensed like it was solid. It floated towards the ball-like sovereign immortal fetus GU. During this process, Fang Yuan opened his eyes abruptly. Heaven's will, he screamed. He sat up on the ground with a furious and anxious expression. Fang Yuan, you are finally awake. Tai Bai Yunsheng and He Lulan were overjoyed. Boom. Fang Yuan attacked, striking at the two who saved his life. Tai Bai Yunsheng and He Lulan were caught unprepared, they were sent flying. Fixed immortal travel. At the next moment, Fang Yuan used this rank 6 immortal GU. Goo. He spat out a mouthful of blood, his body was shaking, the activation of fixed immortal travel failed. Damn it, I must make it in time. He gritted his teeth as he thought this, activating fixed immortal travel again. Before Tai Bai Yunsheng and He Lulan arrived, he succeeded. He was 10,000 li away from Yitian Mountain. Seeing the entire battlefield that had changed beyond recognition, he was stunned, his entire body and mind froze. It was too late. Like what Spectral Soul had expected, Fang Yuan could not make it in time. But, right when Spectral Soul was about to enter the Sovereign Immortal Fetus GU, a hand stretched out. Ying Wuxie grabbed Spectral Soul. Spectral Soul was already almost out of strength. Before he could react, he heard Ying Wuxie say 4 words. Lead Soul into Dream. Wah! At the next moment, Spectral Soul fell into a dream realm. And Fang Yuan's soul flew out of Ying Wuxie's body. Next, he rapidly entered the rank 9 Immortal GU in front of him. Chapter 10:19. So it was Change Soul. Let us rewind time back to a while ago. Heaven Overseeing Tower floated above Spectral Soul's head in phantom form. But at this moment, 100 of Spectral Soul's strong dark arms shrunk immensely, turning dry, thin and long. Obtaining his help, the 10 extreme immortal zombie lifeless formation underwent a huge change. The scattered dark clouds gathered towards the center. At the center of the dark clouds, a round ball could be vaguely seen. It spun on its own, shining with light in 14 different colors. Seeing this, Heaven Overseeing Tower Lord had an anxious expression. He ordered, "Chop off these arms." Heaven Overseeing Tower was like a rocket. It drew an eye-piercing rainbow light in the sky as it slashed forward. The rainbow light cut all of Spectral Soul's arms off upon contact. Ying Wuxie, go and deal with Heavenly Court's GU Immortals. Immortal Zombie Bo Qing called out. It was a simple matter for them to deal with Fang Yuan's side. But because of a series of events, they were constantly interrupted. Ying Wuxie gritted his teeth. He was unwilling to leave at this moment. Give me a moment to make Fang Yuan sleep first. Saying this, he activated the rank 8 Immortal Killer move, Lead Soul into Dream. Fang Yuan could not dodge. He was dragged into the dream realm. At the pavilion in the center of the lake, the music from the zither could be heard. Fang Yuan met Star Constellation Immortal Venerable again. Unravel Dream, Unravel Dream, Unravel Dream, Unravel Dream, Unravel Dream, Unravel Dream. Fang Yuan hurriedly activated his Dream Path Killer move, but the dream realm held firm. All he saw were transparent ripples in his vision. His Unravel Dream might work against the dream realm, but it was only rank 6. In contrast, Ying Wuxie's killer move was rank 8. The difference between the two was too vast. Fang Yuan could not unravel the dream realm. At once, Fang Yuan's heart sank to rock bottom. The zither music continued. As Star Constellation Immortal Venerable smiled at Fang Yuan gently, she sang with a soft voice. Fang Yuan smiled bitterly. He knew that he had lost. Deep in the dream realm, his only method, Unravel Dream, had failed. Fang Yuan could not turn this around. But at this time, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's singing entered his ears again. Fallen songs and despondent heroes, difficulty in resisting the trials of fate. Bent swords sink in the sand, rising and falling from ancient times, the rumbling of an unceasing heavenly river. Alas, spectral night carries a soul into endless dreams. Where can one rest in peace? During spring and autumn body and mind shifts, only heavens will remains vast and boundless. Along with it, a wave of information once again entered Fang Yuan's mind. Fang Yuan, who was deep inside the dream realm, suddenly jolted. During spring and autumn body and mind shifts, only heavens will remains vast and boundless. At this moment, he finally understood the meaning of this final line. As it turned out, the mysterious rank 7 Immortal GU that he had obtained from Bo Qing's immortal zombie body was Change Soul Immortal GU. Back then, Mo Yao had activated this Change Soul Immortal GU at the critical moment because she was afraid that her lover, Bo Qing, would fail his tribulation. Their souls swapped and she saved Bo Qing, deceiving the entire world in the process. Bo Qing also wanted to make use of Mo Yao to pass his tribulation, but he was afraid that the myriad tribulation might affect his mind. Thus, he gave this immortal GU to Mo Yao, rather than lending it to her. Therefore, Change Soul Immortal GU was refined by Mo Yao. It was filled with her will. Thereafter, Fang Yuan used the light of wisdom and Mo Yao's fake will to create a GU formation, containing these immortal GU that he deceived while slowly refining them. Because of the relationship with Mo Yao's will, Change Soul Immortal GU was the first to be refined by Fang Yuan. As for the other Sword Path Immortal GU, they were filled with Bo Qing's will, thus, they had slower progress. They could not be refined before the Battle of Yitian Mountain. They were still inside Hu Immortal Blessed Land. According to the hint of the final line, it was not possible to use Unravel Dream to escape anymore. He had to use Change Soul Immortal GU, to swap his soul with Ying Wuxie's. Of course, it was not that simple. The information in Fang Yuan's mind also included an Immortal Killer move. This Immortal Killer move not only used the rank 7 Change Soul Immortal GU as a core, it even included Attitude GU, Unravel Mystery Immortal GU, and also a lot of Dream Path and Soul Path Mortal GU. Fang Yuan hesitated slightly, before deciding to follow it. According to his previous experiences, Fang Yuan knew that the information was highly reliable. Most importantly, he had no other choice. At this moment, Fang Yuan was at his wit's end. The enemy was Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. Purely with his foundation and ability, he could do nothing to the other party. Only by following the instructions could he obtain any hope of victory. Thus, he activated the Immortal Killer move. He succeeded. The souls of Fang Yuan and Ying Wuxie were secretly swapped. Fang Yuan's soul was originally hit by lead soul into dream and was deep in a dream realm. After switching souls, he covertly entered Ying Wuxie's pure dream reality seeker physique body, while Ying Wuxie's soul went into Fang Yuan's immortal zombie body, but he was inside the dream realm in Fang Yuan's place. After switching their souls, Fang Yuan couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. But after seeing himself, he thought quickly. He placed his hands at his waist, laughing smugly. Ha ha ha, this time, why don't you try and escape? Fang Yuan, He Lu Lan and Tai Bai Yunsheng shouted. But Fang Yuan was deep in sleep, he could not be woken up. At this moment, immortal zombie Bo Qing raised his hand, preparing to attack He Lu Lan and Tai Bai Yunsheng. Fang Yuan's heart jumped. He had set an alliance agreement with He Lu Lan and Tai Bai Yunsheng. If he left them in the lurch, he might face a backlash from the alliance agreement. But if he saved them, he might attract suspicion, his identity might be exposed. But soon, Fang Yuan realized. I am overthinking it. I have left all my immortal GU in my original body. I have no way to stop Bo Qing, even if Ying Wuxie has many immortal GU. Lead soul into dream is an immortal killer move, how can I learn to use it so quickly? Fang Yuan could only watch. But an unexpected surprise quickly occurred. There was a huge suction force from the ground. The immortals were caught off guard, they were all sucked into the ground, their legs were deeply buried in the ground, a strong force was restricting them, preventing them from moving. Grand Tribulation, Earth Collapse. Bo Qing and Ying Wuxie were shocked, they did not expect that while the myriad tribulation was dealing with Spectral Soul, there was actually a Grand Tribulation waiting to ambush them. What was even more shocking was that He Lu Lan, Tai Bai Yunsheng, and Fang Yuan were unaffected by the Grand Tribulation. After landing on the ground, He Lu Lan and Tai Bai Yunsheng regained their freedom, they could move freely. Furthermore, at this moment, the 10 extreme formation had created already the mysterious ball, the force that restricted the space around them vanished. He Lu Lan and Tai Bai Yunsheng brought Fang Yuan, and rapidly retreated, escaping for their lives. Immortal zombie Bo Qing's eyes shined with deep killing intent, but he could only watch as they escaped. Soon, He Lu Lan, Tai Bai Yunsheng, and Fang Yuan escaped far away, vanishing from Bo Qing's field of vision. HMPH, Fang Yuan can escape for now, but can he escape for his entire life? As an otherworldly demon, you are the best tool to use against Heaven's will, how can we let you go so easily? As for He Lu Lan and Tai Bai Yunsheng, even though they are not otherworldly demons, they were affected by him and became fate escapees. Even if we do not deal with them, Heavenly Court would eliminate them eventually. Bo Qing snorted coldly. Fang Yuan heard this and quickly thought, it seems that an otherworldly demon is very useful to Shadow Sect. No wonder Ying Wuxie only wanted to capture me and not kill me. Strange, that Grand Tribulation, Earth Collapse, why did it not affect He Lu Lan and Tai Bai Yunsheng? Heavens will forget it, the most important matter at hand is to familiarize myself with the dream path GU worms I have. If I have to attack later and I fail to use lead soul into dream, wouldn't I get exposed? Fang Yuan took a peek and was shocked to find that he had more than just dream path immortal GU. There was also change soul immortal GU, attitude GU, unravel mystery immortal GU, and other mortal GU, they had all been brought over through his soul. And this mysterious immortal killer move had another use, it allowed Fang Yuan to use Ying Wuxie's GU worms. It seems that attitude GU had an important use. It allowed me to disguise myself and deceive Ying Wuxie's will that is inside these dream path immortal GU and mortal GU. It is like earlier, when I used Mo Yao's fake will to coax immortal GU out of Bo Qing's immortal zombie body. Thinking of this, Fang Yuan glanced at immortal zombie Bo Qing again. If the other party knew that Ying Wuxie was already someone else, moreover, he was now the culprit who harmed Bo Qing and took out most of his sword path immortal GU, immortal zombie Bo Qing might behead Fang Yuan immediately without saying anything else. The situation was still very dangerous. Even though they swapped souls and Fang Yuan had escaped from the dream realm, he was currently more fragile than he ever was. If he was found out, there would be no hope. It was as if he was walking on a tightrope above a valley. If he was careless, he would fall and die with a mangled corpse. Fang Yuan gathered his concentration. He immediately moved his limbs, struggling intensely. The result was, his body sank deeper and deeper. He shouted, acting like he was furious. But internally, he felt extremely glad. This grand tribulation came at a great time. I am stuck in here and cannot escape. I cannot even generate thoughts, thus I cannot attack. If I cannot attack, I will not be exposed. This gives me the opportunity to familiarize myself with these unknown GU worms. Stop struggling, stop thinking. It will make our situation worse. We cannot deal with this at the moment. Immortal zombie Bo Qing, who was beside him, quickly attempted to console him in a calm tone. Fang Yuan observed and noticed that Bo Qing was not suspicious. He finally felt slightly relieved. He sighed, looking at Spectral Soul. We can only hope that our main body saves us. But Spectral Soul was also deeply trapped. After the first myriad tribulation, Wind Lightning Prison, the second myriad tribulation, Grey Memory, descended. The grey fog descended at a very slow speed. It was so slow that anyone who was undergoing the tribulation could retaliate in many ways. But Spectral Soul did not move. He stood quietly, like a solemn mountain. Did our main body get hit already? Fang Yuan shouted, looking extremely anxious. This is such a good chance, you have to retaliate. In his mind, he was thinking about other things. Spectral Soul was restricted now. He was glad to see this. But on the other hand, he was within the range of the myriad tribulation Grey Memory. He felt some unease. The grand tribulation was already unstoppable. If the myriad tribulation descended, how would he survive? Chapter 10:20. Obtain the greatest gain. The myriad tribulation is coming. Fang Yuan gritted his teeth, looking at the grey cloud of fog descending slowly. Immortal zombie Bo Qing squinted, his muscles were tense. The grey cloud descended, but it caused no harm. What is going on? Is this a harmless myriad tribulation? Fang Yuan was nervous, seeing that there was no commotion. He touched all over his body as he cried out in suspicion. Bo Qing did not answer him. Someone in Heavenly Court quickly recognized this myriad tribulation, Grey Memory. But Fang Yuan and Mo Yao's remnant soul did not know it. However, soon, Fang Yuan and Mo Yao's remnant soul obtained some understanding of their own. Because after Spectral Soul was shrouded in the grey fog, his memories started to appear in images before them. His experiences during childhood, in his youth, during adulthood, all of these experiences were a form of interrogation and torture in regards to Spectral Soul's heart. He made countless choices that decided his future fate. And at the same time, Tai Bai Yunsheng carried Fang Yuan as he escaped at full speed. He Lu Lan took a final look at the grey fog in the sky before following after them. Inside Fang Yuan's body, Ying Wuxie was trapped in the dream realm. He was facing star constellation Immortal Venerable. He gritted his teeth, shouting maniacally, pouncing towards star constellation Immortal Venerable. However, he did not hit her. This was a dream realm. Distance was not what it seemed. He might seem to be close to star constellation Immortal Venerable, but no matter how many steps he moved forward, his distance with star constellation Immortal Venerable did not change. Star constellation Immortal Venerable played the zither but did not sing. The music was beautiful, like the sound of a clear mountain spring. Compared to Ying Wuxie's agitated behavior, it formed a stark contrast. Quickly let me out, quickly let me out. Heaven's will, you accursed heaven's will. He pointed at star constellation Immortal Venerable as he shouted. But star constellation Immortal Venerable was unmoved. She showed neither joy nor rage. Ying Wuxie blinked. He forced himself to calm down, muttering, "Don't be anxious, I need to stay calm, stay calm. I know everything about lead soul into dream. This dream realm has not manifested externally. It will fade away soon. It cannot contain me forever. Also, the GU immortals on Fang Yuan's side will save me. Once I wake up, I will return and expose Fang Yuan's identity. Now, I can only hope that Yitian Mountain isn't far away after I wake up." But Ying Wuxie's wish was not going to be fulfilled. Because next, Tai Bai Yunsheng and He Lu Lan met with some southern border GU immortals. Both sides fought while moving. Not only did He Lu Lan and Tai Bai Yunsheng not have the time to wake up Ying Wuxie, they even got farther and farther away from Yitian Mountain. Ying Wuxie and Bo Qing were all immobilized in the ground because of earth collapse. Waves of grey fog coiled around immortal zombie Bo Qing as they shined with bright lights, showing constantly changing scenes. These were Mo Yao's memories. As a variant human, she had suffered a fate of being ostracized. HMPH. Immortal zombie Bo Qing snickered. Facing these sad traumas in her life, Mo Yao's remnant soul showed her strong-willed personality. Strange, why are you unaffected by the gray fog? Bo Qing looked at Ying Wuxie, who was beside him. Fang Yuan was thinking, I want to know the answer to this question as well. According to logic, gray memory affected spectral soul and Mo Yao's remnant soul, there was no reason for Fang Yuan to be unaffected. But for some reason, nothing happened to Fang Yuan. Evidently, this myriad tribulation, gray memory, let Fang Yuan off, he did not get exposed because of it. Don't tell me this is the manipulation of Heaven's will. Earlier, Heaven's will let He Lu Lan and Tai Bai Yun Sheng be unaffected by the tribulation, did it want them to bring my body and get far away from this place? Fang Yuan had many guesses, but behind these guesses, there was a cold sensation when Fang Yuan thought about them, he felt his hair standing, there were a lot of terrifying implications behind his thoughts. But right now, facing immortal zombie Bo Qing's suspicion, Fang Yuan could only pretend to be ignorant. I don't know. Fang Yuan shook his head, he pointed, yours is pretty interesting. Bo Qing snorted. It seems that because you were just born, and only have 18 hours to live, you had no time to experience these things. Mo Yao's remnant soul inside immortal zombie Bo Qing did not suspect Fang Yuan, her attention was mostly on spectral soul. Regarding spectral soul's main body, Mo Yao's remnant soul was quite worried. But next, the gray fog showed that spectral soul demon Venerable had obtained the food path true inheritance of the beast man Gu Immortal back during his time. Spectral soul demon Venerable's nature made Fang Yuan quite shocked. Heavenly court's Gu Immortals were in a commotion, but because they were in phantom form, they could not do anything. At this time, in the sky, the third myriad tribulation descended, grand clear space. Countless green birds slashed at spectral soul, the power was terrifying, the expressions of Fang Yuan and Mo Yao changed. Next, Fang Yuan saw many scenes in the gray fog. Sacred Feather City, Thieving Heaven True Inheritance, 88 Truyong Building, the Red Lotus in the River of Time. So it turned out that spectral soul demon Venerable knew about Sacred Feather City's location during his lifetime. Thieving Heaven demon Venerable's name was Benji Sun, but even though he was an otherworldly demon like me, he was not from Earth. Lifespan Gu. It seems that Heaven's will is the greatest restriction of immortal venerables and demon venerables. Red Lotus, Ghost Face. When I failed my rebirth last time, it was actually spectral soul demon Venerable who helped me. I understand now, in my previous life, the great strength true martial immortal zombie was killed, and the 10 extreme formation could not be completed, spectral soul made use of me to start all over again. What, less than the legends of Renzu greater than is Renzu's true inheritance. Next, Fang Yuan saw spectral soul using the method of soul devouring, but still failed when dealing with the golden soul. He saw 7 out of the 10 split soul returning to the world of the living. Next, combined with the portion of gray memory affecting Mo Yao's remnant soul, he understood the origin of Wisdom Sword Immortal Gu, as well as the complex relationship between Bo Qing and Mo Yao. That soul which is sleeping while emitting golden radiance is verdant great sun. The one born from Renzu's right eye in the legend. Bo Qing is azure. That purple is actually Tai Bai Yun Sheng's master, Purple Mountain True Monarch, whom I randomly named. So the truth behind Mo Yao and Bo Qing was like this. Heaven's will. So all of those superb immortal materials are filled with Heaven's will, Shadow Sect is wary of them and had to give them up. After obtaining them, they seemed harmless to me. But what about in the future? If I carry these immortal materials around, will I draw the attention of Heaven's will? So that's it. A wisdom path Gu Immortal of Shadow Sect, Dali, was the rank 8 great strength true martial immortal zombie that was suppressed. Everything makes sense now. At this time, the myriad tribulation grand clear space dissipated, while the myriad tribulation dark oil poison descended, attacking spectral soul. The following scenes made Fang Yuan even more shocked. He finally understood that the secret of him having spring-autumn cicada had been known by Shadow Sect since long ago. Because of Shadow Sect's help, he was not exposed for so long after the collapse of 88 Truyong Building. In contrast, Shadow Sect's Qin Bai Sheng and others helped him deal with the problem, engaging in a battle with Feng Zhuzhe. Shadow Sect's strength was incredible, they managed to deduce the tribulations. The secret of rebirth, the fact that I own spring-autumn cicada, after this battle, the entire world knows. Shadow Sect, Spectral Soul, they seem to want to use my otherworldly demon status, but because of a twist of fate, Shadow Sect's Northern Plains branch was almost completely wiped out. No, in a way, isn't this showing the power of Heaven's will? Shadow Sect could deduce all the tribulations, what method did they use? This is simply the ultimate weapon against tribulations. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. He is likely the strongest Venerable. During his life, he might have been equal to the other Venerables, but using the food path true inheritance, he created the soul devouring method. He could steal the cultivation memories and experiences of others. Thus, he could not raise his attainment level directly like with dream realms, but after so many years of accumulation and development, his attainment level in all other paths, including formation path and wisdom path, are definitely at least great grandmaster. It is not strange that he deduced the tribulations. In this case, it is too strange that he is not reacting. Could it be that he is doing this on purpose? Dark oil poison and grey memory faded, but the vine dragon tribulation descended soon after. Heaven overseeing tower began its final struggle. It manipulated the myriad tribulation and directly attacked the 10 extreme formation. Spectral Soul's fight to defend it made Fang Yuan, who witnessed everything, tongue-tied. He had once been proud of his battle tactics that were refined over time, but compared to Spectral Soul, it was nothing. Eventually, Heaven overseeing tower broke apart. Heavenly court failed, even Heaven overseeing tower lord was sacrificed. Both sides suffered great losses. Spectral Soul's body was only a handful of meters tall. He was no longer as condensed as previously, his aura was very weak. Mo Yao's remnant soul manipulated the immortal zombie body, flying into the sky and questioning Spectral Soul, but she was wiped out. You are my final obstacle. He, it is a pity. If Yanxi did not remind me earlier, you might have caused me trouble. But now did you forget that all of your sword path immortal GU have my will in them? Did you also forget who was the one feeding them over these years? Spectral Soul's words made Fang Yuan's heart jump. During this period of time, he had already deciphered many details regarding the immortal killer move lead soul into dream. This was thanks to the fact that Ying Wuxie only had GU worms that were meant to use lead soul into dream. Even though Shadow Sect designed this killer move for him, according to his cultivation level, there were several versions. But Ying Wuxie had distinctly classified them. He placed a pile for each of their respective GU worms. This allowed him to use the killer move much more efficiently and easily. But at the same time, Fang Yuan could learn about them more easily. Fang Yuan understood. Facing Spectral Soul's main body, I only have one chance to strike. If I fail once, Spectral Soul will react and I will have no opportunity left. Spectral Soul swallowed Mo Yao's remnant soul, saying to Fang Yuan, Wuxie, defend me. I just need a little over 10 breaths of time to succeed. Yes. Fang Yuan had a calm mind. He flew up, standing beside Spectral Soul, looking around alertly. We have no chances left. Heavenly Court's GU Immortals sighed as they retreated. After plotting for tens of thousands of years, after so much planning and painstaking efforts, I finally succeeded in refining this rank 9 sovereign immortal fetus GU. With this immortal GU, I can surpass all of the Venerables in history. I can obtain the body of an otherworldly demon, reaching an unsurpassed realm that nobody has ever seen. All other immortal Venerables and demon Venerables in history will not be my match. Even if Renzu resurrects, he will be inferior to me. Ha ha ha. Spectral Soul raised his head and laughed. Sovereign immortal fetus GU. Fang Yuan's heart was moved. What use does this GU have? It can allow Spectral Soul to reach a realm where nobody has never gotten to before. Is this realm immortality? The closer I am towards the end, the more I cannot afford to be careless. Spectral Soul squinted, investigating carefully. Fang Yuan's heart nearly skipped a beat. But in the end, Spectral Soul only spit out some spectral chi and destroyed all of the investigative GU worms. As expected, the final line of the song indicated the true use of ghostly concealment. It is to prevent the detection of ghosts and souls. Back then, Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable could take Luopo Valley, Danghun Mountain, and travel through the Obsession Death Domain without being restricted by endless souls. It was because of this move. Thus, Spectral Soul did not suspect me. It seems that Ying Wuxie's soul is also his split soul. Only towards himself could he be so trusting without reservations. Next, Fang Yuan witnessed Spectral Soul floating towards the sovereign immortal fetus GU. At the crucial moment, Fang Yuan calmed down. He was no longer nervous. According to the song, he had to destroy this sovereign immortal fetus GU. Because immortal GU were fragile, he just needed to squeeze it to destroy it. But Spectral Soul, no matter how weak he was, there was an unknown level of risk to deal with him. But Fang Yuan was firm and determined. He directly targeted Spectral Soul, snatching sovereign immortal fetus GU. Lead soul into dream. He struck. He had not comprehended it entirely. This was not a complete immortal killer move. It was inferior to the original rank 8 version. But right now, Spectral Soul was already weak to his limits. Fang Yuan succeeded in one attempt. Next, he left Ying Wu Xia's body, doing the same thing as spectral soul. His soul floated towards sovereign immortal fetus Gu. At this moment, he had finally broken free from star constellation Immortal Venerable's instructions. He took the fruits of spectral soul's labor, the achievement he had spent countless years and paid an immeasurable price to painstakingly create.